Baby, let me take you for a ride. It's crazy that we on the same vibe. I really wanna try to stay on the same side. So can you stay tonight just so we do it right?
Outlandish.
Yeah.
He had a truck. Okay, he had his truck and it was running when we did this. We got to run to Home Depot. I need to get some wood for something I'm working on. All right, I'm going with him. So we get in the TI. And I was like, John, why don't we take the truck? We got to get a bunch of wood. And he's like, Chris, you know what TI stands for? What? Truck inside.
Truck inside.
Truck inside.
Yeah.
So I'm like, whatever, John. Okay, we're going to take the TI. We're going to get wood. So we get all the wood we need at Home Depot, and we walk back out to the car. He gets it into the car. You know how you put wood or some shit in your car over the center console?
Yeah.
Out to
like,
the windshield.
like through the trunk.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
And
Because
like,
the TI's a hatchback.
it did fit. It fit in there, and he goes to close it, and it doesn't close all the way. He's like...
It's like just so close.
Just so close. So he goes to close it again. It doesn't close all the way. And then he like jumps on the hatch, and it closes. And that's when I walked around to the front and I start crying, fucking laughing, because the wood pitched up and punched a fucking hole in the windshield. And he absolutely shattered the windshield in this fucking car. Like, not just a little bit. It actually gave a hole into the windshield. I was fucking crying, laughing. And he's like, you know, John doesn't take shit well.
No,
so he's just
he
like,
does not.
Fuck you. Like, you had a truck. We could have taken the truck. And you were like, no, we're taking the TI. It is still one of my fondest memories because it was so fucking funny, dude.
Which, like, he must have pushed on it pretty hard because that's like pressure treated
He
glass,
was like,
right?
you know, he kind of jumped on it a little bit, and then he was like, no, fuck that. Boom, and then just shattered.
Just gives it the fucking people's elbow.
Yeah, it was so good. Oh my God. I was like, John, what the fuck are you doing?
I know, dude. Yeah, John is full of those stories, and Nick was too. And when they were both on the podcast, like when I look back at it, I need to get him back because, we talked
barely
about
scratch the surface.
Dog, yeah, it's crazy. And like we were like, Nick was on.
That I missed.
Yeah, you weren't
Skinny
here for
guy,
John,
real big
but
nose.
you were. Yeah,
I've met John. I've met him, but yeah, we were all fucked up from night shift, and I think I was just
I think you were out on that one, but yeah, so like we didn't get into like all the stories.
Shifts, it's fucking brutal.
Yeah, dude, that's what's like also brutal with our work too. Like sometimes we have to work night shift, and just the hours can be crazy. But
do you rotate shifts like every week, every other, or something like that?
It's like once a year, but it's for like 3 months at a time.
Okay.
Yeah. So like for a couple months,
that's not terrible. You can at least get used to it and get yourself into like a normal swing.
Yeah,
but it still fucks up your weekends.
Oh yeah, I know.
Yeah.
I rotate shifts, and it's once every week. Our shifts rotate every single week. So like I go back on day shift next week at 12 hours, and then the following shift. Now, I shouldn't be 12 hours, but the following week I'll be afternoon shift. Then the following week after that I'll be night shift. And then the next will be days. It rotates every single week.
I mean, at least it's like kind of shifting your schedule, not just straight 180.
It should be, but like lately we've been short-staffed or we've been slow, so they furloughed a bunch of people, so I just get thrown all over the place. It's been a fucking disaster.
Yeah, you don't have to say where, but it is always interesting to like, the people who come on just be like, what you do for a living.
Yeah. Oh yeah, I work at Carpenter Technology, which is like we make the place has like 5,000 employees by now or something like that. Shit. It's a massive corporation that makes steel. We make strip steel, we make bar stock, wire stock, all of it. We melt in-house, and then we create finished products in like plate. I work in a strip department, which is the finishing side. It's on two sides of the Schuylkill River. The Schuylkill River actually goes right through it.
Okay.
And the one side is the melt side, and they melt all the heats and everything. And I mean like massive pots of steel, like insane amounts, insane things. And then I work on the finishing side where we actually have coils that come through. They look like giant fucking clock springs, anywhere from like 3,000 to 8,000 pound coils, real big things, and like we roll them. I run a rolling mill that just pinches. It takes 2 work rolls with a series of rolls. There's 10 rolls on the top, 10 on the bottom on the mill, and it closes on it with anywhere between like 40 to 200 tons of force. Oh shit! And it passes through it back and forth, and it makes it thinner and thinner and thinner.
Damn.
So you have potential to be in one of those safety training videos.
Yeah, we watch them. We have to watch a different safety video every month. It's insane. Yeah, and we just had a guy lose a finger the other month in the mill. Dude. So on one of the other machines, I work with another guy who lost another finger like 2 months after I started. I work with a guy who lost a leg in a machine. Like it's a big corporation.
What the fuck?
It's cool. It is a lot of cool stuff to it, but like for me, it's just going to work.
Well, I mean,
now.
like we work around like super high voltage shit all the time.
Yeah, so like you guys will get zapped.
Yeah. I mean, like luckily for us,
Asbestos.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, yeah.
A concern.
Yes. But, luckily for us, because all of those things are like so known, we're like electricity is one of those things where there's so many safeties put into play, and you have a tool that tells you if there's electricity there or not. So
How many times have you been shocked?
Once. Well,
Safeties.
I mean, yeah, but so I'll admit, like there was one time, so like we're just doing like preventative maintenance stuff, and like part of that is like tightening all the wire connections. And by the end of the night when you're doing it, it's such a repetitive thing.
You're like, I got it.
Yeah, like you just kind of get in there. Well, like my arm, and there's so many, and my arm just kind of got tired, and like I'm going to put the screwdriver on, and it's
So one time you get just a touch lazy, and
dude, and then it was just a complete blank where I go to like put the screwdriver in, and I'm like, I can't get it on there. I need to get my hand on it and put it in there, and I was like, Jesus. God, well, like, what am I doing? And
I'm awake now.
Yeah. So now, speaking of safety, what should have been happening was that I shouldn't have had the unit like this. It shouldn't have been energized while I was doing it. Yeah.
There's a lot of,
but I'm
I'm
trying to do it fast. I don't want
yeah.
to shut it off because then like it takes forever to turn back on. So like I'm just trying to like kind of move through but yeah. So just silly mistake. Didn't do it again.
We have maintenance crews. Like we have whole separate maintenance crews, and the maintenance crews are paid even more than we are, and they're huge crews, and the lockout procedures and all of that, de-energizing things, we have major hydraulics and pneumatics, even just like, what do they call it? Like, just if things can fall one direction or another, stuff like that. It's all kind of lockout procedures they have to go through before they can work on something. Yeah. All that stuff. It's very, very strict. Yeah. Anytime somebody gets hurt, OSHA gets involved, things like that. It's a fucking mess.
Yeah.
So should we do like actual intros?
And yeah, I guess. I mean, so like, yeah, I guess it's probably we do always do this, which is fucked up. I think like for Nick's podcast, we got like an hour and a half in. We were like, oh yeah, so what's your name?
For the audience at home.
Yeah.
Who the hell are you?
Yeah. So welcome, Krys. You're gonna introduce yourself.
Thank you very much. I am Krys Swartz.
Yeah.
I'm a professional idiot.
Yeah. We'll
You're amongst
accept
friends
it.
here.
Well, yeah,
Perfect.
I was like, we're definitely amongst friends. But yeah, above being an engineer, or what would you call your title at your
It's
work?
a rolling mill operator.
Okay.
So I'm just an operator. I just run the machine, and I work through different materials, stuff like that. It's nothing insane. It's really not. But it is pretty wild. To me, it's just work.
It's
to me, it's just
crazy.
work. And when I show her, like, I'll show her pictures of videos, like the panels and the machine running and stuff like that, and she's like, "It looks like you're running a spaceship."
Yeah.
I'm like, it's really just work.
Yeah, when you're in the trades, it's crazy what gets normalized.
Yeah, literally.
Yeah.
Like, just work. It's all good,
Walk past a sign, danger, 40,000 volts. Huh. All right.
Yeah, and you're just like, yeah, okay. And you walk right past the wires, not even thinking much of it. Other people are like, what the am I going to just die?
Dude, you want what skeeved me out? So one of the first times when I first started in the trades years ago, I walked into a switchgear room. So like I'm sure that like a place like you guys have, you probably have those
massive, massive computer rooms.
Yeah. So what a switchgear is like 4,600 volts. Are like going through these machines that like are just there to like switch power to generators, or like if you have so much power like that you have to like push it through a giant building, you'll need like
transformers.
Because like what comes into your house is like 240. That's enough to push 120 wherever you need it, and 240. But like if you had to power everybody's house, that's what these little switching stations are, like in your neighborhood,
the substations.
The substations. So in these buildings, they'll have those, and like those things are there to like take all of this voltage, and you have enough current to like push it through the building. So people have to work on those. So I have to like kind of.
There needs to be some maintenance somewhere. Anyways.
Yeah, and so sometimes like they're so big that I've worked in buildings where like there's HVAC units that are cooling them. Just the electricity going through them is just it's too hot and it'll fuck it up.
If we lose AC in our computer rooms, our machine will
yeah.
shut down.
Yeah, and that's what we do. That's like the majority of what
that's
what
our company
does.
specializes in is like data room cooling solutions and maintenance.
Gotcha.
Yeah, so IT rooms, data centers, like raised floor type stuff. But what skeeved me out when I was in there, because I was like, you see, like we were just saying, like you see like 4,000 volts or like whatever, like okay, like signs,
Yeah.
And then like you see these yellow poles that are on the side, and like I remember I asked them, I was like, what's up with these like yellow poles on the side?
So you can jam somebody off of that.
Yeah.
When they get zapped,
so it's like if they
touch them, you're gonna die too.
Yeah, dog.
And it's like, huh?
Okay, so that's where I'm at.
That's
okay.
just sitting here.
Yeah.
That's meant to be here.
Yeah.
Like,
It's
on a
forgetting the
regular
bugs on the
basis.
ceiling.
Yeah,
Don't worry about that.
Like it's fucked up,
Actually,
but
I
like it's,
remember when
it's
I was,
there because someone had to use it. Like that's
No,
why
when I was
it's there.
At some point, they found out.
when I was at ATC learning about like cars and shit.
Yeah.
They were talking about one of the teachers worked at a Ford dealership, and when they first started rolling out hybrids, which run like 480 volt DC or something crazy like
right.
that,
Yeah.
and they're like, once Ford came in and were like, okay, here's the training for servicing these hybrid cars, and here's all the special tools. Here's a fiberglass hook. Oh, what's that for? So you can yank someone off if they touch the battery.
Yeah.
And the teacher was like, yeah, they straight up told us, this will not save them. This will just stop it from getting worse.
Yeah.
Yep.
They're dead if you need to use that hook.
Yeah, we just want the dead body to catch on fire.
Exactly. Yeah.
Yeah. Because the smell is bad.
Terrible. Terrible. Ask Hitler. It's terrible.
Yeah.
That's why he killed himself. Oh, God.
Yeah. Yeah. Dude, you want to get into this? Dude, because what's funny is that like there's a lot of Hitler denial talk.
Oh, God. Oh, God. Come on.
Because like as soon as you said it, I was like, there's a lot of people that are going to be like, maybe.
Hitler.
Yeah, people go like, how many Jews? And they're like,
Jesus Christ.
I know. Dude, the same people that are all the flat Earth.
Terrible. Terrible.
We've covered flat Earth so much. I mean, I don't think we'll ever. We're not going to
You've
stop.
had well-rounded conversations on
Yeah.
it.
Yeah, extremely. I heard that they have members all over the globe.
That's good. I like that.
Yeah. Yeah, the internet's fun, but I think all that is
It is.
important.
Oh, where's our tinfoil hat?
Oh, I have it.
Perfect.
Yeah, so
Perfect.
we had to get the tinfoil hat out. We were like way too close to the election to not have a tinfoil hat on the ready.
That's
so.
fair. We don't have hair to block that stuff out, so it kind of gets a little dicey.
Yeah, up top there's low
I
insulation.
see you just committed to full shit. You bicking it now?
Yeah. I'm going just electric. I found one that's like waterproof, so I can just do it in the shower.
That's
so the
nice.
same way,
Yeah.
because like I went out and I got Bix before and like shaving cream, and like I thought it was the razor because I was like, all right, this thing that kind of sucks. Like it was just like
Yeah.
the normal like disposable Bix.
Yeah.
Because like I just kept missing pieces because like my head's all like misshapen
Oh,
and
yeah.
shit. You know what I
Yeah.
mean?
I
Yeah.
know it.
So like I would like miss pieces, and then I would be like, well, now what do I do? Like now I'm like pulling my electric razor out and I'm hitting the spots, and like, so I'm like, but all this shaving cream and stuff, I'm like, do I need it? So then I went out and I went to you heard that company Harry's?
Yeah.
Yeah. They got me on Instagram.
Yeah.
So I bought that, and it was like this nice like razors that like moves, and I'm like, oh dude, I'm in business now. And then I used that until I ran out of razors, and I like the same thing. I'm just missing spots. So like I just refused, and I was like, I'm just gonna go with electric. And I've had that same electric one since like probably 6 years.
Yeah.
And like it's still just rocking and rolling
I
on
just
the same
I
blades.
just like raw dog in the shower with a Bic razor.
Yeah.
I do hit it with the shaving cream every now and then, you know, and
Yeah.
actually do it nice. But
Yeah.
like I can't. It has to be when I'm done with it. It's got to be smooth.
Yeah.
Like I want a slick
dude,
top.
yeah. So that was the other thing. Is
It's
that
now
like,
the
yo,
Bald Man's podcast. We're
Yes,
gonna talk about how we do
dude.
our
All right, let me shove my hair in my hat so I can at least
Yeah,
pretend.
yeah. You're embarrassing us, bro.
Well, look, I'm growing this out for you. I'm almost
had
there. We'll get you a wig yet. Don't worry.
I got like this tiny little flash tattoo the other week at the dealership. They had like a tattoo artist. Her and I got these tiny little tattoos.
That's
And the
cool.
guy asked me, he's like, so what made you want to get this one done? And I was like, well, I figured if I wasn't gonna have hair, I might as well have some cool tattoos on my head.
Yeah.
because somebody who
why
has
not?
hair can't have that.
Right.
So like, and he's just like, I mean, I guess that makes sense.
Yeah.
I'm like,
Yeah.
might as well have something cool going on.
Yeah,
I can't
yeah.
have a cool hairdo. My hairline's all the way back here.
Yeah, dude. Honestly, I'm with you. Like, I wish that I could. Unfortunately, like in like my line of work, I feel like I would be inhibiting myself.
Yeah.
I
You
have
got
to
tattoo policies.
Well, not really like tattoo policies,
Well,
but
I don't
like
think
it would
Todd
be.
would be very happy if you
Yeah.
showed up with a face tattoo one day.
Well, I mean, like on my head. You know, like I don't
Yeah.
need like it's not like on my face, but like even like yours is like just kind of on the
tattoo
side.
some hair.
Well,
Shit, for
and
the
dude,
longest time, I
well,
had a couple on the back of my head, and like we wear hard hats. Some of the guys didn't even really know I had them up there yet.
Yeah.
Until I was sitting on break the one time, like, when the fuck did you get that? And I was
Yeah.
like, dude, this is like 6 months ago. Like, it's been there.
Yeah, yeah. I just like we get in front of a lot of
Clients.
rich people. I'll just say rich people, very
Yeah,
rich,
and they're
people.
always like, oh, no.
So yeah, yeah, and like even like the
part of a gang?
tattoos that I do have,
Literally.
yeah,
It's ridiculous.
yeah, like the tattoos I do have, like I still like I'm not ashamed of my tattoos, but like depending on the person I'm in front of, I like and like it's a different time, like
It
10
is.
years ago,
Times
it
are
would've
starting
been
to
hard.
change a little bit.
Yeah, yeah,
It's become a lot more accepted.
Yeah.
It really has.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I don't
But
think
there's
I
still
know.
plenty of people from that time where it wasn't accepted.
yeah,
Exactly. They're still around, and a lot of them are holding high up positions in companies or have all of them, all the money.
yeah.
Yeah.
And like,
Yeah.
I need their money. So
Yeah.
like,
Yeah,
I'll play ball for now.
Yeah. One of my favorite clients that we work with, and I won't say who, but like or where, but he's in like a really high up position, and he always wears long sleeves, and like
Yeah.
has to wear like a nice button up and like slacks and nice shoes, but he's the person that we go to like directly, and on the hotter days like he's still wearing long sleeves, but he'll like roll them up, and then like and I've always noticed like in his office like there's Harley Davidson stuff, there's
Yeah.
like cool like there's like these like little things, and I'm like, yo, like are you sick? Like you might be sick. Like, you might rule. Yeah, you might like be the man. And then like he like had his sleeves rolled up, dude, full sleeves.
I love that. I love that. When you find out that dude's like a sneaky badass.
Dude,
like,
sneaky badass, like running shit at a
sick. Hell
corporation.
yeah.
It's like, fuck yeah, yeah. So now, nevertheless, he doesn't have a head tattoo, but what I have thought about, like just in the realm of like,
Actually, could you just like look that way for the camera? Because I don't think they can even see.
Yeah,
it.
dude.
That's a sick tattoo, though.
fuck yeah,
that was my most recent one on my head.
yeah,
Absolutely brutal piece to get. It was
Oh, I
fucking
bet.
terrible. But
Yeah.
it's by far my favorite tattoo I've gotten yet. I love it.
Yeah.
I absolutely love it. I
Yeah.
kind of like I started in a factory, and then I realized I wasn't either going to be in anywhere that isn't heavy blue collar and like
Yeah.
roughneck territory or factory work, and it was like,
Yeah.
yeah, we're just gonna blow the tattoo policy thing right out of the water.
Yeah.
Got my
Yeah.
hands done first, and then it was the throat, and then
Yeah.
I'm like, all right, we're gonna commit.
yeah, dude. Like the throat neck tats are like that's the one where I'm like, that's what I was gonna say. I was like, that's where I'm like, dude,
Yeah.
I could pull it off.
Yeah, like she
I'm
got-
convincing
she
myself.
got her whole chest done, and now
Yeah.
she's like, I think I'm ready for neck tattoos. And I'm like,
Yeah,
yeah, I
fuck
think you
yeah,
are. I think
fuck
you are,
yeah.
definitely. You're going to be the mom that's
Yeah.
covered in tattoos.
Yeah.
I got my first nasty look from an old lady the other week because,
Damn.
like, we have a baby now. So, we
I mean,
go
that's
out
not
and I'm
bad.
carrying my baby. And, like, we went into an ice cream place, and it was like 3 older ladies come walking out. And
Was
the
this on a
one-
Sunday? Were they coming out of
it
church?
probably was like a Sunday or something
Yeah.
like that. It was like, one of those beautiful summer days. I got the baby. I'm all smiles. We're walking into the place, and they literally looked and were like,
Yeah.
I can't believe they have kids now. It was like, what the fuck, dude?
They're breeding.
Yeah, literally, like, that kid's going to be evil.
Yeah.
Okay, it's just
Dude.
art, but whatever.
Exactly, and that's where like that whole stigma like
Mm-hmm.
comes from is like jail tattoos and like why
It comes from a different generation.
Yeah, 100%.
I read up.
Yeah, I mean, back in their time, I'm sure it did actually mean something negative.
Yeah. I mean, like, even the smallest amount of tattoos, people didn't get served places. If you're going back to the 60s, 70s,
Right.
things like that. I
Right.
read up.
Well, I think people in the 60s might also have been refused service for other reasons.
That's fair. Yeah, definitely.
There's
it might
a
have something
lot
to do
going
with
on
the
in the
complexion.
60s.
But I read Sonny Barger's book, and Sonny Barger was president of Hell's Angels for a while. Not for a while, I guess, for the duration since it was started. And I read his book, and he talked about how they weren't or refused service or weren't allowed in certain places, not because of being Hells Angels, but because of their tattoos. And when you see old pictures of these guys, I'm talking like one that you have on your forearm, and things like that. Like that's all we're talking. Like 1 or 2 small tattoos, like those old guys that you see with the faded out, like black wash work on their arms, and it's like, you were refused service because of that? Like, really? That's kind of ridiculous, man. Like,
and as someone with a head tattoo, you're like, wow, that's wild.
I'm like, that's insane. You know, I can go to a 5-star restaurant and like get served a meal. I can dress appropriately. I got no problem. I'm not going in there in a tank top like, you're gonna fucking serve me. You know? I'll dress right. I'll be fair, but like, you're not gonna turn me away and tell me I can't go somewhere because of something. It's not like I'm walking around with something nasty on my forehead. It's not like I have "fuck you" across my forehead or something like that. Like, it's just artwork. It's not my 100%. Fault that it makes you upset. I'm sorry that it makes you feel that way, but I don't really care, man.
I know.
That's the epitome of sorry, not sorry.
Like that's your problem to deal with. You know, I don't like your blouse either, Susan, but you know, I'm not going to sit there and cry in your face about it.
And like and like it does suck that there's just like a stigma because like, bro, there's so many like my favorite people have tattoos. Like that's like just a
my
fact.
My favorite argument
man.
is like, well, how do you think it's going to look when you're old?
Fucking badass.
Yeah.
Have you seen old heads with tattoos?
Dude.
They're so cool.
Yeah, and that's my thing. I've fallen off the horse because like all my tattoo artists were in Delaware, so like I've like
and like other expensive hobbies.
Exactly, now. and just having a house in general, which is why like I fell off of cars. You know, it wasn't until this podcast I had enough like car guys, like my car friends are still doing it in front of me.
Yeah, you should have fun with this. And you were like, maybe.
Yeah, and so like. Yeah, it's just like one of those things. So I feel like now, like the tattoo god in front of me, I'm like, dude, I gotta get back.
Yeah, it's fun. I mean, we got a good we just got a good relationship with the guy that we go to, and it kind of happened accidentally. We started going. It's a guy in Glenside Tattoo, Mark, down which Glenside from here probably isn't all that far, but we like really American traditional work, and he does really fantastic American traditional work, and he always takes walk-ins, and his prices are really reasonable. So like, it was kind of like I got some cash. She went and got tattooed the one day from him, and then I went to him, and then we went again, and then we went again. So for like 4 years now, we've been getting tattooed by this guy. Yeah. And so I just got a couple extra bucks here. I'm gonna hit him up, like, Mark, draw me something up. Yeah. I'm thinking like this, and he's like, all right, cool. When are you thinking? This date. All right, come in. And it just works out because money and time never really line up the same time. It just makes it perfect being with somebody like that, where like, it doesn't matter if you have the money, and he usually has time open, so you can get in.
When
there.
you're getting a new tattoo, do you have like a design in mind, or do you just ask them to like come up with something
loosely, like real loosely? Like when I originally had this in mind, I was thinking like a snake, but the tongue coming out here with a dagger through the tongue, and it was going to be much not near as out on my head as it is, you know. But he drew it up 2 different ways, and when I got there, it was completely different from what I originally imagined. But I'm not an artist type of person, and it was much better than I could have ever imagined. It was fantastic.
It's like I would love to get full sleeves. No idea what I want though.
Then
that's what's always stopped me. That and money and time.
Yeah. Well, like I go through and we'll pick some stuff off the wall. You know, there's always artwork everywhere. They've got flash sheets and like all kinds of just drawings and stuff like that. And you just like dig through some stuff. The first time I went and got tattooed by him, I had no idea what I was gonna get. I just went and I like looked through some of his stuff, and I was like, that's badass. And he's like, where do you want it? And I'm like, I think here. And he's like, all right, cool. And I got tattooed that day. Yeah. You know, and I sent him another idea when I got the wolf on the back of my head, and he drew something up a little bit different that I liked a lot more, and that was what that ended up being. So like, he kind of felt out the style that I like, and he definitely draws up something that's perfect just about every time. Yeah. They're artists, so like that's their profession.
Yeah. I think that's like the most important part. So like when my grandmother died, like her biggest thing that she loved was Ocean City, Maryland boardwalk. Yeah. And just like people watching. She loved just watching the freaks on the boardwalk, dude.
I love it.
Yeah. So when she passed away, I wanted something to like to remember her by. And so on my chest, I wanted like over my heart. Yeah. So I went in, guys, Josh, he's big now. Like now he's like tattooing football players. But like Josh something. But I just went in and I was like, dude, I don't really have anything like I have pictures of like the boardwalk. Like if you just look up the boardwalk, like I just kind of want like a cool picture of like the bench that like what she would have sat on, and then like the boardwalk and like the theme on my chest. And he was like, cool. Like I'll draw it up and just let me know when you're ready. And like and like that was it. So like when I got there, like there were I mean, I guess luckily there was nothing I even like wanted to change about it. I just love the fact that like he did it. I mean, if there's anything that I don't remember a tattoo that I've ever gotten where I wanted them to change it, because like I know, and like because we have all these friends that have already gotten tattoos before me, they were all like, dude, just like let them know what you're thinking. Yeah. And then don't show them a picture. Don't be like, oh, this is what I want. And it's like some tattoo artist like has already tattooed
someone else's work.
Yeah. And
yeah,
so,
because like I did that with the first couple tattoos I got. You know, like I want this, and they're like, okay, they're gonna give you exactly that because that's what you asked.
Yeah.
For. But if you go in there with an idea, they'll draw something up that's super sick. And if you give them that creative freedom,
exactly, and that means the most to them. Like to have their creative outlet. Like
you're trusting them to like execute on their style, based on what you want.
Yeah, and if it's like
that gives them creative control,
right? And then just like if like just like everything, like if it's their idea, you know, like they're gonna make sure it comes out sick.
Exactly.
You know, it's like it's gonna mean a lot more to them than it probably will be to you. I mean, hopefully not, but I mean, but it does mean a lot.
And like. I've just come to be that way. I'm very open. When I got a lot of both of my sleeves done, well, this one's not even a sleeve. This is just like a couple tattoos. It was collage. I had a direction of a sleeve that I really liked, and I kind of backed out of it and grew out of that style, and it's just kind of in between at the moment. But my other sleeve, when I got all that done, it was the weirdest thing. I ordered a mattress.
Okay.
We're
following.
I ordered a mattress, and they ended up delivering 2 by accident. It's a $1,000 mattress. So they dropped off 2. I waited like months. I never got charged for it. And so I just have this brand new mattress sitting in my house. And like I'm getting tattooed the one day, and I talked to the guy, and I was like, yeah, they fucking delivered 2 of them. And he goes, what size is it? And I was like, it's a queen. He goes, you want to get rid of it? I'm like, I think I'm going to sell it. And he goes, you want to just do like $1,000 worth of tattoo work for the mattress? And I was like, fuck yeah, dude. Absolutely.
That is so sick.
But with that, I just let him, pick out random pieces and like random stuff. And he gave me some really sweet tattoos out of that that I absolutely love. Both of the ones on my neck were from that as well. Yeah. Like I just let him have freedom with that. And if I didn't really like it, then I didn't get it done. But for the most part, every time I went, I was like, that's sweet. And I got a lot of really sweet tattoos out of that. It was like the most weird thing.
Bro, modern day bartering is my favorite thing to hear. That's still going on.
Absolutely. It's so good. I was like, I got a mattress. He's like, I can do tattoos. I'm like, sweet. We're best friends.
See, that's why I was telling when we were arguing about, gold being worth shit. Gold ain't going to be worth shit if shit hits the fan. Mattresses and tattoos.
Exactly. Like somebody's going to want to get tattooed. And somebody needs a place to sleep as comfy. So
what, are you not going to sleep?
Yeah.
You're going to sleep on a pile of gold?
It's hell, some people the book of Eli. Like I have a Zippo lighter and I need my iPod charged. So here I got 14 Zippos. That's not worth anything to me. Like it's gonna be what you have it's worth something if there's an apocalypse.
Yeah. I think like not to get into that argument, but the
wasn't
only
even on the podcast, was it?
No, that was just at work, which like goes against everything I said that this podcast was supposed to do. But we were at work and like the conversation where like Adrian and I didn't see eye to eye because I was saying that like obviously if like a nuke just hit and like we're watching the blast and we survive, you know what I mean? Like gold means nothing now, but like if you do survive, like that gold like will be like.
No, this started because I said I don't understand those people pushing like anchor gold or whatever.
Like buy gold, buy silver.
Yeah, because I'm like, if the U.S. dollar crumbles, shit's gonna be so fucking bad that no one's gonna be worried about money. They're gonna be worried about commodities, supply.
Yeah.
Like that.
Well, that's
I don't know, like skills, stuff like that. Like you need a butcher. You need
exactly.
Things
I brought
like
that up as well. Yeah.
Yeah, and then I said, okay, I'll butcher your cow in exchange for bread. I don't want gold. I need bread.
Yeah.
But what my point was that like, okay, but if I can't give you bread, like, but I can give you gold, and then you can go find somebody who has bread. Because like at that point, everybody knows that like no matter what, like when at some point, like time will go by and gold was never not worth something.
Yeah, maybe when everything stabilizes.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, but like if you're in the immediate aftermath of an apocalypse or a war zone, it's going to be more so like, what do you got? I got 16 chickens. Okay, cool. I've got I've
got a cow that makes milk.
Like I've got I-beams to a house.
Yeah.
Okay, perfect. Then let's trade. You can have eggs for 6 years.
Yeah,
whatever.
my argument was like if you didn't have anything. Because like, what if you're that person has like doesn't have that thing that
Well, I
other
have
person
guns.
needs? You steal.
I have guns.
Yeah.
I have guns, and
Yeah.
I will either take this stuff or I can give you guns and you can go take this stuff.
Yeah. Adrian and I both agreed that brass at that time would be way more important
Yes,
than gold.
yeah.
Brass and lead.
Brass and lead, absolutely. Yep.
Yeah. But that was a fun.
That was like an
conversation.
hour. That was while we were on night work. That was
Allegedly.
after. No, that was after work. We were allowed
Is
to.
that
drink.
like while you're standing in the parking lot
Yes.
waiting to go home? You're like, an hour and a half has gone by, like, gold's not going to be fucking worth anything.
Yeah, we got out at 3.
I
We
got to
got
go
home. At
home. My dog's pissed on the floor 6 times by now. Shut up. Just let me win so I can leave.
Yeah, bro. We had those. Where we were like, dude, the pull out of Iraq, and like that's the
Just-
parking lot at 4:00 in the morning. Oh yeah.
It's like the pull out of Iraq. It just implodes. Everything just
Yeah,
goes to
it's
shit.
all just gets worse. the
No,
more you
we
look
had an
at it.
argument about the pull out.
Yeah. But that's the birth of this podcast. Literally, it's just Adrian and I having these conversations and like just like two different perspectives, and I feel like we're both close. Like we're both close on like the same. Like we're on the same side.
We're
of
in the same
fence.
book. We're just on different pages.
Yeah,
Sometimes.
yeah.
I mean, kind of the way everybody is, essentially.
yeah.
We're all in the same book. It's just some people are on whole different chapters. Some people are just on a different page.
Yeah,
I'm still
yeah.
convinced
Some people
are
just started
reading
reading the
Yeah.
book at 73 years old.
Yeah,
You know?
some people just read the cliff notes, and
Yeah,
you know?
and now they're just.
Some guy didn't get past the summary on the back.
yeah,
Yep, and somebody doesn't even know who the damn author is at this point, and they're just
Yeah.
like, "Oh, okay,
Yeah.
it'll work."
dude. I just realized that we
I work with some of
did
them.
30 minutes of this podcast. My dryer was still on, so that's fun. So if you guys are just tuning in now, it gets better. The audio gets better.
It's better.
Dude, I can't believe I forgot to do that. We started talking about the car.
No, we-
I got all distracted. I meant to do that. I was like, I remember I was standing there. I was like, fuck, what's I gonna do? And like it was that.
You'll have that. You'll have that
Yeah,
on these
you'll-
big jobs.
Dude,
I
love
quote that way too many times.
Dude.
It's to the point where she says it at home now.
Holly-
She's like,
Holly
"You'll have
says-
that." Fuck.
Yeah, Holly says it all the fucking time now because I started doing it.
Yep.
Yeah, and it'll be like a very serious moment, and I'm like, fuck, like I don't know, like whatever. She'll be like, you'll get that on them big jobs, and it'll just break all of the tension.
So I started working with my buddy Casey, and like
Yeah.
we started working
You
together.
want-
and
you
he's
want some
like,
of this? Want to give this a little?
Not
little
yet.
try?
I'm good right now.
Okay, cool.
I might.
That's
I'm
our
curious.
our new one. We were just gonna like. I'm kind of dying to try.
I tried it. It's very similar to that.
Is it not so like maybe not good?
Well, I mean, I don't dislike that.
Oh, it's got burn.
It's got burned.
Well, I mean,
It's.
whiskey.
I mean, yeah. It's like a. Yeah, Kentucky straight bourbon.
Well, these are both bourbons, I think.
Yeah, this is double mellowed. This is the Gentleman Jack. But I was very interested because I not to railroad your conversation, but
you're good.
yeah, anytime when we go out, we always get Monkey Shoulder to like
Okay.
to do the podcast. It's always like our like thing. It's the best. It's a Scotch, easiest
Okay.
drinking stuff. So,
Nice
but then
smoky flavor.
But I just I feel like I'm like that's all we do, and I'm like I want to get something like under $30.
Different.
Yeah, try something different, dude. It came with glasses, and I was like, fuck yeah,
Hell
like
yeah.
$30, and it came with glasses. And then I was like,
Yeah,
how,
and then
I'm,
you're
I'm
like,
in line. I'm
That's why it's
Yeah.
$30 with
Yeah.
glasses.
dog. I'm in line, and I'm like, how bad is this gonna be?
You're
yeah,
gonna find out.
yeah, it's all right.
I started making. She got me hooked on Moscow mules lately, but I really like Kentucky mules, which is whether
Yes.
it be bourbon or even
Yeah,
I do it with a lot
me
of
too.
whiskey.
Yeah.
So I've been doing them with like Jim Beam Peach, and then fresh lime juice, ginger
Yeah.
beer, or what I really got stuck on lately is what is it? Bird Dog blackberry whiskey, and you muddle up some fresh blackberries.
Oh,
you hit it
shit.
with a shaker with some lime juice, blackberry whiskey, and then you pour it in with the ginger beer, and it's fucking dude, tasty.
blackberry whiskey.
That sounds
Yeah,
good.
I
dude.
don't really jive with the. Well, I like flavored whiskeys because I like sweet stuff, but like
Yeah.
I don't really like drinking stuff straight for the most part. But
Yeah.
with a drink with fresh blackberries and all that, it's
Yeah.
super good.
Yeah, we I just went to the place Terrain where we're gonna get married. They have like a little like a shop you can buy stuff. They have these little infused jars, and they have one that was an old fashioned, and I think
Is
I
that
mean
like
if
one-time use?
yeah, it's the one we tried.
Yeah, I
on the
know.
last
I
podcast.
didn't know. If it was
Oh
just like-
yeah. You fill it up 48 hours later. Like you strain it all out, put
Yeah.
it back in the jar, and then now you have an old fashioned in a jar.
There you go.
Yeah. So
Sweet.
but it's actually really good, and I think it was like on the sweeter side. So I mean, if you were interested in something more sweet, then
Do you still
I'll
have
try.
some of that?
Yeah, we did. We with two because like when we had that, we were like, we want to try this. We wanted to try monkey, and then because I used monkey shoulder, so there's scotch in it instead of like bourbon whiskey.
Okay.
But so it's a little smoother.
Gotcha.
But yeah, big tange.
Yeah, I think I'm so used to drinking this just straight that I was like, extra stuff in my
Extra
whiskey?
stuff. Yeah.
I never. The only thing I ever drank straight was Ciroc all the time. Whenever, and you know that's just like, if I showed up with a bottle of peach Ciroc, it was going to be the most fun you had for 45 minutes, and then I was going to fall asleep standing up on the kitchen sink, and that's where that went.
Yeah.
It was always a fucking disaster.
Yeah. Yeah, and my fondest memory of you and Peach Ciroc was when you had a party at your house, your mom's house, or your mom and dad's house, and dude, I think all of our friends have the video on their phone of me getting dragged through your kitchen, and like I'm like asleep, like
Probably. Yep. Yeah, and then we ended up. You got a bunch of whipped cream all over you.
that's
Leftover
right, the
pancakes.
pancake.
Leftover pancakes just spread all around, and then we had hot dogs. He was laying there with a hot dog in his hand. It was good. He
You know
ended
what's
up.
funny? A lot of our coworkers think he's a straight-laced, professional.
No.
Yeah.
And I
mean-
walk into this company and I'm just like, what are you talking about?
Yeah.
That's not the Keith I know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I laid on
we,
thick.
I mean, we got into our fair amount of shit doing stupid stuff when
it
we
is
were
insane.
younger. Like, I spent every weekend driving down to Delaware to hang out with them. And I'd spend
Yeah.
Saturday, Sunday, well, usually Friday night, Saturday night, and then I'd go home Sunday down in
Yeah.
Delaware with, Nick, Tyler,
Yeah.
John, Julian, all them. And we just tear up the town Friday night like a bunch of idiots.
Yeah. Dude, I remember the
Drift
Sunday
in the
night
streets
Yeah,
Friday nights.
Yeah. I remember there was like a Sunday, maybe it was a Saturday or a Sunday, but I know you had work the next day. But you had the Greenie 36, and you were
Yep.
drifting around the valley with us, and I think you blew out like second
I blew up
gear.
second gear in the trans.
Yeah.
I knew it was grinding. It was one of the shitty get bag trans. And I knew it was grinding. I just I went to grab second and it went, and I just slammed it in.
Give me that
And then it was
thing.
just, and I let the clutch out and it was like, I'm like, oh no. So I just went to third and we pulled into the Wawa down the road.
Yep.
And everyone's looking at me like, your car sounds like it has a fucking rod
Yeah.
knob. Like, it's just the trans.
Yeah.
It's fine.
Yeah. And it's like 2:00 in the morning at this time.
Yeah, I had to
So-
drive home. I drove home like 2 hours like that. I just went
First,
wound first
third.
out, third. And then for whatever reason, the bottom side of the front left fender rusted out and peeled out. So I kept dragging on the ground, throwing sparks. So it's sparking away home, just rattling like how I'm like, just don't leave me sit in the middle of fucking nowhere at 3 a.m. I got to get home.
Yeah. Yeah.
It sounds
Dude.
like someone just emptied a whole bucket of gravel in your transmission.
Literally, that's exactly what it sounded like. 2 days later, I was driving it back to school, the new trans, because
Yeah.
I had another one sitting at
Yeah.
home.
And just back to our point where we just drove these cars.
Yeah,
these
every
cars,
day.
we
That was
beat
my
the
daily
fuck out
driver.
of- Yeah. Yeah, we're just in traffic and just being like, cool.
And we wonder why I was like, you know what? An automatic turbo diesel wagon sounds fantastic right now. And I'm like, maybe that's growing up. A
Yeah.
welded diff shit box with a roll cage in the back and ridiculously flared out front wheels is just not fun anymore.
Yeah.
It drives fun sideways, but when I'm going straight, I'm like,
Yeah, dude, we never got alignments. There was no alignment
no.
rack that would ever touch our car.
The best part was being at ATC and you just pull it in and align it yourself. And then,
Oh,
it was
yeah.
the camber's whatever. They're always like, your camber's stupid. I'm like,
Yeah.
I don't give a
Yeah,
fuck.
yeah.
And then we just got the toe right, and that was fine. And then you
Yeah.
just sent it down the road.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
that was that. But
Yeah, so but
the toe's
and-
right, and the camber matches. So, we're good. It's fine. It's all good.
Good enough.
Yeah, now you've moved on to bikes, dude, which
Yes.
has been a crazy evolution because obviously you got pretty deep into BMWs.
Yep.
I don't want to leave out that you went full stance life.
I did,
and that
yes.
you were
yeah,
in,
I did. I got
clean
tired of
culture.
ruining things, honestly.
Yeah.
I got really tired of ruining things. I like clean and nice.
Yeah.
And so, I got into the stance side of stuff, and I went airbags, I went BBSs on my
Yeah.
C36.
There's still some people that would argue Stanson is still ruining.
It is absolutely, dude.
Yeah.
That car. Originally, I had it on. It was Racelands when I bought it. Raceland coilovers, just something shitty.
Yeah.
And then I went to Broadway Statics.
Yeah.
And they were, they're like kind of your higher tier coilover, and it was fantastic. It drove great. I absolutely loved that car right then. So then I put it on airbags, and it drove like shit.
Yeah.
And I got like way ridiculous spec wheels, and the rear camber was down to like -7. The front was like -5, which isn't even that much, but it was so much that it was just uncomfortable to drive.
But not to leave out, like at that time when you did all that stuff, just like kind of put this in perspective for people who are listening and know what's what. Like at the time, somebody would have paid you for the specs of your wheels.
Yeah,
like
seriously.
You were
I
at
had
the
people
pinnacle.
begging me for specs on the wheels. It was ridiculous.
Yeah.
I'm like,
yeah,
it's
you
not
were at the
that big a
pinnacle
deal.
of the time for like when stance like shit was cool, and
Dude,
they're like,
they
how the
kept their
fuck?
specs so hard.
Because like I busted ass trying to figure out what
Yeah.
fit, and like I spent a lot of time trying to figure out what fit, and then I got wheels, and I spent $3,000 on a set of wheels, and I'm like,
Right.
I hope this is right.
Yeah.
And I was going to drive that car static, and I put them on with those coilovers as high up as those coilovers would go, and I was like, that's not going to work.
Yeah.
That tire's on the fender. I can't bring this in anymore. So I had to
Yeah.
go airbags. And I found a
Yeah.
friend who was an airlift dealer, and he wanted Broadway Statics. So he cut me a deal, and
Nice.
I got a whole air setup out of it. But like,
Yeah.
it took a long time to get that right. You know,
Yeah.
and then other people are just like, yeah, let me copy exactly
Yeah.
what you're doing. And I'm like, I don't know, man. Like, for the fun of it, it's building. So
Right.
like,
Yeah,
Go
but I don't
learn.
think it's fun
Yeah.
spending $3,000 on wheels just to find out you got the offset wrong.
yeah, that's fair.
Yeah,
It is fair.
But to your point, and like, because one half is it's like, with the car community, especially with like, 240s, E36s, like there's so much knowledge that gets spread around about like
Exactly.
those cars. And it kind of brings the community together. It keeps those cars on the road. It keeps people like wanting, because like if you're an idiot and you get into that car and then you have issues and you don't know how to figure it out, like maybe you'll just be out of the car community.
Yeah.
So you don't want
you'll
to
get tired of it, and
people.
you're like, this is stupid. And
Yeah.
you just walk away. But,
But at the same time, like stance is this different thing where it's like hey, like this is style.
yeah,
This isn't like
that's I think a lot of it is like you're adding your own flair to
right.
the car. Like
This isn't like the car. That,
stance
I
and
have this
show type
code.
stuff.
Yeah, like it's got
Yeah.
a rough idle. Can someone help me? And it's like, oh well, yes, all of the information is yours
Yeah.
for free. But then it's like, no, I want my
Can
car
I
to look
copy
as
your exact style? And I'm
Dude,
like, man,
man.
like you gotta get what you like. I literally had a guy ask me for specs. I gave him the specs, and within 2 months, his car looked exactly like mine. And I was
Yeah.
like, dude, I don't really fuck with that because like
Yeah.
you didn't really do. Like maybe you thought that looked good and that's cool, but like I had to search out these wheels. They were BBS RFs. You can't really find those that easy. And like
Right.
I had to search them out, and I got them, and it was fantastic. And then this dude just like went and completely copied everything. I
Yeah.
did.
So he didn't
That's,
even
like,
use like a different wheel with the same specs.
No, it was the
Okay,
same
yeah, so
wheels,
that's-
the same specs, the same like put it on airbags, and it was just kind of like it was a real letdown because I'm like, when you have your own style, you like hang out with somebody, you have your own dress style, and then all of a sudden
Right.
the next time you hang out with them, they're dressed exactly like you, and you're
Yeah.
like,
Bruh.
that's kind of fucking weird,
It's-
man.
yeah.
You know?
I
And
mean,
it
imitation's
diminishes-
the sincerest form of flattery. But,
Yeah, true.
I like if
But-
I asked for someone's specs, it'd be because I liked how the wheels fit, and then I'd go
Exactly.
get my own wheels.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, he went in airlift, the same wheels, the same setup, and I'm like,
Yeah.
come on, man. Like,
Yeah,
that's
because
not
it
that
takes
cool.
away from like how much you love it. Because
Exactly.
like you have like a connection to it, and now you see someone else have it. And if
It
someone
waters
else,
it down. And it
Exactly.
just,
I
like,
mean,
it
how about we
kinda-
just all admit that we're hipsters and we like stuff that other people don't have?
Yeah, I mean, you love that band until it ends up on the radio, and then you're
Yeah.
like, man, I listened to
Yeah.
them before that. And
Yeah,
they
yeah.
sounded cooler, and now
Yeah.
everybody loves them, and it's just
Yeah, I
it
love
doesn't-
being the only Buick at the car show, and then that other guy showed up with a higher trim version of my car, and I was feeling some type of way.
And you're like,
Yeah.
I gotta go. Like,
what's your angle, guy? What's the deal?
I was at a car show. We had a car show at an airport, and like I've never seen another one of those 62 Buicks because no one
Yep.
saved them. They all saved the Impalas.
yeah,
And then some guy shows up in a 62 Buick Electra convertible.
and you're like,
Shit.
I'm like, well, okay, so I don't have the rarest car here anymore, but hey, I've never seen one of those out in the wild.
Yeah.
and like it can be cool. I love seeing other E36s out.
I mean,
and about.
that's obviously very different than someone copying your car's build, like,
Right.
spec
Yeah.
for spec.
Like
Right.
if somebody painted their Buick in the same color that you did, which like
if
to
somebody
that-
was like, yo, what paint code is that? And then they
Exactly.
literally went and painted their car the
Yeah.
exact same
Yeah.
paint code. It's like,
yeah.
I mean, I love telling people that because it's a Honda paint code
that is
Yeah.
fun.
on a
Yeah.
Buick.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that
in
is
the
fun.
1960s.
Yeah.
Actually, one of our buddies, Casey, she just bought an '86 Supra, and it's Toyota Deep Maroon, which looks very close.
Oh shit!
that.
Damn.
So like I saw that last night actually when I was working on the Model A.
Yeah.
I was like, first
Yeah,
of all,
your friends just buy cars. It's insane.
I mean, the club
crazy.
motto is like we make bad financial decisions.
Yeah, you guys
Yeah.
you guys do such bad shit. I just want to do hood rat shit with my friends.
It happens. It happens.
Yeah. But yeah, so then like dude, I feel like am I wrong to say that I feel like you went even deeper into bikes? And like cuz I feel like you
So I went from that black E36. I was always sedans. I like the sedans. So I had my black E36 sedan, and then I had my maroon one, and I got that one. And that one was actually the guy's old like weekend track car. The guy had like tons of money, and it was his old weekend track car. It had an S52 with cams in it, had a 6-speed trans in it for an E36.
That's
it was on
sick.
Bilstein struts with like
Yeah.
light racing wheels, and it was so fun. And it looked like a regular trim car. It was maroon with tan interior. It looked like an old man car, and it ripped, dude. It was a lot of fun.
such a
So
good
naturally,
car.
I put it on airbags and ruined the drivability of it.
Yeah.
And like I never ended up finishing it or getting where I wanted to. Her and I moved, and I needed money, so I sold the car.
Yeah.
And I just kind of got out of cars for a while. I was just kind of over it. Like,
Yeah, as soon as like you get your own place, like it something switches and you're like, this shit doesn't make sense.
want a
this
fence.
is well,
yeah,
sure.
like,
yeah.
So like we just moved into an apartment, but like I bought a motorcycle right before we moved, and like I always kind of thought that I would like motorcycles.
Yeah.
My dad liked them. You know, I knew a handful. I had some friends that loved them and they really enjoyed them. I'm like, all right, so maybe I'll like motorcycles. I actually tried to buy one a couple of years before that, but I couldn't afford it. I didn't get approved for the motorcycle loan, so I was like, all right, whatever. It's not meant to be. And then I got my new job, and now I could. So I went and I bought a Harley bagger, like a Street Glide, big bagger for my first motorcycle ever.
Yeah.
Like we're just gonna go
It's kind of crazy.
all the way in. And
like this is a gigantic bike that like if
yeah.
it falls over, like you're like, I don't know if I can pick it up.
yeah,
I'm not,
like
I'm not
when I first
positive.
had it, no, I needed help to pick it up. Like now you learn the proper technique. But
yeah.
And
So, like-
luckily, those baggers are wide enough when they fall over, they don't fall
Exactly.
all the way over.
Yeah, they
usually.
fall into the bag in like a crash bar, so they really don't fall that far. But like, you know, I sold my car, I had the motorcycle, and we moved. So just kind of dove headfirst into motorcycles, you know, and that's just it took off fast.
Yeah.
It took off real fast.
I'm
'Cause
spiraling right now.
yeah, literally, like it was insane. And
Yeah, because you were dailying like a motorcycle for a while.
There's been 2 different instances, and it's usually coming into winter, where
course,
I have
which
not
is
had a car,
insane.
and I am riding my bike every single
Yeah.
day, and that's just to and from work every day.
Yeah.
It's raining at 35 degrees, and I'm like,
Yeah.
it's fine. I'm
Yeah.
just,
And so
it's
we're-
15 minutes, it's
Yeah.
fine, and then
So
it was
you
40
got-
minutes, and I'm like, it's still fine.
You got tired of uncomfortable cars and
Yes.
decided to daily drive your motorcycle into the winter.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yes. Logic.
Yeah.
You
And
know,
we're-
just
yeah.
straight to
Definitely grown up.
Absolutely. Yeah, no, didn't grow up at all. Just the only thing is it became much more expensive and much more uncomfortable.
Yeah.
And that's where we went. But like it had a lot of impact. Like I met her and things took off perfect with Cheyenne and all that, and like she really encouraged the motorcycle thing because her family came from motorcycles. They were all into that. So like, you know, I'm like, I think I want a motorcycle. She's like, so go buy a motorcycle. I would love to do that. And I'm like,
All right.
perfect. All
Yeah.
right. So I went and I bought a
Getting the
motorcycle.
green light? Hell yeah.
So like obviously that encourages that growth 10 times more. You know, you want to be involved. She loves it.
You don't have someone
I love
telling
it.
you, whoa, well, maybe we should not.
You don't
Yeah.
have somebody telling you no. You have somebody telling you like if that's what you want to do, enjoy it. I would
It's
love
sick.
to with you. And I'm like, fuck yes, absolutely. So we took off fast with that. And then, you know, we had a lot of friends, family, all this. Everybody's riding. So like the first year I got a motorcycle, dude, it was fast. Like we were riding every weekend, riding after work every time I was on day shift. You know, I'm getting with the same guys and we're just riding. And it was like, I thought we were riding a lot. I only put 5,000 miles on the first year I had a motorcycle, which for some people is a fair amount.
That's insane.
But to me, like now, that's really not that much.
If I
Yes.
hadn't crashed my bike, I'd probably be right about there.
Really?
Yeah, because I bought mine in October going into the winter, like a
Yep.
smart person.
Exactly.
And
That's when you get them; they're cheapest.
well, I mean, the bike I wanted, I had to order, so I got no discounts on it.
yeah,
But
figures.
yeah, I rode it into I rode it all the way into February before finally like, okay, I'm freezing. There's snow on the
Yeah.
ground. I'm done for now. And then I picked it right back up like in March,
Yep.
and then I crashed it in May.
Yeah.
But I put 1,000, like over like 1,100 miles on it
Yeah.
through the winter.
Yeah.
So once it like warmed up and it was nice out,
I mean, who knows how far?
Dude, it's all dependent on however far anybody wants to take it. You know, now at this point where I'm at, before this year when we had the baby, but I was typically doing for the past like 3 years. I did 20,000 miles a year. The first one of those was 27,000, and like I was 27,000. It was like 22, and then I think last year was 20,000. Like we ride all the time. I ride every day I can. You know, I bought my Lowrider S in 2021, and it's been down for a year and a half now. Not running, and that has 41,000 miles on it now. You know, I bought it in 21. By the end of 21, I already had over 22 or 23,000 miles on it, and I bought it in May.
I feel like most bikes for sale you see don't have more than like 20,000 miles on them ever, and you're putting that on in a year.
Yeah, that Heritage is a 2018. It's got 71,000 miles on it. Yeah, we ride as much as we can. We love it.
So how long after you bought the bike until you started doing the iron butt?
That stuff. So like, it kind of coincided with a life event happening, right, where we started traveling, and it took off on motorcycles. Like I was hanging around with a lot of people that really like to bar hop and drink, and like when you get into motorcycles, if you get in with the wrong crowds, that's what they do. They bounce from bar to bar to bar, and they drink, and I don't know why, but it's extremely normalized in the motorcycle, especially like American V-twin, your Harleys and stuff like that, to like, you get a motorcycle, you ride 20 minutes down the road, you stop, you get a beer, you get 2 beers. Then you ride another 30 minutes down the road, you get 2 beers. And then you ride another 30 minutes down the road. These dudes are fucking hammered by the end of the day and like making really poor choices. And, you know, one night I rode home, and when she got home, she was only 5 minutes down the road from where I was sitting at. And she could tell I was pretty well lit up, and she laid into me hard, and her and I never argue at all. So like it was like, okay, fuck
you
this.
know it's real.
This is a wake-up call.
This is a wake-up call. So like I woke up the next day, I downloaded an app on my phone with a sober counter, and I went 100% sober, and I did that for a year. And in that time, I still wanted to ride a motorcycle, but I didn't really know what to do with it. Like, what do you do if you're not riding to the bar? Because that's all we've been doing. So like, it was like the weirdest thing. Like now I look back, like that's a stupid thing to say.
It's crazy,
like,
but you're like, it's so crazy.
It's
that,
what
like,
you knew.
The identity of like riding a bike was like, go get a beer.
Tied to drinking. Like,
That's
let's go
crazy.
get a beer. You know, like so that was normal. So now I'm
So
like, what the fuck
crazy.
do I do? You know, so then we're like, okay, well, this is 2019, and we're like, okay, well, maybe we'll go ride a little further, since we don't have to worry about being sober and coming back home, since it's only one bike and, you know, I'm completely sober. Let's go to this brewery and get good food, because she liked trying the craft beers, and I like the food at breweries because it's usually farm to table, really good stuff.
Yeah.
So it was that we pushed a little further in distance, a little further, and then in August of 2019, we had a week vacation, and we were like, let's do a motorcycle trip. What does that look like? Like, I had seen pictures on Instagram of bikes loaded up with gear and stuff like that. I'm like, what does that look like? You know?
Yeah.
So we booked a hotel in Williamsburg, I think it was. What is that old town in Virginia?
Yeah, I think it's Williamsburg.
Is Williamsburg?
Yeah.
Williamsburg,
Brain
Virginia.
fart. But yeah, we booked one hotel there for one night, and then we booked a hotel in Skyline Drive in Virginia, in Shenandoah National Park.
Hell yeah.
And so we went down to Williamsburg. We did like a ghost tour of the town, and it was super cool. And then the next day we rode over to Shenandoah National Park. We spent time there. We spent like 2 days there, and we rode back. And after we got back, there was only like maybe 1,000 or 1,200 mile trip over the course of like 5 days. It really wasn't that much, but like we got back, and it was like, I can't wait to do that again.
Yeah.
So then it kind of just like time, chance, and all that fell into place where, you know, I bought a new motorcycle in November. I got rid of my bagger, and I got a Heritage. Then we got her a new motorcycle in May the following year. Well, it was 2020, May of 2020, everything crashed. So like I got laid off work for 3 weeks, and that was the most time I knew I was ever going to get. And that was the most time she was a server, so she was laid off forever. You know, she was just getting unemployment and just hanging out.
Could be indefinite.
Yeah, so like before we bought her bike, my bike went into the shop before I got laid off for service, and it ended up needing something else, and parts were on back order. So like it sat, and I got laid off the next day, and I'm like, well, is the most amount of time I'm ever going to have that I know of at one shot.
Let's take
off.
advantage.
And like, we don't have a motorcycle right now because my bike's in the shop. So we went and bought her bike, her new bike, the next day, loaded it up, and we rode across the country the next day. And just like, it just, you know, chance, all that, it just lined up perfect.
And like, it almost felt like you underplayed that. You rode across the country, Krys.
Yes, yeah, we
Like,
rode down
dog.
to it was May, so like it was still chilly up here a little bit. We were kind
Yeah.
of sick of it, so we rode down to Georgia first.
Yeah.
And like this is over a multitude. It was 2 days to get down to Georgia. We
Mm-hmm.
stopped in like North Carolina the first day, and then it was Georgia the next, and then it was over to Alabama, and then it was up into we made it across New Mexico, and then we went up into Colorado, and then from Colorado up into Cheyenne, Wyoming.
Yeah, so this wasn't even a straight across the country. You're
No,
like,
it was a really big loop.
Yeah, it was like a destination trip.
Yeah, kind of. And we did every single route we did. We did no highways, no tolls on the GPS, and just all back roads and 2 lanes.
Sick.
It was fantastic. That whole trip, I think, was like 6,700 miles over the
Yeah.
course of like 13 days.
Yeah, dude,
So
and
we got
I
back.
love that you did that because I feel like obviously that makes a lot longer of a trip, but like, bro, I do feel like
was
you
so good.
miss so much.
just
You know,
sticking to the
especially if
highways.
you're on the
Yeah.
bike.
Yeah. And that's something that we've been kind of fighting with on some of our other bigger trips is like you spend a lot of time on the highways trying to get to a certain destination, and it makes sense when you talk about it, but like you miss so much of that small town
Yeah.
America that's
Yeah,
there.
because like
You
maybe
know.
it's not the destination, maybe it's the trip.
It is,
You know?
exactly.
Yeah.
We some of our favorite roads aren't those like big name, Tail of the Dragon and all
Right.
these crazy highways. It's the other ones that you take getting there to them.
Yeah.
You don't even know they exist until you
Yeah.
hop on them, and you're like, this is a fantastic drive
Yeah.
or ride,
Yeah, and like
But-
just the experience of it. Yeah,
Yeah.
like just the experience that you're getting, even if the roads aren't as cool as the Tail of the Dragon. You know,
It's
it's
good.
that like everything else that happened in between.
Yep.
you
I
know?
mean, I'm sure it's still better than just 4 hours on a highway.
Yeah.
Just going
100%.
straight.
Yep. You get bored, and
Yeah.
it gets old, and you hop on a back road, and then you see this weird thing over there in that yard, and you see this weird thing at the
Yeah.
small gas station. You have a weird,
Yeah.
you got all kinds of crazy stories from all like the random little towns and stuff like that. You
Yeah.
know? It happens fast. It's
Hell yeah.
But that kind of took off. So like I was sober, we just started riding a whole lot, and like we just started riding more and more. So that like started our year in 2020, and in 2020 we had already planned 2 other trips for the year. That one was a completely unplanned. We just like got a new motorcycle, loaded up, ride across the country, and
Yeah.
that was that. We came back, and then in June there's a motorcycle rally that happens up in New Hampshire called Laconia Motorcycle Rally, and we were going to go to that, but that ended up getting canceled. So we just went up anyways and camped up there in New Hampshire, rode all around New Hampshire and the New England states. We rode to Maine and did all that, and that was still in the same year.
What was that like?
It's beautiful up there, dude. Like,
Dude.
your tall pines,
Yeah.
it's twisty mountain roads. It's fantastic. It's good.
I've always wanted to just go up there for like a vacation, but like like just to drive up, same thing.
Yeah.
Kind of not.
Kind of shitty.
Yeah.
So like the drive up is like very inopportune if you choose the wrong direction, because you're riding 95 up
Yeah.
through New York and like
Yeah.
right over New York City, and it's really just
Yeah.
garbage.
Yeah.
If you can like work your way up into New York State and across Vermont into New Hampshire, it's a lot nicer.
nice.
Yeah, because when we went to look at that Cadillac for Drew, we did not go up 95 because we went up to like past Syracuse, but
Yeah.
just those roads out that way are
Yeah.
beautiful.
Just like slightly off that,
Yeah.
like straight up.
Stay away from
direction,
the
just
coast.
kinda-
Yes, yeah, you gotta
go
stay away from
further
the
in.
coast.
Yeah.
It turns into a mess over there very fast.
Yeah.
We got our last time on our way back from that area in 2022. We did a camp trip up in Maine with 2 other friends, another couple, and like on our way back, the GPS starts, and it's like back to home is whatever it was, like 6.5 hours. Your arrival home is like 4 p.m. By the time we got home, it was almost 9 o'clock. And like that was just traffic backups, slowdowns. Like we were like so irritable by the time we got back home from such a great trip that it was like I fucking hate up there. I just
Yeah.
hate coming back. But
Yeah.
but then in 23, 2 years ago, I guess now, we had a trip up there for Laconia Bike Week that year, but it was the 100th anniversary, and like we went up, and for whatever reason, the route we took home was beautiful. It was gorgeous. It came across Vermont, back down through New York State, and it was fantastic. It was a really nice ride, and not too much traffic, but
Yeah.
it's good up there.
Yeah.
It's real good.
Yeah, and it does seem to be like all about planning the trips. And I know, I think it was John or maybe Newton who was talking about it, or maybe it was just you. I just saw, but you were like the last Iron Butt you guys just did.
Yeah.
You were like planning to ride around a storm.
Yeah, so
Dog,
like the
that's
storms,
intense. Like
the
that's like
storms,
it's
like-
crazy to even think about like taking a trip and going like, how do we get around the weather?
Yeah.
It's like, how long of a trip are you guys taking? This is insane. Like you just like
Yeah.
it never like crossed my brain.
Yeah, that's like the different dynamics that fall into it. Now, most of our like, I love doing the group 1K rides. I
Yeah.
really do. They've been a lot of fun. We've done 2
Yeah.
of them now, and they've been really great. But
Yeah.
I fucking hate actually planning rides.
Dog, it-
Like all of our trips, we don't plan anything. We plan
Yeah.
absolutely nothing. We don't book anything. We leave the house with the shit on our bikes, and
Yeah.
we just call a hotel when we're ready to crash, and
Yeah.
we try to find one, and that's
Yeah.
it. And we keep
Yeah.
going. We have an
Yeah.
idea. Like I think I want to go here.
Yeah.
You know, in 2021 it was I want to go to Glacier National Park in Montana.
Yeah.
So we rode that direction, and you know we just kept going.
Has that ever backfired?
Absolutely, dude. We spent absolutely. Oh yeah, we've ridden
So-
until 1 in the
so not
morning because we
advice.
can't find a.
It's
It's
not
absolutely not
advice.
advice, but it has made for some wild stories.
Okay,
you know, like
yeah.
we're riding. I mean, we rode. It was pitch black
gonna pull up
coming
his
out of
Instagram?
Colorado. Yeah, like
Can you pull up his Instagram?
Oh yeah.
coming out of Colorado
Yeah.
at night in our 2020 trip, it was pitch black, absolutely pitch black, and we just shot towards Wyoming or
Yeah.
towards Cheyenne, Wyoming. We had no clue exactly where we were going to stay
Yeah.
or any of that. But now we didn't check the weather. We didn't check anything. Now there's a lot of light pollution on the East Coast,
Yeah.
and
I
on the
hate it.
West there's not. So
Yeah.
when I say it was pitch black, I mean, Keith, like you could see the headlights.
Dog.
That's it.
That's insane.
And this
But
is
I
down
bet
the
sky
highway.
looked amazing.
Well, it
Yeah.
did every time it lit up with lightning in the direction we're heading, and that was the scary
shit.
part. Is we're seeing like it's
Motherfucker.
the whole sky is just boom, and we're like, oh fuck. So it's
I'm
just
in
like
danger.
pinning it, dude. We're doing 100 down the highway, just like ah. And we pull into the hotel, and then we got off the bike, and it never even rained. And I'm like, I don't know, but that was the most terrifying ride in the entire history of
Dog.
ever. It was awful,
Yeah.
and that's happened more than once by a long shot. You
Yeah.
know?
I'd love to take a trip like that, but I'm taking the Buick because if it rains, I've got a roof.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's fantastic. Our one time, you know, we were in 2021 when we were heading out to Glacier National Park in Montana. Well, we were going across the Midwest, and when you go across the Midwest, it's kind of boring. But if you go north, you always end up hitting the Chicago traffic in that
Yeah.
corridor there, and it's always kind of a mess. That day was straight hell. Not because of traffic, but because of the amount of rain. It started raining at about 9 a.m., and it did not stop until 11 p.m. It was just straight heavy downpours all day, and we were going
14 hours
through
of rain.
Yeah, we were going through Chicago in rush hour traffic, and we were in gridlocks, just absolutely getting soaked. It was just brutal,
Bro.
dude. It was brutal. My bike kept coughing out because the way my air cleaner is, it kicks all the water kicks up from the front tire right into it. So it literally just kept stuttering out and shutting off and getting so waterlogged.
Dude.
But by the
And so how close is like I don't know like bikes engines that well, but like are we looking at like hydrolock? Is
yeah.
that's
Oh
on
yeah.
the,
Absolutely.
That's on the horizon.
It definitely could. It
Okay.
definitely could. It never has, but it's coughed up real
Sure.
bad. It spit out in our way back home after the hurricane from the Race of Gentlemen's.
Oh, shit.
It coughed out a nice big old puff of black smoke that you see a
Yeah.
nice full moon in that one.
Wait, dude, I'm gonna put that up. Meet Krys, everyone.
Yeah. We do not take it seriously at all. It's all just fun.
No, man,
you know?
and that's the thing. Like, it's just life. You
Yeah.
know, like we're all just spinning on a rock, man, and you got to see so much of it. That's amazing.
been a
bro.
lot
And
of
you got to-
fun.
like, this is the best way to go see it. Like, I mean,
Yeah.
if you're gonna go, you know, if you want to go see the whole country, like in a car and just, you know, do that thing, I'm sure it's great. But like, bro, this
Dude.
has to be the best way.
We tried to do it in a car. I don't know if you remember. I don't know if you were there. We in 2021 New Year's in Delaware. The next day we left. Like we were down at Torrey and Tyler's and all them. They had a big party. I don't even know if you were down there for that.
think I was actually.
But,
Tory Tyler's? I don't
Yeah,
think so.
yeah,
Not
that was in the
for-
back of a Subaru.
Yeah.
But
Safety first.
in a Subaru Legacy.
So,
But,
public service announcement: if you need rules, I mean, obviously,
No.
a Subaru Legacy is good to go for taking
Absolutely.
a motorcycle engine.
Yeah,
back
absolutely.
seat.
But we tried we did a small car trip. It was January, you know, the weather was like sleet, hail, that kind of stuff. Like fuck
Yeah.
it, we're just gonna take the car and go like down into Kentucky, Southern Ohio, like just check out some new areas we haven't seen yet. We were miserable. You know, we were bickering the whole time, her and I, and like it was just not fun.
Yeah, cooped up.
Yeah, it's just not the same. You know, it's something somebody told me a little while ago. When you get into moto travel, it's when you're in a car, you don't really realize it, but looking outside that windshield and outside the windows, it's like looking at a TV screen. You know, you're just enjoying the scenery in front of you.
Yeah.
When you're on a bike, you are part of the scenery going along, you know, and it's fantastic. All the smells, all the temperature changes, all the scenery, you see all of it.
Yeah.
I don't disagree, but I think you got closer to that with older cars.
That's definitely fair.
Because my I'm still looking through a windshield, but it is a fishbowl.
Yeah.
It is excellent visibility. And then my buddy with a 64 Impala, he's got a 4-door hardtop. You put the windows down, there's nothing
on the sides of you. Yeah. It's not like, you know, when you get rid of the safety ratings, and then it can be really enjoyable.
Yeah.
But now you have big fat B pillars that are right next to you, and it's
so
like...
the closer you get to death.
Yeah,
Literally.
honestly.
Exactly. The closer you flirt with death, the more alive it feels. But if you go down, there was one from that day in Chicago. I think I posted it. But it was a nasty day, man. Like just all day, to the point where it finally stopped raining. I think it was pretty way down there. But like it finally stopped raining.
Year?
That's a good one. Yeah. But it finally had stopped raining, and then it was nightfall at that point. And you look ahead, and I saw lightning, and I started catching raindrops, and I looked at her while like we're cruising down the road on separate bikes. We have Bluetooth headsets, and I was like, if it starts raining, I might cry. Like, I'm so fucking done.
I don't know if I can handle
I'm so
this.
fucking over
I can't fucking handle this.
I can't do this again.
I feel like a kicked puppy. I can't.
Like I was so over it. There. If you go back up, there was a good picture of it. That
Yep.
That was in the middle of Chicago rush hour traffic.
dude.
Just straight waterlogged, dude. It was insane.
Yeah, so I mean, you guys maybe have ponchos. Is that a poncho?
It's rain gear. It is
Okay.
actual like motorcycle rain gear, but
Okay.
after 10 hours in it,
Yeah.
it's completely soaked through.
Yeah,
all
that
the
shit
way.
only works
Yeah.
for a couple hours.
Yeah, until
Yeah.
it doesn't anymore. So
Yeah,
it was
seems
brutal.
like water resistant, not waterproof.
It is waterproof. It is, but after like it reaches a certain threshold, it's like 5-6 hours of steady rain.
Oh shit!
Where it
5?
hasn't stopped.
It rained for 14 hours, he said.
I know,
9
but
a.m. to
I know, but
11.
like just when you hear that, because like when you hear 5-6 hours, I go a work day. I'm like because we
Yeah.
have to work in the rain,
Yep.
and like luckily with what we do and the majority of it, like most of it we can't do just because like
Yeah.
electrical, but like we have to be out there for like a lot of it, and you can duck in and like get dry and like kind of like it's like a change of socks kind of day.
Yeah.
But like
we'll
dude,
dip
like,
into a truck stop and like try to chill out for
Try
a
to
while.
wring
Yeah,
out your
like,
clothes a bit.
Yeah.
But dude, but to just get right back at dude, I can't imagine. But
It's rough.
again, like it's like the good with the bad. This is like literally the definition of you can't enjoy the sunshine without a little bit of rain.
Exactly.
Now,
The low
it's
lows
you
makes
didn't
the
need
higher
14
highs.
hours.
right. It's that secondhand fun where it's like it is not fun while you're doing it. This is absolutely terrible. We're having an awful time.
Yeah.
But that is one of the trips we talk about the most. And that day we laugh about the most because
Right.
it was such like you fought through it, and then finally, a couple days later, we ended up in Montana in Glacier
Right.
National Park on a beautiful 80-degree day.
Dude, it's
it was just
crazy.
incredible. And like,
Yeah, whenever the trip's going a little rough, you can look back on this day and be like, well, at least it's not
yeah,
bad.
exactly.
Yeah.
It was good.
Dude, that's just so crazy.
It's fun. It's a lot of fun.
So I was
we've-
telling you, Alex is thinking about doing a cross
I
country
know.
trip next year on his bike. I'm
Yeah.
like, I'll follow you in the Buick. I don't have a bike and I can't buy one right now.
Yeah.
But
And
you
so-
you can put all your shit in my car. You won't even need a backpack. It'll be great.
It was perfect.
And so when you told me that, I was literally I told him I was like, dude, my buddy Chris, like
That was-
him and his wife went across.
Yeah, so like these are all.
country.
That's what this post is about. It was like all the not so glamour shots. She broke down on a solo trip.
Oh shit.
Oh,
that was
man.
by herself on that bike. She went down to a girls' camp out in West Virginia, and that was me. So painfully hungover that 5 minutes down the road we had to get a new hotel. That is John Newton and Andrew Gallagher's fault, and John. That is their fault, 100%. That was a straight death shot. That was terrible.
You'll get that
In
on them
Nashville,
big jobs.
Tennessee. Yeah, you will get that. You will get that on these day jobs. That was a rainy ass day in Vermont. It just rained all day there,
Dude,
But
still,
yeah.
just like what a beautiful little town. I'm gonna give that a little
it's so
shout out,
sick.
dude.
It
God,
was
it's
so
such a
sick.
cool town.
Vermont's gorgeous, and
Yeah.
Vermont is very old time.
Yeah.
That's just me being an idiot. That was snow flurries up on Jim Thorpe in the mountain.
Oh, hell yeah.
It started flurrying while we were up there. And it was like, oh, that's sick. It was like 34 degrees out. And a big group ride up there started flurrying.
Yeah.
Which is just a funny feeling because you're like, it's snowing.
Yeah.
I'm on a motorcycle. This shouldn't happen.
Yeah.
You know? But
Yeah. That's
just
insane,
stupid
man.
stuff.
Yeah, it's crazy where these bikes, just these simple little machines, have taken you to. Like,
Yeah.
and all the friends, like you were talking about this off the podcast before we started, but just all the friends that you guys have met just from obviously traveling the world, but also just like being in the
US
bike,
is not the world. Believe
It
it
is
or
or
not.
traveling the country, but also just like the people that you guys meet just from being in the motorcycle community.
So the motorcycle community is a very small, like even all of it is a very small community.
Yeah.
You know, and
Well, that's
then-
why you have the motorcycle wave.
Exactly. You know, and then when you break it down even smaller to just like Harleys
Right.
and long distance riding, it gets even smaller. And like
Yeah.
when you talk Harleys with somebody, you already feel like you have a connection, you know them. And then when you start talking about motorcycle trips, then you know them on a whole nother level and they're already your friend. You know, you don't even really need to get that deep into it. You're already friends. I got
Yeah.
friends. We got friends in Milwaukee. We got friends in Florida, Kentucky. Got a good friend in Kentucky, you know,
Yeah.
all over the
Hey, I've
place.
been there.
Yep. Yep.
Yeah, that's sick.
But it's cool. You know, you meet somebody at a rally or like off at a gas stop, and then all of a sudden you're best friends and you keep in touch every day.
Yeah.
And
And like social media helps with that, but even just having people's phone numbers, checking in, sending pictures of like updates on the bike, you
Yep.
know, cool
Yep.
stuff.
All right,
Exactly.
Look where I ended up.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. Or that.
Exactly.
Or just be like, dude, look where I am.
exactly.
Which is like, can you go back up to that? That is sick. But
Yeah.
there was a like one more little bit, dude. Where are you standing?
That's
right
Glacier
there?
National Park in Montana.
That's
gorgeous.
gorgeous.
So that is the that's going to the Sun Road, which is the main road through Glacier National Park, and that's it's absolutely incredible. It's insane.
Dog.
You know, and you get to ride straight through the middle of those, and it's wild. You know, it took us 2,200 miles to get there. You get there and you see these sights, and it's like that whole journey behind you through all that rain in Chicago,
Yeah.
through the crazy heat that we were experiencing in the middle of Montana for whatever reason. It was like 98 degrees in Montana. It never gets that hot, but we hit it that day and it was that
Yeah.
hot. And it was the sun all day. But like, you know, then you finally get there and it's just, it's all of
Bliss.
that.
Perfect.
Yeah, it's fantastic. And I think that was multiple, I think it was
There's
a
more
bunch of
pictures.
pictures
Yeah,
on
yeah,
that
yeah.
one. That was,
You know, they
yeah.
say that Americans
my
tend to not be
God.
cultured and well traveled, but why do we need to leave the country when we've got all this right here?
Right, but I think a lot of people think that because you can talk, and I'm sure you guys all know people that haven't hardly left their counties or their states.
Yeah.
For sure.
You know, I have a coworker that they were meant to go up to Salem in October, and well, we didn't because she's never left the state, and we were scared. I was like,
Scared?
"What? You've never left the state of Pennsylvania, dude? This
Scared is
country is
wild.
huge, man. Like, just go,
Yeah.
just go see it. You know."
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I'm lucky enough to have at least been, around the country.
Yeah.
And you at least went to Oregon,
Yeah. And
That's
I've been,
where we're
and
headed
I've been to
next.
Key West.
Yeah.
Key West.
Yeah. Yeah, Key West was cool. Oregon was awesome. Oregon, dude, I feel like an idiot, because so this is the thing. I wanted to propose to Holly on like the same like day-ish that we also like became like an official thing. It was just kind of a
Yeah.
cute thing.
Yeah.
And so it was also like an easy like, hey, like it's going to be like our like boyfriend, girlfriend kind of anniversary. Let's go
Yeah.
to Oregon. And so I'm like, that was a good excuse to like, why the fuck else would we go to Oregon? I didn't want her to
Yeah.
know that I was going to propose, right?
Right.
So we go away out there, and I'm like, I'm checking the weather out there, and I'm like, looks pretty good, actually,
Yeah.
And so planned it all, and I have to get a rental while we're out there, and I'm going to get the rental, and I'm like, I feel like we need like, I don't want to be in like a stupid ass car,
Yeah.
I don't want to be like a little compact thing. So I'm like, I'm gonna get a truck. Like that's what I drive. Like I'm gonna get a truck. So
He did not get a truck.
so the problem is the problem was like a truck because they consider it like a 4 or a 6-seater. Like they consider that like 6 people may be splitting this or something. So it's like
What?
yeah, it was dude, dog. It was almost $600 for a truck to rent for 4 days.
Like,
and
I'll
I'm
take
like,
a Ford Fusion. That's fine.
yeah. Well, so then I'm looking through, and
Close.
I'm like, yeah, you know what? I'm going for the Ford Fusion, and then there's
No.
a Ford Fusion that's like, or whatever that like sedan is for like $299, and then like $319 they're like Ford Mustang, and I was like, boy.
Yeah, hey,
I'm
whatever.
gonna take the Mustang. So then, like, when we land and I get there and it's raining and it's like bitter cold, and I'm like, Mustang? Did I fuck that up? Like, what's going on?
You're going
It's
straight for a crowd.
No, not a convertible. No, not a convertible. But so then, on top of that, so my plan was to propose to Holly in Trillium Lake,
Okay.
which is like the basin of like this like water area at the bottom of Mount Hood, which is the
Okay.
tallest mountain in Oregon.
Gotcha.
So I'm like, this will be like super cute. It'll be like, it'll look cool. It's foggy. It's snowing. It's like ridiculous temperatures, and I'm like, cool. I'm in a Mustang, and so like, and so it's one of those things where like where we were staying, which like wasn't far, but like was at a lower elevation, and like it took 20 minutes, and then it was like it was raining where we stayed.
Yep.
We
And
left,
it's
and in
snowing up
20
top.
minutes it's snowing.
Yeah.
it was insane, dude.
The
And,
elevation is insane.
Yeah.
And like you never know how crazy it can be when you live out here
Yeah.
because we don't experience that.
yeah.
Yeah, it's flat here.
Yeah.
literally.
So like the whole proposal goes great. It's perfect. Like it's like a snowy, like wet. It's perfect.
Yeah,
It looks
beautiful
cool.
pictures.
Yeah. Oh, thank you. But then I have this idea. I'm like, well, like the weather is like subsided. You know, it's not raining anymore, so it's not. I know it's not snowing anymore. But I'm like, let's try to drive up Mount Hood. I'm like, dog.
Why not?
Dude, there's so much snow. It's so crazy.
Was it an
I'm
automatic
kidding.
Mustang too?
Yes.
Of course. So like automatic rear wheel drive. You're not going anywhere.
Dude, so the problem is that I'm going up like kind of decent. Holly's scared shitless. I'm like, I think I got this. I'm going up there. There's some cars. There's some cars going, but like there's like Toyota like Tacomas that are coming down, and I can feel them looking at
Looking
me.
at you like, you
Like-
sure, bud?
No, they're like
you're not
fucking
that
tourist.
guy.
With like, yeah, fucking tourist hatred.
God.
Like I'm being hated. And then someone is like we got to a point where like someone had like almost stopped, and then that was it. And it was like, oh, she's done. And like we can no longer, because I was doing
No more
fine.
momentum.
Yeah.
Yep.
And then I was stuck. So like now I'm on this incline. And I'm like, okay, cool. Like cars going around me, like I'm all fine. And so like I just kind of like backed up over onto the side of the road. And at that point it was like, cool, let's take our pictures. And at that point, bro, we were almost 5,000 feet, like up in elevation. Again, it was insane. I was like, okay, cool. Like this could be a Mustang commercial, but like let's get the fuck out of here.
Yeah.
So then we're coming back down, and that's when it got sketchy, dude. Because like now I'm trying to like steer downhill through all this shit.
It's just steamrolling forward.
Dude.
Like this is
Bro,
absolutely petrifying.
like,
What a
if-
great day.
Yeah.
Yeah, now you know how
Like-
they say like,
And you
know,
got to act like you're not scared, so
Oh, yeah.
she's not more
Oh,
scared. You're
yes.
like, I got this. It's fine.
Yeah,
Everything's fine.
totally
It's
got
totally
this.
fine."
Totally got this. And then we got to the bottom, and there's like a famous, like at the bottom of like the Mount Hood. Like when you go up that mountain, there's a bar that's right there, and it's like
Yeah.
the Mount Hood, whatever. And we got there, we had one beer, and like I finally calmed down, and I was like, almost lost my cool there.
That's when you finally
dude.
tell them, like, I was just
Yeah.
as scared as you. It's just I
Yeah.
can't act like that.
That was actually really bad. That's what we call danger.
If the seat wasn't bolted down, it would have been in my ass.
Yeah, if it had seat covers, they'd be up my ass, dog. Like I was puckered. Yeah, so it was. So I feel so dumb for going and like not expecting that, but at the same time, I'm
That's
like,
that secondhand
but-
fun though. Like you don't look into it, you just go.
Yes.
And then you have these ridiculous stories to tell.
Exactly.
afterwards.
Yeah, that was like that. That's like my one connection to like all that. When you were telling that stories about all this stuff, and I was like, that's like that one time where I was like, oopsies.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh,
Yeah, but it turned into like so much fun, and we had a great
Mm-hmm.
weekend, and then we got to drive. So we were in I forget what the town was called, but it's like an hour, like from Portland. It's like an hour away from the coast.
Okay.
It was like where we were staying, and that's like right next to Mount Hood. And then while we were there, we drove all the way to Cannon Beach.
Okay.
So we drove like to the coast.
Yeah.
And like that was sick. Like seeing these giant like boulders.
Yeah, like
Just
a rocky coast.
Dude, it was insane, and like all the different like structures that are there, and just how big that beach was, and it was also kind of cool. Like when we were there, it was like kind of foggy, like looked kind of shitty, and then just out of nowhere it just rained, and like by the time we ran back to the car, like getting drenched, it stopped. And then we got back out, and then the sun came out, and like the sun set, and there's like rainbows everywhere, and we were like, "What the fuck just happened?"
That's the Pacific Northwest.
Yeah, like the weather just.
I can't wait.
Whoop.
So I think next year we're going to try to shoot to the Pacific Northwest. I think that's our trip for next year. It's the only area of the country that we haven't stretched out to yet. Now there's plenty of stuff we haven't seen, but like we want to hit those states.
Yeah,
we have like a couple states in the U.S. that we haven't hit. Like some random ones down south. We haven't ridden. We've been to Florida, but we haven't ridden to Florida. Yeah. We haven't ridden to Louisiana. Another just like random one. We just haven't bothered touching it. And
making the trip.
Yeah. Washington, Oregon, and I think those are the only ones.
Yeah.
That's really it. All the rest of them we've been to.
Yeah.
But
yeah, it was amazing. I mean, like, it does seem to be like most places like that are like touristy like that. There was like a stark like haves and have-nots, which I hate to see that, but like, I guess it kind of makes sense because like where we noticed that was especially driving all the way out to the coast. Yeah, because like we're getting like coastline property kind of areas, and then you would see like a trailer that's like next to like the same like multi-million-dollar property that's just like overrun, and then the next house has like a gate. You're like, yo, what's life like out here?
It's insane, dude. Like this whole country is it's very crazy. Vast, and like a lot of people don't realize. Like you go to other countries in like the United Kingdom and stuff like that, and their countries are the size of our states. So like we see so much of such different landscapes and all that just in our own
lifestyles.
Yeah. So we did our group 1K last year, which was 10 people. We did 1,000 miles, and like on our way back, we went through just a random twisty road I found in West Virginia. It was a extremely poor area, extremely poor, and it's wild to see it because there's run-down shacks, like stuff that you wouldn't even want to explore randomly. People are living there, and it's insane. Somebody looked it up later, and they said like the median income for that area is less than $25,000 a year. That's crazy. And that's how those people live. And it's just wild to see because John's on the headset with me. He's like, I've never fucking seen anything like this, dude. Like this is wild.
I didn't know this existed in our country.
And it's not that far from home, right? It's really not. But I've been really enjoying starting to bring other people into it. Like John and John are getting heavy into riding, and it's been really fun to start showing them like the outstretch of it. And
so you really are an enabler.
What's in it?
Absolutely. Like what you can do with this and how fun it can be. So next year, I think we're going to drag them to the Smoky Mountains. Yeah, we rode to a wedding.
I thought that was the Distinguished Gentleman's Ride.
No, I want to do that. I really do want to do that.
Suit
it looks
and
like
tie
fun.
on a bike. It's sick.
But I think we're going to drag them down to the Smoky Mountains next year, down to Tennessee and all that, and hit a bunch of good 2 lanes down that way. We love it down there. It's good riding down there.
Yeah,
it's gorgeous.
Colorado. That is a $1 million highway in Colorado, which is just insane.
That $1 million highway.
Yep.
Well, certainly looks like it.
It's some
they
of these
spend it on the trees.
Yeah, the view's $1 million. The road itself's looking pretty.
The road's like $43.
Yeah.
But it is insane. Like the highway carves right out the side of a massive cliff that just goes straight down.
Yep.
And the road sits at like 8,000 and 9,000 feet elevation all around. So it's pretty wild. You're riding right along big ass snow piles and shit like that. Damn. It's cool. Colorado is definitely one of my favorite states. I mean, it's hard not to. The vastness of it and how quick the landscape changes is just insane. The Rocky Mountains
recognize that corner.
Yeah, that's probably where Ken Block went.
Yeah.
Sending it through.
I'm gonna pee real quick.
I want to take a pee break. Well, actually,
hell yeah. We'll get back to Colorado.
Yeah.
A funny story about that. So, because especially John only drinks Coors Light.
Only.
And
I'm convinced he doesn't even like it anymore. He just drinks it because that's his personality.
Yeah. So back when we would do some real drinking, we went out into to Phoenixville to just kind of do a little bar hopping. And Phoenixville, as you know, is like it's very like hippie kind of like trendy kind of bars.
Yep.
So he was already drunk, obviously. We walk into this place to go get a beer, and John goes up, and like the bar is kind of open, so we both walk up, and John knows I want a Coors Light, and he's just like, "Hey, 2 Coors Lights," and the guy's like, "Oh, we don't have Coors Light." He's like, "What do you think? You're better than me?" Like just dead ass to this guy, like, and I'm like, "Oh fuck!" And then the guy's not taking it well, like you can see. And then John's like, "I'm fucking with you. Like, what do you got?" And the guy was like, "This," and he was like, "Oh, we'll take 2 of those." And then like the guy walked away, and then John looked at me. He was like, "Oh shit!" Like I was like, "Dude, you just said that to that guy."
Keith, why does he love being a problem?
Dude,
because he does
he
this,
is.
and then what? You know his stature. It's gonna be our
Dog.
problem because he's
Yeah.
like, yeah. Fuck this guy, and I'm like, John, I don't want to fight him.
Yeah.
Okay, like, come on, because I know he's gonna beat me with you.
Yeah.
He's gonna pick you up by your lanky legs and just beat your ass.
Yeah.
Like, stop.
Yeah. John is nuts, and you're right.
They said they were out at a bar hop, and I don't know where this was. This might have been in Philly. I don't know. It was John, and I think John, and Peter were all together. I don't remember the whole entourage for this one, but they were doing a bar hop, and John deliberately elbowed a guy, bumped into him hard, and then stared at him and goes, "What?
What?
And the guy's like, "The fuck's your problem?" He goes, "What are you talking about?" And just like completely denied hitting him, and the guy was ready to fight him. And they had to like cool the situation down. And I'm like, John, why are you like this? Because you're not gonna win. This isn't like like this is fun because I'm bigger than you and you're not gonna start shit. Like somebody's just gonna hurt you, and that's just that. And I'm gonna let him get some good licks in before I jump in there, okay? Because you earned it at this point. Like,
I think that's what John calls his like alter ego when he's drunk, Randy. He's like, he's like he becomes Randy.
What was that you were saying from the other guys? There's a demon he's got to get.
Yeah, there's a demon inside. Yeah, Gator wants him walking around, honey.
Get out, walk around. Yeah, literally him.
Yeah.
As soon as the liquor touches the back of his throat, he's like,
yeah.
I'm gonna piss somebody off tonight.
I don't want to be part of the problem. I want to be the whole
The
problem.
entire thing.
Yeah,
Yep.
I want to look back and people go, "Yeah, it was John," and then that's how the stories always go.
Always. God, I love him.
He's
What
a
fucking
mess,
asshole.
but yeah, he's good.
What an asshole.
Yeah, it was fun. It was fun, like having him on and just like letting him just like kind of geek out over like his thing. Because like, dude, but I want him and Nick to come back on because like both have so many stories, especially just like before I even met them. Like, you know, their old like childhood stories. Like,
Dude,
while
got
we
some
were all
wild shit that I literally sit there like, there's no way that's a real story. It's wild.
Like when you were 14, like, you know, we're just like riding bikes and we're having fun and like, you know, maybe we're smashing windows in an old house.
You know, they
or
were
something.
taking like fake. I won't even get in.
Dude.
I'll let John tell that story. 'Cause that
Yes.
one's a good one,
Yes.
dude. That one is a good story.
And some of them John may or may not be able to tell, so we'll let him tell them if he's
You'll have to
ready.
tab in the allegedly.
Yes.
Allegedly.
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 It's our favorite qualifier.
Yeah.
This is AI generated.
Yeah.
Not a real story.
These are altered stories. For
I read this off
for
Reddit.
entertainment purposes only. But yeah, we left off Colorado. If you want to go back.
So Nick Peaceclock and Nichols,
Yeah, so Nichols,
they moved out to Colorado. And like that was like, so Cheyenne was born in Colorado.
That's crazy.
And I had no idea when we got together, obviously.
Right.
And the more we talked, and she was like, I didn't give a flying fuck to travel, honestly.
Yeah.
I really didn't care. Like content in my little state of Pennsylvania, doing whatever I'm doing, and that's fine. Her, it was like a make or break. Like, we're traveling, period. I want to travel.
Yeah.
I like traveling. She spent a lot of time in and out of Colorado, all over it, before we even met. And so, like, that was kind of a big drive. And then, okay, fine. Well, then once we started to find motorcycles and really get into it, then I found a form of travel I liked. So it kind of just, like, really really
Yeah.
work. But Colorado's always been like a hub in any of our trips where we pass through a different part or stop at a different part every time we go through.
Yeah.
But then the last time you went through in 2022, Nick Peacock called me. He was like, "Yeah, I don't know where you guys are at, but like if you need a place to crash, you got my couch.
hell yeah.
Like more than welcome. This, that, the other."
Yeah.
And that's the
Hell
kind of stuff I love about
Dude,
travel.
I know,
because
it's so amazing.
it's so good.
Yeah, and to know that like that Nick also started in like Delaware and
Yeah.
was just like, you know,
Like,
had the same attitude.
He's a friend. I lived in PA. He's a friend that I met at an automotive school
Yeah.
in Broomall, Pennsylvania, who's
Yeah.
from Delaware.
Yeah.
And now I might crash at his house in Colorado because I'm traveling through there, and that's where he lives now.
Yeah.
Like, just such a wild thing.
Yeah,
The world is so small. It really is. Like, we think
Yeah.
we're...
It can be if you make it small.
Exactly.
Yeah.
We think we're so far away from one another, and, like, we're really not.
No, man.
We're really not.
Yeah.
Just a couple days drive, and that ain't that much.
I know.
Although to the European mind, that is impossible to fathom.
Yeah.
I've seen so many people,
Yeah.
like stories online of like people like, yeah, you know, these European tourists came in, we're in New York, and like, yeah, we're thinking about going to visit Florida tomorrow. It's like,
Huh?
Yeah.
you have no idea.
Yeah, it's definitely something that I would want to do too. But like you said, you know, doing it on a bike and like find that you love bikes, like that's just such an amazing way to do it. And like, I just almost don't want like even like sell myself short, but traveling for sure is like on the list. I think for Holly and I, we just love the dogs so much that like
Yeah.
we want to take them with us.
Yeah.
So I don't think if I would ever go as far as like doing like a van, like a camper, you know. But like
Vans
doing
are- dude, vans are
doing
sweet.
Yeah,
Vans are sweet.
It's
But,
become
like-
a rich person's hobby though, so now everything's expensive.
Oh no, you get a crummy 1985 Chevy van
Hell
yeah.
that's got a 350 in it, and it's
Yeah.
gonna run forever. And you just rattle that bitch across the country at 55 miles an hour.
Actually, you know, when we went to East Coast Bash, there was like an old Dodge van, and
Dude, they're sick.
Yeah.
I drove the
Like the
Buick after, so they
18.
walked right over to me. And
Yeah.
they're like, "Oh, did you drive this here?" I'm like, "Yeah." You know, it came like an hour and a half, 2 hours, or whatever it was
Yeah.
from PA. Like, "Oh yeah, we just drove from like, where did they say they came from? Like Colorado or something?" I'm like,
Yeah,
Yeah.
In that?
Yeah.
Oh yeah, oh yeah. I know a handful of people that love them old crummy vans, dude, and they're sweet. They're so
Yeah.
good. They just
Yeah.
they just literally just rattle their way across the
Yeah.
country. It's just shitty
That's
and slow.
exactly what it is.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. But even like Adrian's point with him saying like, you know, like wanting to take his car on like a cross country road trip.
Yeah.
Like be just off the fact that like Adrian can drive 20 minutes and someone be like just stops him and they just say like, "Oh my god, I had one of these," or like "Oh my, what year is this?"
Yeah.
And like just that like just kind of creates this like fun thing, like, you know, you're driving this cool thing across the country.
I went to the Wawa. I was going to our like car clubhouse, and I stopped at the Wawa over by ATC,
Yeah,
and
Yep.
I caught it right where it was there like the
lunchtime.
evening class lunchtime.
Yeah,
And-
so it's swarmed with a bunch of blue shirts.
well, yeah, like as I'm leaving, there's no less than like 3 people recording me.
Yeah.
Yep. I love
Yeah.
that. I love
Yeah.
that. Dude,
Yeah.
it's something I always love. So I like had this fantasy back when we were in ATC where like me and like my closest friends all get our cool cars that we built, whatever it was, or like whatever we had at the time, whether it was an E36 or like John, it was like John with his 240, John with his 240, me with an E36, and maybe like
Yeah.
I think Peter had his AE86 at the time.
Bro, which was crazy.
That thing
SR
was
swapped.
sweet. Yeah.
Yeah.
But so like I was like, what if we just took these cool cars? And this is just in my mind. I don't even know that I ever really talked about it. I might just
Yeah.
like mention it once in a while or something like that.
Yeah.
But like and just like drove them across the country.
Yeah.
Like these things that shouldn't do that.
Right.
And just like made a trip out of it because
Yeah.
it could be so cool.
Yeah.
And then like the motorcycles have kind of been that outlet because
Yeah.
it transferred into that.
Yeah.
Now they're
Yeah.
all getting into that, and I'm like, this is exactly
Cool,
what I was
finally,
wanting.
we're on
Yeah.
the same page now.
Yeah.
Exactly, and
Yeah.
it's so good.
It wasn't how like you thought of it at first, but like this is like the final
You're
product.
getting there.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. We're
Yeah.
getting there.
And I mean,
Yeah.
like, yeah, we were talking about how, like, as you get older, you kind of just go and do your own thing and you don't go out anymore. But since joining, you know, the Outrunners, like, car club, I've been going out a lot more.
Yeah.
Doing shit with friends, with like-minded individuals with all these old cars. Like, when we went to Trog, I drove down with my buddy Alden and my buddy Drew. I'm in my 62 Buick. Alden's in a 62 Chrysler, and Drew's in a 64 Impala.
and
Yeah.
it's so cool.
Yeah.
And we're
It's
just
so cool,
going
dude.
down the
Like,
highway.
it's just badass.
Yeah.
It's so much fun.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it's exactly that. Like, you know, I want to take these cool cars that people look at and go, you can't, like, go on a trip.
Yeah.
And then just, like, Drew, before he bought his Impala, because he was looking for a car to buy to go down to Trog in.
Mm-hmm.
And one of the cars he was looking at was a 62 Cadillac. It was up in New York. So we're sitting there. He's like, "Does anyone want to go with me to look at this car? Because I don't really know old cars all that well."
Yeah, want some kind of brain with
someone
you.
to like tell me like, should I buy this or is it not worth it?
Right.
So naturally, I'm like, yeah, I'll go. And then we have the discussion of like, okay, are we taking Drew's 2023 Toyota Corolla? That will definitely make it.
Or
Naturally, we're going to look at an old car. We're going to take the old car.
Yeah, fuck
So-
yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah, Drew was more concerned about it than I was because I'm like, this car's never given me an issue. Like,
Like, I
never given me
fucking
any
got
reason
this,
to doubt
dude.
it.
Yeah.
But it is 62 years old.
Yeah.
And Alden with the 62 Chrysler also went with us, but his Chrysler would not have made the trip. When we didn't know it at the time, but
Yeah,
later we
there's a
found
difference
out.
between like excitement and like just a death sentence.
Yeah.
Just a bad time.
We didn't know it at the time. We found out like a couple days before we left for Trog that his alternator was charging at 18 volts.
Yeah,
That's
so that'll
exciting.
do it.
Yeah, so that probably would have
It
been
was an
very
overachiever.
bad. But yeah, so me and Alden are like peer pressuring Drew, like we should take the Buick. We should take the old car. We're going to look at an old land yacht. We should take the land yacht.
Absolutely.
And right up until like the day of, Drew's still on the fence, and I show up and I drive up in my Buick, and I'm just like,
Get in.
get in.
I have a gun. Get in the Buick.
So yeah, we drove.
Yeah, get in, bitches. We're going shopping.
We drove.
This is men's shopping sprees. Like,
Yeah. So we hopped in. We drove 4.5 hours to
antique car to drive 4.5
Syracuse.
hours. Get in, bitch. We're going shopping.
going shopping.
He ended up not buying the Cadillac, but I gained a lot of confidence in my car that day.
Yeah, and you had a
Yeah.
fun trip in an old car.
Yeah,
you
dude.
know?
Smiles per gallon. Like all the people that were like stopping.
That's the other
and-
thing. Like we're deep in New York State, and people see a '62 Buick with a PA tag.
Yeah.
Like,
So
hell
like,
yeah.
we've got people literally
Yeah.
pulling up, getting in front of me, slowing down, waving me around because they want to record me doing a flyby.
Yeah,
Yeah.
like we've gotten it a lot. Like you're at a
Yeah.
gas station in South Dakota and they see the plate and they're like, Pennsylvania, you're a long way from home. Like,
Yeah.
a little bit.
Yeah.
A little bit.
Yeah.
It
Just got on
depends
a
who you
cruise.
ask.
Just doing a
I mean, my
cruise.
attitude is like, they drove these cars every day in the 1960s. Why can't
Absolutely.
I do it now?
Yeah.
Absolutely.
If you wanted to go on a road trip or a vacation, you took this. It can
So,
do it.
Yeah, like that's always been my thought. So like when you get into the motorcycle side of things, people get uncomfortable
You
with
go
the
into
thought
third
of like
world countries. That's their
Yeah.
family car.
in
Yeah.
Vietnam, like purchasing a car is not
No.
not a thing.
No.
That's a fantasy. And like you buy a scooter, granted, but
Right.
like still like that's just what they
There's
want.
a
Yeah,
lot
a
of
around.
motorcycles.
250cc
But if you go
motorcycle's
back
a
to
big
like,
bike.
Yeah, if you go back to like 1930, people still rode tiny little pea shooter motors across the country.
Yeah.
It took them months at a shot, but those roads weren't roads. They were dirt roads.
Yeah.
They were gravel. They were like non-incorporated areas, and they still did it. And
Yeah,
you
modern
have
bike
people-
has no reason not to make it across.
yeah,
the
and you have people with cruise control, GPS, a giant tour pack, and
Speakers.
they're like, I don't know if I could do it. I'm like, you're a
Yeah.
fucking
Yeah.
bitch. Like, just do better. Like,
Yeah.
you
You've
can
got
do
this
better.
massive fairing. As long as it's not raining, you don't even feel the wind.
Yeah,
Exactly.
Heated
Like-
grips and stereo.
So in 23 in July, we had already planned to go out to Milwaukee for the 120th Harley anniversary. They had their
Oh,
big
that's
party in
sick.
Milwaukee, and it's cool. She's pregnant as fuck. She's
Oh,
6 months
shit.
pregnant, but we were still planning on going.
It's a 3-month
So-
barrier. You're good.
What
You're
we
safe.
did was we borrowed a big CVO Ultra Classic from the dealership she worked at and rode that out there, which is like
okay.
fully loaded. Dude, got heated seat, heated grips. It's got the navigation. It's fucking huge. It was on my Instagram. The only thing is this one's been sitting on the floor forever. It's way
Yeah,
up there at
it's
the top. But
23,
like,
you said, right?
yeah. But this one was sitting on the floor forever because the guy took a beautiful motorcycle and added absolutely heinous tribal, like orange tribal paint onto it, and it was fucking ugly as sin. You got to keep going up pretty good yet. Wait. Down
Dude,
low.
I loved your yellow bike.
That I fucking miss that thing so much.
Dude, and if anybody
it
is
was
listening,
that thing right there,
Ah,
ugly as sin. It was a
Yeah.
beautiful brown two-tone that was absolutely gorgeous, and
And-
then he added all that weird tribal shit and clear coated over it.
oh no.
clear coated over
Yeah, so
it,
it couldn't
brother.
be. They ended up having to get it painted before they could sell it because they couldn't sell it like that.
Yeah, no
but like,
shit.
dude, Talk about a couch. I mean, oh my God.
Dude, that is so nice.
That back seat's looking way more comfortable than you would have been.
Yeah, exactly. So like she was
Yeah.
pregnant on the back and she was falling asleep on the back.
Hell
They're like
yeah.
happy as can be.
Hell yeah.
Absolutely loving it. Like, dude, we
Yeah.
did 750 miles on the first day and it was cozy. My ass felt like I just hopped on in the morning. By the end of the day, it
Yeah.
was like, this is great. I could ride this thing all day.
Dude.
It was fantastic. I honestly loved riding that thing. But the only thing I really hated is it's huge. It's cumbersome. It feels
Right.
like heavy.
Yeah,
you
once
know?
you're off the main road and you're like
Yeah.
going around town through parking lots, you're like, all right, that's a
Starting
lot
to feel
of
the
It
weight.
bike.
sucks. It sucks. And like I like fast, you know.
Yeah.
So like I like rippers, you know. I
Yeah.
like to get into the twisties and really get into it. And that just
Feel.
didn't feel like it had it, you know. If,
Yeah, she makes torque.
Yeah.
But she needs every last bit of it.
yeah, like we could hit the highway. We were cruising at allegedly 95, and it was
Yeah.
fantastic. But like, you know, once you get off the road and you're in the city and navigating that traffic and shit, it was like no wonder these old heads drop them when they reach 70 years old.
Yeah.
because the fucking thing's heavy as shit.
Yeah,
And it
it's
feels
like that's like a
awesome.
900-pound bike.
Yeah.
1100.
Oh, 11.
It's like right around 1,000. I think it's right around 1,000 pounds. But you got your check on the back and
Yeah.
all our gear. So
All the
like
gear.
with
Yeah,
all of us
That's a
collectively,
1,100-pound bike.
yeah,
Yeah.
you're holding
Yeah.
up like 1,500 pounds with everybody and everything involved.
Yeah, that's crazy.
And these dudes go at like 80 years old and they're like, man, I just can't ride anymore. Like, no, you can't ride that.
Get us-
okay?
Yes.
Yeah,
Yeah,
get something
yeah,
smaller
yeah.
and then you can keep riding.
Yeah.
But we really enjoyed that trip still. And that bike made us able to enjoy that trip with her being so pregnant yet, which
Yeah.
worked out perfect.
That's amazing.
I'm guessing a Goldwing was out of the question.
For a Harley dealership, yes. Yeah. Yeah. They didn't have any in stock at the moment.
Yeah.
I literally, like, it worked out well because I was just like, do you think we could borrow this? And they're like, yeah, absolutely. Here's a dealer
It's
tag.
not like
You're
we're going to
good.
fucking sell it.
Oh yeah. Yeah, right. It's not it's not fucking going anywhere. You're the best thing that's happened to this bike.
Yeah, it was good, though. But
Yeah.
when we pulled in the parking lot at our hotel, there's a bunch of younger guys with bikes like we have, you know, like the style that we have and everything else. And the glares that I got
Oh no.
made me want to
Oh, no.
sink into my soul.
Oh,
They literally
no.
looked at me like, huh? I'm
Yeah.
like, I'm sorry, man. It's
It's
not,
a
this isn't
rental."
mine.
It's a rental.
You know,
Do you have pictures of like the event you guys went to in Michigan? For Harley?
there was a whole story on it, but like
Back on
I
the
mean,
top.
we naturally the way we do things. Go to, no, it would be further that way. Yeah, pretty far over. That was one of the more
PA
recent
to
ones.
Maine. So also, I just want to add.
100th Laconia, Harley Davidson 120th.
Yeah.
That was that one. Yes. So we went the long way instead of just going straight like we always do. We're boneheads. Instead of just going straight to Milwaukee, we went up through Michigan, up through the Upper Peninsula, up in I don't know if you know, but like there's a whole section of Michigan where it stops isn't where it stops. There's a whole leg of it that goes up over, and then there's a
shit.
big bridge called the Mackinac Bridge.
Mackinac Bridge.
So yeah, you can see she's good and pregnant at that point, and like she was uncomfortable. She didn't really want to ride her own.
Right.
I think the last time she rode her own bike was 8 months pregnant. But like we got some rain gear and some rain, and we barely
Yeah.
got wet behind the giant fairing or any of that.
Yeah.
It was fantastic. But yeah, so we went like way up into Michigan.
Yeah, and I just want to add to I'm gonna put
Michigan.
I'm
Game
gonna
Lord.
put your Instagram in this. So if you're watching this, just like click Chris's Instagram and just go through all like your whole Instagram is like
Titties.
titties with D's.
Yeah.
But yeah, just going through all of this, it's like it's so amazing. You
Yeah,
know,
like I said,
and like
travel
watching,
blogs are popular. You might be able to make some money off this.
Yeah,
It's
but
possible.
Just watching
So,
you
like,
guys
there's-
go through all this has been nuts.
There's a shoreline road that goes right along the right along Green Bay, which takes you down into Green Bay, and you can see like it's pretty sweet because you can kind of see where the water turns from like mostly blue to like kind of a greenish tinge, and you can understand why they call it Green Bay. And it's just it's so badass to see that kind of stuff.
That's crazy.
But like weather wise and everything else
looks
for that day,
Perfect.
yeah,
for that day, she was on the back falling asleep. She was just like it was just perfect. It was fantastic. And that's when we got into Milwaukee. You know, we got down there for the anniversary. We hit a couple different events going on down there. You know, we saw, what do we see? So that's a Mackinac Bridge. That's what connects Michigan to the Upper Peninsula of Michigan. Fuel Cafe is a huge motorcycle spot. And there's a Harley Davidson museum is obviously
Yeah.
in Milwaukee as well. So we hit that. for all that stuff going on. It was cool. Yeah.
Baby's
Yeah,
first
dude,
museum
also-
trip.
He doesn't even know it yet, but he's already been to New Hampshire. He's been to
different
Milwaukee.
Yeah. Yeah, man. I mean, and I already know, like, that kid is going to have the best life ever. Like, you guys are going to be, like, the best rock and roll
It's
parents fucking ever.
It's
Like,
been sick.
Yeah, it's amazing. And it's beautiful to see it. And it's also... it's also been like super beautiful to see you guys like just kind of incorporating the baby into your life, like just like you in the garage, just kind of hanging out and like because like what you haven't gotten to yet as well is that like all these bikes that you've been taking, you know, like these miles don't come with punishment or without punishment.
Yeah.
So like you have been taking apart engines, putting them back together. Figuring out that you did it wrong, like stuff like that. Like
Figured out I
like,
fucked
dude,
up, man, and we do it again.
Yeah, bro. So like you have been in the weeds on these bikes.
That's a new bike that's supposed to be coming out in 25.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
That dude's drip was insane. By the way, I had to throw that on the story because that was ridiculous.
Boy.
The Air Maxes with those shades
Dog.
was just outlandish.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, he's eventually gonna end up with the bikes with both
For
of our
sure.
bikes. Like her Heritage, the bike I rode here, and my Lowrider S, the maroon one. Those aren't going anywhere. We're keeping
Yeah.
those forever.
Yeah.
Eventually, he will end up with those. It's just a matter of when he can finally pry them from our hands.
Yeah,
But they're gonna have a
Yeah.
couple 100,000 miles on them on like the
Yeah.
third or fourth motor at that point, and all kinds of stories to boot.
Oh yeah, and
And
it'll be
that's the
cool to like
plan.
just see like what like he also wants to like when he kind of grows into like what Harley fits him and like
What are you
his
gonna do if he
styles
wants a
and
sport bike?
I'm gonna let him have his sport bike, and then
Yeah.
I'm gonna give him his run for his money.
yeah,
As
and
much
then
as I
he'll
can.
realize that he bought the wrong bike.
It was just so funny. So to me, that bike, like, if you get rid of the tribal stuff on it, I think it's an absolutely
It's a
beautiful
good bike.
motorcycle.
I'm a
It's a
sucker
good
for
bike.
brown, obviously.
Yeah,
Absolutely. And we got so many compliments on that thing.
yeah.
Everywhere we went, they're like, "That's a beautiful motorcycle." I'm like, "Can you
Yeah.
fucking see?"
Yeah.
Because
Yeah, you-
I don't think so.
So obviously,
you fucking with
what
me?
the dealership should have done was just trade it to a dealer out towards Milwaukee.
Apparently,
Yeah.
I was trying to sell it hard.
Yeah.
Like I was like, "It's for sale. Like it's at the dealership, ready to go." And they were
Yeah.
like, "I'm not.
Yeah.
My wife wouldn't let me.
Yeah.
Whatever."
So they're just being nice.
Exactly. That's what I'm thinking. But we got more compliments on that than I've ever gotten on any other motorcycle, which was
Yeah.
wild.
Yeah.
Even on more than the yellow one?
Yep.
'Cause
I got a
that-
lot.
yeah,
I did
the
get a lot of
yellow
compliments
That's
on
an
the yellow
attention
one.
grabber.
That
Dog.
thing was fantastic.
Yeah, the yellow bike is sick. I think that's my
It was
favorite.
fun. That was
like, that's the most
2005.
fun.
2005 Road Glide, and it was.
Yeah.
I got it. It looked like an old man bike, and then I threw a slightly bigger, cooler front wheel on it. I did a big bore kit, some T-bars, different handlebars, and
Yeah, see if
rode
you
the
can
shit out of
find because that's how like is this a good picture for its like final?
yes,
This
that's
because
exactly
it
how
looks
I-
sick.
How much
now.
did that pipe cost?
That pipe was $1,600.
Oh my god!
You see how much material is there compared to like a full exhaust on a car,
Yeah.
and it's like no, that was like two bands. Why?
Yeah.
I don't fucking
Who the fuck
and
do
it
they
cracked.
think they are?
It cracked up at the header too. I had to get it welded.
Was it titanium or something?
No, it was just regular stainless. But
Yeah.
like I took the Bassani pipes are really bad for when it goes on and then wears
Yeah,
in.
big
It's
bore kit?
perfect. Yeah, that's when I did the big bore
big
kit.
bore kit.
And
Here, I'm gonna switch to that.
so
Yeah, so so you've done so much of this.
Yes.
Like this is like, and you have rebuilt bikes and then like rebuilt the engines and then put
Yeah.
the miles on them and then be like, hey, it's time to put new pistons in
Yeah.
rings. Like,
well, so like that one, it's all been a trial by fire kind of deal because we moved to an apartment. I didn't have any room to work on anything, so I honestly just stopped working on shit altogether. I just
Yeah.
let the mechanical part of me just disappear, and I just
Yeah.
took our bikes to the dealerships, got them serviced there,
Yeah.
and didn't worry about any of it. But
Yeah.
when you ride all the time, dude, it costs $1 million to get service done at a
Yeah, I
dealership.
know.
A regular 5K service at a dealership runs you over $500.
whoa.
So like, yeah, okay, we need tires every 8 to 10,000 miles. That's another 300 to 400 for just a front, let alone a rear.
Dude.
So like, we're out in like 10 to 15 grand in service on both bikes a year. So like, once we finally moved into our house where we're at now, I had a garage. I just took over everything, and like I just started going
Yeah.
nuts. And it's been a lot of
And Harleys might take more maintenance than a Japanese bike or whatever, but it's still the same basic shit they've been doing since the 1920s.
Exactly. Yeah,
So you can do it yourself.
These motors are glorified tractor motors.
Yeah.
It's a Briggs and Stratton just with an extra couple attachments. It's really it. Dude, it's simple. So like it's really not that hard, and that's why a lot of people fuck them up. That's why I'm going through some of the learning pains.
It's simple enough to lull you into that false sense of confidence, like, oh, I can do this.
Exactly.
And you realize I didn't.
I did the big bore kit on that, and then within a couple months, it was leaking out the base gaskets on the rear cylinder because I didn't do the torque sequence right when I did the whole setup. So I had to pull it back apart and do new head gaskets. But when I did it the second time, they're perfect. So you figure it out.
Yeah.
My bike right now, my Lowrider S, is I blew it up. One of the thrust bearings that keeps the rods from shifting side to side shredded and went up through the oil pump and all that.
Oh, good.
Yeah. Yeah. So I swapped motors. I got a fresh motor. I put an aggressive cam in it, and I got it all back together. And I just didn't think all the way through. I didn't, fully anticipate everything.
Yeah.
And my mind, in a car, if you swap a motor, the oil pan follows. So it's no big deal. Well, the bike, the oil pan's attached to the bottom of the trans.
Shit.
All that shit stayed in the oil pan, and I never dropped it and cleaned it out. It got sprayed back up through the cylinders and scored the shit out of the cylinder walls on the new motor. So now I need a new top end. I just dropped the bottom end and some other... Yeah, so I just dropped all the bottom end and all that with Newton, so you can take that to a machine shop and have it all cleaned out.
Yeah.
And then I'm going to get a new top end on it, and we'll get it back together.
Yeah. Yeah, dude, it's so sick. It's so sick to see just your stories. Like I just I just kind of check in with all your story stuff, and I'm just like, my man's out here. It's like you're doing it.
I'm figuring it all out. Like I'm getting really, really hard up on I want to do it all. I want to do it all myself. I got the service manual for the Lowrider S, and I get all the parts, all the specialty tools, all that horse shit, and then I just figure it out as I go along.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I kind of think that's how I've ended up falling into buying older and older shit. Is I worked on cars for 9 years, so I'll be damned if I take my car to a dealership to get work done. But what's easier to work on, a modern car or something that I can fix with a screwdriver and a hammer?
Oh yeah, because dude, I'm sure you heard it. Like Newton, Peter, John, they tell me stories from Diag and stuff where I don't even know how the fuck they landed there. And I'm like, it's insane.
I know.
It's insane.
That.
Yeah, it sucks.
Yeah,
I don't want to work on.
I don't want that on my own shit.
No.
Yeah,
I don't want to work on that shit at all. I don't work on any of my own cars. Like I took my car down to Peter recently. I'm like, here you go. You got your own shop now. Go
exactly.
ahead.
Yeah, that's what's beautiful. And we talked about. I think it was off the podcast because John and I just went way too long. And then the same thing. How this is going. We turned it all off and then we just sat here for an hour or two. And we just talked. But yeah, and that's what's so beautiful. Like with Peter finally making that jump to his own shop, and because bro, even before that, it would still be Peter, I'm gonna swing my car into Ford. Just
exactly.
And he would take care of it.
Dude, he did a lot of side work
just
at
that
a
guy.
tiny little garage at his parents' house, out back.
Yeah.
Even the whole driveway's tilted,
Yeah.
and he had an engine hoist up to it, pulling motors out of random cars. And
Dude,
that.
at Ford, he was doing stuff for me. I was just
You remember Furman was doing that too?
Yeah, dude. Yeah, and so but yeah, Furman is very similar, work-life
same story.
balance style, where Peter has never had a very good work-life balance. He would come out, to the Broomall house, and just go hang out and party, we would do the whole thing,
and then
we wake up and Peter's already gone. Peter left at 7 a.m.
Yeah,
and
he got to get to either work or he's got a side job coming from one of his Irish buddies.
Yeah.
That's the thing, is he's got to connect with all the Irish folk around there, and they all got landscaping businesses and shit like that, and they just bring all his work in there.
Yeah, and if he doesn't have that, then he bought something off Marketplace and was like, dude, I'm gonna flip it.
Yeah,
it's yeah, dude, it's not bad. It needs a long block, and I'm gonna yeah.
Now he's
I'm just gonna do it in my mom's driveway.
Yeah, now he's picking up rigging trucks off of fucking Copart and fixing them up and then selling them.
Dude, the last time
he's smart. He's a very smart man.
Yeah, and the last time I was at his house, I put in the driveway. I'm like, oh shit, what happened? And he's like, oh, what, the truck? And the front end of this truck smashed. He's like, oh, I'm pulling the engine out of this and
putting it into the other one.
Yeah, putting it into this one. I'll sell that, and then I'm gonna put in another engine into this. We have a whole front clip coming for it. I'm gonna sell that truck probably just wholesale. I'm like, bro, what the fuck? And yeah.
So Peter's become one of my closest friends because he's got a son too. He's got a young son that's 2.5, and now Waylon, our son, and his son get to grow up together. Like whether they
Yeah.
like it or not, they're gonna be
Yeah,
best
they're
friends.
friends. Yeah.
But
Yeah.
it's been fun. So like we
Yeah.
go over, the girls spend time together. You know, the kids hang out and play
Yeah.
together, and it's cool.
cool.
It's a lot of
Yeah.
fun.
Yeah.
I keep trying to convince him to get a motorcycle.
Yeah.
We'll get there.
Yeah.
He doesn't
keep
know
going.
yet, but
Yeah.
we'll get there.
Yeah, I mean, and I think like Peter's just been like so busy, and like I wanted to, and like after talking to John about it, because I asked him and I was like, do you think he would like want to do the podcast? And he's like, dude, he's so busy. He's like, we can't get him out of the house. I was like, that. He's like, that dude is there at like 4 o'clock in the morning,
Seriously.
getting a head start on work that's going on. And then like staying until at least 6 or
Dog, I was-
7 o'clock.
So
at
like
night.
I dropped down there to pick up my car and I was busting their balls because the shop's a fucking mess, and like I was
Yeah.
busting John's balls, and I was like,
because John's
"Yo."
not cleaning shit
No,
up.
I was like, yo, John's not kidding. Like, this place is kind of a fucking mess. I don't know how you guys get anything done. There's 4 people working in the shop, right? And
Yeah.
John looks at me and goes, Chris, there's 1.5 mechanics here. Give me a fucking break. I was like, okay, fair enough.
So
Yeah.
I don't know Peter, but I think you could get him if you can get him to like start flipping bikes.
yeah.
Well,
If you
one
got him
of
into
so
that
okay,
part,
so
yeah.
the story of the yellow bike, right? So I had it, and her and I both had 4 Harleys right before our baby came, and it was like I had a shitty car. I had a 2006 Mazda 3 with rust holes straight through the fucking floorboards.
sounds like Mazda.
And yeah, it was like, this has to go. I can't put a baby in this. I need a car. So I tried to sell that, my yellow bike, when it was all said and done. I wasn't getting any serious hits at all, left and right. Nobody had, you know how the world is right now. Nobody has any fucking money. Everybody's strapped. Nobody's really buying shit. So
But they still want to waste your time.
absolutely, had plenty of
Yeah.
people wasting my fucking
Yeah.
time. But
Hey, is this available?
No. To be fair, Facebook makes it really fucking easy to press that button.
Yeah, I
yeah,
know.
it,
I
it
know.
does. It does. I've accidentally done that
Yeah,
like
and
10
I
times.
immediate follow it up with, sorry, I didn't mean to press that. Don't
Yeah,
wanna waste your
exactly.
time.
Because I'm not a piece of shit human being. But
Yeah.
so like, Peter had a kid working for him. Yeah, yeah. That was our garage as we're finding out that we're gonna get pregnant. And
Plot
now
twist.
in that garage right now, the like as it sat in that picture, the Lowrider S, the maroon one, had a blown up motor that was knocking. The yellow one had a head stud, an exhaust stud in the head that was broken, so the head had to come off so we could repair it. That's why it went big bore kit, because the head had to come off.
Well, if I'm taking it off, I might
And I
as
was
well.
exactly. I was literally like, a big bore kit's like $1,000 all said and done with cams. So like, fuck
I
it,
can
we're
get that
going
back
big
when I
bore
sell
kit.
it.
Okay,
Wait a
yeah.
minute. That's how gone you are.
Yes,
You
yeah,
were just
that's-
like, oh, $1,000. I'd be dumb.
Exactly,
Like,
because I'm
we
like,
talking
I
about
already
the beginning
gotta
of the
do, like,
podcast.
$200
You're
worth
so
of-
brainwashed.
Oh, it's so terrible.
so
It's awful.
brainwashed.
$1,000,
Literally, Keith,
that's
the
like
jugs, like the
$600.
pistons are off of my Lowrider S right now, and I'm like, I could go big bore kit. I could. I don't need to. There's no part of it that needs that. But I'm like, it would need another tune. It would need this, but I could. I have to replace them anyway. I'm really gonna put stock ones on. What kind of fucking nerd
If I'm
am I,
replacing
you know?
parts, I might as well put better parts in.
Exactly. Like, it's terrible. I've already ridden that thing. So anyway, so like, yeah, we had 2 half blown up bikes sitting there, and we got a baby on the way, and I'm like, nice, great. I got a rusting Mazda sitting in the driveway. I'm like, this is fantastic. Plot twist. I'm gonna fucking kill myself.
Yeah, dude.
So we,
as soon as you hit that moment where like life's too much, you're like, I know I'm doing it right.
Right, exactly.
Yeah, I think
I
that's
thrive
like,
in chaos.
Yeah, because every time you make it out of like those little scenarios, you're like, you're like, dude, no, I was right. It was scary.
Yeah,
that's all
exactly.
it is. It's just
It
you're
is.
making the right decision.
So, anyways, I built the Road Glide. You know, I rode it a bunch. Everything was great. I loved it. But the baby's on the way. Got to get rid of it.
Yeah.
I need a car. So the idea was to sell that, use the money, buy a half decent vehicle. So I was getting no serious bites. Peter had another. I won't even say gentleman because he doesn't really deserve that title. He's a fucking asshole. Another guy who worked for him that had a shitty Sportster, and he called me up and he was like, how much cash would you need? I was like, just trying to cut a deal with somebody. I'm like, call me up, like, give me cash and another bike, like, give me something. You know, if I can flip another bike and make more cash, I don't really care. You know, so he was like, I got a Sportster, 94 Sportster, and he's like, it runs fine, this, that, the other. How much cash would you need on top? So we agreed like $7,000 and the Sportster. Okay. So I wrote it down and I picked up the Sportster, and The thing is a fucking death trap, and it's terrible. It's pissing oil out of
That's
every
saying
orifice.
something for a motorcycle.
It's pissing oil out of every orifice. The turn signals are just gone. He had the start switch was like a light switch button, like a toggle button. It just like it's just the wires are hanging out of this thing. So like
a house light switch.
It's terrible. It's terrible. So that's the bike I ended up with. But I got money, and I was able to just take that
it's
cash.
GFI protected.
I was able to just take that cash and go buy my TDI wagon, which was like, okay, whatever, it's fine.
I've attained my goal.
So like I've been throwing some parts at the Sportster in the meantime,
Just
and
get
eventually
it presentable to sell.
either sell or like just ride around or something. I don't know.
See, out
But,
of like all the Harleys,
Just-
I like the Sportster because it's the smallest, like
dude,
nimble.
they're fantastic multi-purpose bikes. You can do whatever you want with them.
They get a rap for being like a girl's bike, but I don't care.
That's just out of weirdness,
Yeah,
man.
no,
Like,
that's
they're
100.
they're still
That's
cool bikes.
110% what
yeah.
everybody thinks when you roll.
Everybody's
up on
like,
a
"Oh, you got a
Sportster."
fucking Sportster, dude." I know a
Yeah.
bunch of people. I got a bunch of friends that ride Sportsters off road. They make them into big
Like
fat
scramblers.
dirt bikes
Yeah.
for no reason, and
Yeah.
they do. There's a bunch of friends I have that do the Happy Valley Rally, which is in a certain part of Pennsylvania, out into the boonies, where you run some of these back road dirt trails on a bunch of fucking Sportsters. They had like 25
great. That sounds
Sportsters
awesome.
on
Yeah.
dirt trails, on like dirt roads doing this shit. And I'm
Yeah.
like, I have a shitty Sportster sitting in the garage. It's fucking begging
Yeah.
to do this.
Yeah.
But yeah, so that
I
was
bet it
the
would
story
do
with
that
the
Happy
yellow
Valley
bike.
Trail really good with a big bore kit.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's that shitty Sportster I was working on the other day. Yeah, it's
yeah,
just
dude.
a,
But
it's
that's
a
like
basket
that's so
case.
cool. Like just
I like the,
seeing
the
like
color of the fenders at least. So
Yeah, if every single tin wasn't dented as shit, it would be cool. But it's raggedy. She needs some help, but we'll
Yeah.
get her there. It's all good.
Yeah, but just seeing the baby in the garage, dude.
He's
and
been fun. He's
yeah.
like he's really starting to pick up on some
He's
of the
the
stuff.
cutest, man.
Oh, he's a little G.
You guys did good. You guys made a good baby.
I think we're gonna stay in production.
Yeah, keep.
I think we're
I think production's gonna keep rolling.
Yeah.
Good for you guys. Oh, that's so funny.
start
Yeah.
them
A
young.
little dirty face.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's fun, man.
That was all just dirt from the driveway. He was just playing in the driveway, stuffing dirt in
Yeah.
his face. It's just
Yeah.
funny video.
yeah,
But it's been fun. So he'll get involved for
yeah.
sure.
That's so cool, man.
But
Yeah,
I think you were saying before the podcast you were thinking about getting like an old 4-seater, like
Yeah, so like that's been like the want lately is like I kind of want an old car, an old
Yeah.
classic, something like what you got where we can
Yeah.
throw a kid's seat in the
Yep.
back. Like yes, I don't even care about the safety rings. Okay,
Here, I'll let
we
you,
die like real men.
yeah, yeah. Just have it.
Yeah,
just,
but
just have a taste.
just have a taste.
Yeah.
I'm gonna
Trust
fall in
me,
love.
he
I
already
know.
wants it.
First
Yeah.
hit's free.
Now I want you
I
to.
already want it.
Yeah, full disclosure, we did start this podcast before, and Adrian was just telling you that he convinced his friend to buy a car. He's on his way there today.
I know. I have
So,
zero money.
you gotta
in my
be-
account to
you
do
gotta
any
be
of this, so you
careful.
don't really have to push hard.
Yeah.
I'm already in a bad spot.
Yeah, exactly.
So
And
I'll
Adrian-
jump worse.
Yeah, Adrian's like a weirdly good salesman for this one thing. like, so you just got to be careful around this guy.
But like that's been like the thought lately. And I talked to Peter about that. I was like, I've been kind of thinking about like some cool old classic. And he's like, I've been kind of thinking about that too. And I'm
Yeah.
like, okay, so maybe he doesn't get a motorcycle. Maybe
Yeah.
we both just get classics and we go do fun stuff like get ice cream in our stupid
Right.
classic cars or
Yeah.
something like that. Like why not? Something to get the kids in because it's going to be a good couple years till he can hop on a motorcycle.
Yeah.
I would really like to get a sidecar.
dude,
Those are cool.
that's sick.
Yeah, but
Get a Ural.
the Urals are ridiculous. They're so funny. They're a two-wheel drive sidecar. They have a drive shaft straight across,
Straight
so they're
through.
two-wheel drive.
Yeah, yeah. I
but-
think Adrian told me about that on the podcast.
Yeah.
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 They're ridiculous.
Yeah.
But the thought has been like we get a sidecar, and then even at a younger, not at a baby age, not at an infant or toddler age, but at a younger age, we can get him involved and like
Yeah.
take him for small rides. Maybe
Yeah.
take him for, as he gets a little bit older, take him for some longer trips, stuff
Yeah.
like that.
Yeah.
That's been the hope.
Yeah, man. It's the coolest thing. Yeah, man.
I want to
And-
give him a ridiculous childhood that he can
Yeah.
look at other friends and say
Yeah.
these things out loud. Like, I was in a sidecar in San Diego,
Yeah,
California.
You want
at
his
7
friends to
years
go,
old.
I don't believe you.
Yeah.
Yeah,
he's-
and his
yeah.
friends go, "What the fuck do
Yeah.
you mean?"
Yeah, dude, he's gonna be the cool kid in the class with a Harley Davidson.
I already took him down the
t-shirt.
road in a carrier. I put him on yeah, it was. I put it in a reel on here,
Like
but,
on what's the
Hangover?
yeah, literally, it was
fucking
on. He was in the baby carrier, and I took him down the street on my
Yeah.
bike. It was a good one. That was funny. And
Dude,
he,
do they
dude,
make,
he
do
was
they make baby
unbothered.
sunglasses?
They do.
Can
We
you
have
give him
a
some
pair.
like aviators.
We have a pair. He won't
There
keep
it
them
is.
on his face. Yeah. is that one.
Dude, that's sick.
He was like completely unbothered. He was like kind
cool.
of startled when the bike started up at first, but because
he was like, what the heck?
yeah, but took him down the road. He couldn't.
Yeah, look at
really
him.
be
He's like,
bothered.
oh, wow, things are moving.
yeah,
Look at him. That's amazing.
it was
It's
funny.
so sick, dude. Yeah, that's sick.
It's been fun.
Yeah. Yeah, man, you guys are like the perfect example of like the coolest parents ever. Like you don't have to stop
Welcome to
being
the shit
cool
show.
because yeah. Yeah. Yeah, you guys are officially the coolest parents I know.
We're trying. We're trying like hell.
Yeah, it's working.
Mm-hmm.
It's working. So we left off of Colorado.
Yes.
I don't know if we ever like got back to that.
I don't think
but
we ever did.
yeah, we definitely touched on like you being like just birthed into a motorcycle engine mechanic.
Yeah.
But yeah, so you did so you do like the iron butt and all that stuff, dude. Also, I just want to say like you're also really good on camera as far as like because I know how difficult that is to like be able to like make a video to explain
Dude,
because
it's
bro,
like oddly, it's strangely difficult, you know?
yeah.
There's a weird barrier. Like I have no problem explaining to someone in person something, but you put me in front of a camera just to talk to the camera. It's like
Yeah.
Yeah, but
it
then
makes it awkward,
put the camera
you know?
in front of yourself.
Like
and,
you're
in a room.
you're literally, it's like, hey guys, how we doing? You know,
Yeah.
you're talking to your
I
phone.
do not
It's
want
But-
to be that stereotype.
yeah.
Either.
So like,
Yeah, but
I try to just bullshit as if I'm talking on a normal
Yeah,
FaceTime
exactly.
and like just
Yeah.
keep it as simple as can
Yeah,
be.
you do a
Don't
good
get it
job.
twisted. Some of these videos, there's like 14 takes, but I try to just like,
100%.
yeah, I try to just like say what I need to say and like just roll with that and let it be and not watch it over 10 times. Like just make sure
Well,
it doesn't sound ridiculous.
That's how I am with this. Keith
Yeah.
does the editing and shit. I hate watching them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't like watching myself on camera.
I've heard
Yeah.
that about a lot of guys with podcasts in general. Like, I fucking hate hearing myself talk, and I can
Yeah.
only imagine because
Yeah.
it's bizarre.
Yeah, I mean, it doesn't bother me. It's not like, I mean,
Well, you're also
I don't-
inundated with it since you're doing the editing and shit.
Yeah, I guess, but like, I mean, I guess like I don't know. I think I've just heard myself on camera so often
Yeah.
that like I'm like, I don't know. I was like, I'm like, that's how I sound. I don't
Yeah.
know, whatever. Because I think that's the part that bothers most people.
I'm
like,
definitely one of those people that
hearing
hear it all
your
the
own
time,
voice.
hates hearing themselves on camera. And like I hear myself, I'm like, how do you talk to me?
yeah.
Like, how do you stand
Yeah,
listening
like,
to me?
We're friends. Like, did somebody pay you? No, but yeah, no. I mean, it definitely is weird, but no. I mean, but what hard is like holding a camera up, like you were saying, and just
Exactly.
being like
Talking
and then
to a camera
having
is
to
bizarre.
remember like, what
Yeah.
you need to say,
Exactly.
and then
I
like
hate
not
hearing myself,
stumbling.
but being here, just having a conversation in front of camera, that's easy.
Yeah.
That's fine.
Exactly. But trying to convince. So we did like her and I incorporated some iron butt rides into, and it's just a simple challenge: 1,000 miles in 24 hours.
Yeah.
Like it's really not that much.
Well,
when
you
you
say
break it
it's
down.
simple, but like
Yeah.
the average person, it's like, holy,
Yeah,
I wouldn't do
yeah,
that in
yeah.
a car with heated seats.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. So like that's the ride challenge. It's really like it's not too insane. Our first attempt at it, we kind of fell flat on our face. We went out to do it one time and like we're going out to ride 1,000 miles in 24 hours. We had a loop picked out and we got like 200 miles down the road and the voltage regulator took a shit on my bike and we
classic.
sat at a dealership for 5 hours.
So did you get no charging or did you get 18 volts?
No charging. It
Okay.
felt like the charging. It had similar symptoms to sumping, which those engines are known for. So realistically, I thought it blew up. I thought we were shot. But they got a new voltage regulator in it, and we got back down the road. But they had
Yeah.
to charge the battery, to diag the bike, and it just took forever.
Yeah.
So that shot us out of being able to get our first time we ever tried to. And then
I mean, not to
We
brag,
tried
but
to-
I feel like I would have figured that out in like an hour.
probably now, yeah, probably I would have been able to at least
Yeah,
get
dude,
down.
And again, like you were saying, like now that like you've like forced yourself into it because you're like, dude,
Exactly.
I want to put this many miles on.
I
and it
want to feel
costs-
better about like going down the road and okay, I got stuck in the middle of nowhere with something stupid. How do I I didn't even know how to pull the battery out of the bike at that point
Right.
to begin with because they're kind of odd. Like there's a cover and then there's another cover and everything's kind of stuffed in there for the battery.
You've
and,
got a
like,
lot of room on a bike. You really got to
No.
shove shit together.
So like I wouldn't have even been able to get a new battery in that thing if I thought the battery just died. And like, okay, if I could get to AutoZone and get a new battery, I wouldn't have been able to get it in it. I didn't have any tools with me. So like now it's different. I go prepared for shit like that, and it's better.
Oh, I love that. So what's like if you do an iron butt? What's the prep? What's that look like?
I don't
What's
know,
the
like
EDC for an iron butt?
EDC. I don't know. I do like so Harleys are really good for a lot of torques and a lot of Allens.
Okay.
And everything is standard bolt wise.
Still,
Yes,
That's
Harley is
surprising, actually.
everything standard still
Interesting.
bolt wise, which is very bizarre. John's been furious about it because he's all BMW mechanic and he's going to work on his fucking Harleys, and it's all
I mean,
all
I felt
standard.
that working like in modern dealerships. All modern cars are metric. And then
Yeah.
I buy that car,
And you're like,
now
let me get my 14
I've got-
millimeter, and you're like, what the fuck is this?
I've got like a $10,000 toolbox with like $10,000 worth of tools, and none of them do anything.
Yep,
Yeah.
useless.
Yeah.
You're like, I get the adjustable, I guess.
So I go to
Fuck
Harbor
me.
Freight and buy a standard wrench set.
Yep, absolutely.
That's good enough for the car.
But yeah,
What the fuck
so I
is a
grab, like-
kilometer?
Exactly. So like I bring a lot of your basic torques, your basic Allens. I try to do bits, and then like I just take a simple socket set,
Yeah.
and I bring just like a single ratchet with an adapter to 1/4-inch drive and 3/8, and
That pretty much.
Well, I mean,
covers
these,
most of
these
it.
Harleys are, like you were saying, it's a glorified Briggs and Stratton.
yeah, it is
You can
relatively
fix them on the
basic.
side of the road with hand tools.
For most of the older ones. A lot of these newer ones are a little bit more
Well, I
touchy,
mean,
but it's still not that
The
bad.
newest ones are liquid cooled. Like they're
Yeah, the newest
thoroughly
ones
modern.
are dual cooled now, which kind of sucks. The newest specific models, like all your
the
baggers,
Pan
all your
Am and
baggers
the,
are dual cooled, and the Pan Am, all the ones with the Rev Max motor are
Yeah,
dual
the
cooled.
Pan Am and the Sportster S.
The
and
Sportster S.
Nightster,
Yep.
I think.
Yeah, those are all still your soft tails, which is what I tend to like. All of ours are newer soft tails. That's where my heart lies. I love that
Is that
chassis.
still is that a Milwaukee 8?
Yeah, it's a Milwaukee 8, but it's all air cooled.
Yeah.
Which is nice. So it keeps it nice and simple. But so like I just bring, basic pliers, some vice grips, a bunch of fucking zip ties, some duct tape, and like stuff like that. I
Yeah.
try to keep it not too much because a big toolkit gets
exactly.
heavy, and on a bike that sucks. So
Right.
I try to not go too insane.
Yeah, and you want to have space for like the fun stuff.
Exactly.
Like, yeah,
Well,
you don't
like-
want like the whole thing to just
So
be
like you
planning
still
for
need your
fucking-
riding gear because
Yeah.
like you got to plan for early morning, during the middle of the day when it could get hot, and then later in the evening as it gets cooler and you need a cleared shield and you need to be
And
able
then
to see.
God forbid it rains.
You need rain gear, exactly. So you need rain
Yeah.
gear, and then on top of that, I bring like a charge pack so I can charge my headset as it starts to die. Or
Oh,
like,
cool.
We have.
Yeah.
Luckily, those newer bikes have USB ports, so I can put a charging cable straight to my phone.
Sick.
But just simple extra gear.
Oh, that's another like cool thing. So I think I heard you guys have like walkie talkies and like
No,
the helmets.
the
Bluetooth
headsets,
headsets.
yeah.
Yeah, they're
Do you have,
Bluetooth. Cardo.
Cardo, yeah.
Yep. Cardo is a big one. They're just Bluetooth headsets. So like I play music. There's speakers in the helmet, and I play music, and then we just talk back and forth.
Yeah,
all
so
day.
you
Have
and
you
Cheyenne
ever had
can
anyone
just
else
talk.
who had one just like kind of roll up on you guys and like hop in?
No, because you have to connect it, and connecting it is kind of a mess. Like John and I sat there for 30 minutes getting ours connected the night before the 1K ride, and it took forever.
Yeah, it's like a mesh network or
Yeah.
something like that.
Yeah. So what's nice about that is like the music will like fade out and people can talk through, but then the music starts right back up. It never stops.
Like it'll automatically lower the music, bring
Yeah.
in the audio of the person talking,
Exactly.
and then come back.
Her and I don't shut the fuck up all day long. We
Yeah.
literally just
That's
talk
beautiful.
all day.
That's what's
It's
so
fantastic.
awesome.
We solve
Yeah.
the world's problems 10 times over. Like in the middle of New Mexico, I already know how to run the government myself.
Yeah.
Okay? That's where we're at with this. It's ridiculous.
Oh my god, yeah, dude.
It's
And I
fun.
feel like that with Holly too. Like where like I can just like her and I like yesterday we came home. I had a long day. It took me forever to get home, and I just like I came home and
Yeah, I called you at 3 and you were like
Yeah.
still in the middle.
yeah, I was still doing combustion checks. And I mean, like, I was in the middle of Horsham, so it took me forever to get back, and did stop to buy some whiskey. But so by the time I got home, like, we just sat down, and I just like had a beer with her, and like we just talked for like 2 hours. And I was like, all right, I'm
Yeah.
gonna go get a shower, and like,
Yeah.
but the same thing, we're like, yep, we cover the world's problems. I think
we solved world hunger.
I think
Yep.
we're good to go.
Yep.
Like, yeah, her and I, we're the same way. We just won't shut the fuck up.
Yeah,
but also at
literally.
the same time, what was beautiful, like last night, we were just talking about. I forget how the conversation came up, but like how her and I can just like also sit in the car and just like be in silence together, and it's like almost beautiful. It's like it's nice.
Called companionable silence.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah,
It's
we're
very
just
different
both
from
just
awkward
so
silence.
comfort. Yeah, we're just both so comfortable with each other. We can
Yep.
just be silent, you know. And
Yeah.
it's
See, I
like-
had the other side of that silence on the 1K ride this year, where everybody just shut up because we were very uncomfortable all together, and everyone was scared, and it was great. So, like, the 1K ride this year was funny. We hit probably about 4 hours. It was not 4 hours, about 400 miles total of rain throughout the ride. That's hit or miss here or there. We had some real heavy patches that lasted an hour or two. So John and I were linked up on the headsets, and at one point I pushed everyone a little bit too far. So we were going into the night. It was pretty dark at this point. It was nighttime. It was 7, 8 o'clock at night.
Yeah.
Now we had been riding since 4 a.m. We meet up at 4 a.m. and then we hit the road, and we're through the whole day, and then we're at 7 o'clock, 8 o'clock at night. It's pitch black out, and it's raining its ass off. The traffic, for some odd reason, on a random fucking Sunday, is insanely heavy.
You guys did this on a Sunday?
This was on Labor Day
my
weekend.
God.
This is on Labor Day weekend.
Okay.
We did
Well,
it.
that's
And-
why it's busy. Everyone's
Yeah,
coming
I know.
home.
Yeah.
Well, no, it wasn't Sunday. It was a Saturday. We did it on a Saturday on Labor Day weekend.
Yeah. Okay.
Which is the same day we did the year prior, but
Yeah.
this year, for some reason, the traffic was significantly worse.
Yeah. We outside.
And it was raining its ass off, and I'm like getting irritated with the traffic, and when I get irritated, I start to pick up the speed. And so we're doing 90 miles an hour in the pitch black, in the rain, with heavy traffic. And the headset just went dead silent. Between John, and I, it's dead silent for like an hour and a half. And then
everyone was just
we
locking
finally pulled up at a gas station, took our helmets off, and looked at each other, and everyone's looking at me, and they're like, Chris, that was a little bit fucking much. And I was like, all right, I'm sorry. That's my bad.
Yeah.
My coworker comes to me and he was like, that's the scariest thing I've ever fucking ridden through. And I was like, I'm sorry, but like, I'm just getting annoyed. This is just another Tuesday for me. Like, that's just my regular.
Like somebody just starts singing. It's like, know when to fold 'em, know when to walk.
Like, we
away.
hit a couple spots where I'm like sitting next to a tractor trailer and I'm just getting bombed with rain, stuck behind another car. I can't see a fucking thing. And I just like said over the headset, like, I'm fucking terrified. And John was like, okay, so it's not just me, because I'm fucking scared out of my mind. That's when John said, if this seat wasn't bolted down, it'd be in my ass right now, because I'm fucking terrified. I was like, no, we're all there right now. I'm just ignoring it.
Yeah, if I ignore it, it's actually not that
It's
scary.
not real. It's really not real, you know?
Yeah, dude, that's insane. How many times have you guys done the Iron Butt?
The group 1K we've done 2 times. I've done 4 total, or 5. 4. I think it's 4. I did one by myself. We did one, her and I did, on our trip in 2022 when we were heading cross country. We went to San Diego, and like going across the Midwest.
So you weren't trying to, you just ended up doing it.
We were going across the Midwest. We actually were trying to, because you have to take
okay.
pictures of the gas receipt with your odometer. But like that was our final attempt. We still hadn't gotten one yet, and it was just it was a beautiful weather day, and we were going across the Midwest where it's boring and flat. So we were like, we're fucking getting it. So we started at like 6 a.m. and we finished at midnight, and we had 1,000 some odd miles for the day, but like it was just a boring ass day. But it was a good way to bomb through the Midwest and get it over with.
Oh, right, yeah.
So that was our first 1K. The second one I did by myself the following year in like April. I think I just had it was Good Friday. I had the day off from work, and she had to work, and like I was just
All right,
I
well, I'm
wanted
going
to
to
get
go knock out a quick 1,000 miles.
yeah, literally.
Yeah.
So like I went down all the way to the
No
base of
big
West
deal.
Virginia, and then back up like close to Pittsburgh, and then back across the state, and came back up.
Just on the day off.
Yeah, the highest it got to temperature-wise was like 56. It was like 34 in the morning when I
fun.
left, so it was cold as
Good
shit in the
Lord.
morning. It was great.
Jesus.
But I caught a beautiful sunrise up to like Cumberland Valley area. That was insane.
That's what's the best. And especially like with like doing this Carson coffee thing, like waking up early and like just being like, it's one thing like, cause dude, like most mornings, even with just having dogs, like they're up like at 7 a.m. like at the latest, like when Holly gets up.
I know.
I'm-
We have a baby.
Yeah,
He doesn't
exactly.
sleep.
Yeah.
He doesn't sleep.
Right.
It's like 4 a.m. It's party time.
So Yeah, you're
why
up
is it,
every
Why do
morning.
they say like, oh, I slept like a baby? It's like, oh, so you
fucking
shit
know.
yourself and woke up every couple hours?
I don't fucking know. That has driven me nuts since we've had our son.
Yeah.
Seriously, like sleep like a baby doesn't exist.
Yeah.
Sleep like a baby means I didn't fucking sleep.
Yeah.
Yeah, I shit myself and woke up every 4 hours.
Exactly,
Yeah.
literally. It's insane.
Yeah. But like, so there's kind of no sleeping in because like the dogs are always just up and then they're whining and whatever. So like at the latest we're up to like we're sleeping until 9, you know.
Yeah.
But like usually we'll wake up early and we get to like have a cup of coffee with the sunrise in the morning outside.
Mm-hmm.
And like that compares nothing to waking up when it's like still dark out and like the car's running outside and like the sun's coming up over top of the trees and you're hitting the road and then you see like the sunrise peeking up like on the road to the cars and coffee.
Yep.
Like dude, it's so sick being like back
Some of
into
my
like
favorite-
cool stuff.
Some of my favorite days are like seeing the sunrise on the road and then seeing the sunset on that same day on the
that's
road.
wild.
It's fantastic.
Yeah.
You know, it really
I do
puts
that
it,
at
like-
work and it sucks.
Yeah, exactly. You do it at work and it fucking sucks because you're in traffic on your way to
Yeah.
go grind your dick into the dirt
And you're in a
trying to make
fucking
some money.
work
Yeah,
truck.
I think
Yeah.
about every decision I've ever made in my entire life.
Exactly. Like, why am I blue
watching
collar?
that sun
I
go
fucking
down?
hate my life. But like,
Why
when
didn't I
you're
go to college?
yeah, when you're on a motorcycle loaded up and you're in the middle of Idaho and then
Yeah.
the sun's coming up and it's beautiful over those mountains and then it's setting on you in the middle of Wyoming or Utah
Yeah.
in a new mountain range. It's absolutely beautiful still. It's
Yeah.
just incredible. That whole day was one day, and sometimes it's hard to fathom that part where it's like that was all just one day.
Yeah.
We lived through that. We did that.
Yeah.
You know, we sat back and laughed at ourselves sometimes like, where the fuck are we?
Yeah.
Why are we're in Kanab, Utah. Why are we here? What
Yeah.
the fuck is this
Dude,
place?
when you're riding that long, does it ever feel like it just like all mashes together and it's like
100%.
Dog.
Absolutely. It's hard to remember a lot of the bits and pieces because like you're 6 days into
Yeah.
a 14-day trip.
yeah.
You know, you forget what day was which.
Yeah.
You kind of been laughing at yourself for the past 3 days like we're halfway across the country at this point.
Yeah.
You know?
I'm a little delirious at this point.
Yeah.
yeah, a little tired. My
Yeah.
ass hurts, a little sore, you know.
Yeah.
But
So-
there's also a big difference between like watching the sun come up. Like waking up at 4 a.m. to go to work sucks. Waking up at 4 a.m. to start a road trip is fucking awesome.
Sick.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So like our 2022 trip, we left that trip planning to get married on that trip.
Mm-hmm.
And that was our goal. So
Vegas drive-through wedding.
yeah, it's exactly what we did. Not a drive-through wedding, but we did the Vegas wedding.
Okay.
Yeah.
They had the option for the drive-through. We just opted not for the drive-through wedding. We just, we got an actual real wedding. But
I mean, on the bikes that could have been sick.
it could have been. I thought about it. Honestly, I kind of wish we did because that would have been super cool.
Side
But-
by side on the bikes in the drive-through.
Yeah, so like we left boyfriend and girlfriend for that trip. I hadn't even proposed yet.
it's so
we got a Walmart ring. Just like, dude, we didn't spend money. We
Let's
like
go.
we got a Walmart ring. We got some new white old school Vans, and we wore
Yeah.
those for the entirety of the trip. And I proposed to her at the Colorado state sign because she's born in Colorado, and she always said every time she's there, it feels like home. So
Aw.
I proposed to her there, and then we continued on, and we got married in Vegas. But when we were getting close to Vegas, it was like, right around July 4th. Neither of us wanted to get married on a holiday.
Mm-hmm.
So like we elongated it a little bit. We went through Zion National Park in Utah,
Ooh.
but we went through like middle of the day when it was super busy on the 4th. So we ended
Jeez.
up on the other side of the park, which was on the eastern side. We had to go west the next morning. So what we did was we grabbed a hotel there. We went to a local park in that area of Utah, and they had like a big July 4th thing going on. They had bands, they had like vendors and all kinds of stuff, like a
Yeah.
community days type thing.
Yeah.
But in the middle of fucking Utah.
Yeah.
Which is so cool. So we got to experience that community.
Yeah, it's a
each
genuine
July
small
4th.
town like 4th of July celebration.
Yeah, which was
Yeah.
absolutely incredible. It was so beautiful.
Yeah.
So then the next morning we woke up at 4 a.m. and we caught sunrise through Zion National Park with
Oh my
no
God.
traffic. It was fucking beautiful. And like we saw mountain goats everywhere. We saw deer everywhere. Like it was so incredible.
Dude.
And then we continued on to Vegas that day and got married. So like we started our morning at 4 a.m. and then we got married at 8 p.m. in Vegas.
All right, so I'm definitely going on
Dude.
that road trip with Alex next year.
Dude,
'cause
you have
I mean, I
to.
don't think I'm going to marry him, but
Good. You never know what's
Dude.
going to happen.
Dude, those miles may change you.
but I just I do want to go on a cross country road trip. I don't have a bike right now. I will have a bike eventually. Another
Yeah.
bike. I mean,
Yeah.
I'm still. This is the result of my last motorcycle.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I've
But,
been fortunate enough that I've avoided the old asphalt
Yeah.
kiss so
Yeah.
far.
Yeah.
But
But I've always wanted to take that car on a road trip, and if he's going to go on a road trip, I have no problem just following a motorcycle. That's fine.
Yeah, the sport vehicle.
Yeah,
you know?
I'll be the sport vehicle.
Yeah.
That's fine. I'm
Yeah.
still taking my car on a trip across America.
Yeah,
So
I know, it was-
if he does go through with that, I'm definitely going.
yeah. Which one with your record, I think you can convince him. You know, like because I knew, like as soon as you told me he was doing this, that's what reminded me, and I wanted to hit you up. That's why I was like, dude, would you be down? Because like he told me that he was going, his friend was going across. And I was like, bro, my friend has done that with his wife, like on bikes. Like, it was crazy, and he's done so much in the iron bike. And I was like, I wonder if he'll do the podcast.
Iron butt.
That's the iron bike.
You did.
Sound like I said iron bike, iron butt. But like, and you know, so yeah, but it would be like super cool to for if you guys.
If I had a
did
bike,
that.
I'd take the bike.
Yeah,
but I don't have a
definitely.
bike.
Yeah, but even not.
But I do want to take that car on a road trip, so it's
Yeah.
a perfect excuse.
Absolutely. Yeah, why not?
Yeah.
And the fun part is like all the unknown because like, you know, who knows? You may in that old ass car, you may break down in the middle of New Mexico. Like that's going to create a whole new scenario, a whole story where you're going to make friends whether you like to or not because you have to meet a local. You have to meet somebody at a shop. You have to meet somebody at a parts store.
Yeah, the car gets
You know?
towed to a shop in Utah, and they're like, "You got PA plates on this? What are you doing out here?"
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. So like
Yeah.
we've had to hit. And luckily, Harley Davidson has a huge network. There's a million dealers everywhere.
Right.
You know, you're never within an hour of
I'm
a
not
dealer.
sure if the Buick
So-
dealership's going to know what to do with my car.
No, not
No.
quite. Not
No.
quite. But like, you know, if we call into a dealership and I need a rear tire, and that's usually what's happened. There's been 2 trips where I've had to get a tire.
Yeah.
And like you call a dealership, say, "Hey, we're traveling. I really need a tire." They'll say, "Come in tomorrow morning. We'll
Nice.
be ready for you." And
Hell yeah.
You're good to go. But
Yeah.
Yeah, doing rear tires on a bike's a little more involved than just a normal tire replacement.
Yeah.
headaches.
Yeah.
Headaches. All of it's just headaches. All of it's headaches.
Why do I
John's
like
been
bikes?
John's been calling me a couple times here and there, and he's like, "Why is this shit so much more complicated than it seems like it should be?" And I'm like,
Yeah.
I don't fucking know, John.
Yeah.
It's ridiculous.
Yeah, because like you can see it all. It's one of those things you can see it all. but,
Exactly.
Like I gotta take it all apart though.
Yeah, literally all the time. I'm like, why do I need to take 10 more steps apart to get to
Yeah.
this one bolt?
I can see it.
I can see the bolt. I just can't get a fucking socket or a wrench on it.
Yeah.
Why? Like, oh, well, this
Yeah.
other thing you have to take off is another 43 bolts. So that's fine.
yeah,
That's cool.
yeah. Once you pull the engine out, you should be able to get to it no problem.
This is fun, I promise.
You only need to pull it down to the frame, and then you'll finally be able to remove your taillight.
like
It's
Family
great.
Guy. Like we're having fun. This is fun.
This
we're
is
having
fun.
Yeah, removing a gas tank on a car, it's like, oh god, I don't want to do that. Removing a gas tank on a bike is like step 1 for so much shit.
Literally, you know, like taking the
Yeah.
gas tank off is so easy. So like everything I'm doing, I'm just like tanks off. Fucking, it's easy. It's out of my way. I won't scratch it.
Yeah. What's if you had to like go back to one place like so far, what's like the number one spot where you've been?
It's hard to say because each spot has been such different, like time of year, everything else.
Depends
But
on
dude,
the mood.
Yeah.
yeah, it does.
Obviously,
I think
Colorado is special. but-
Colorado as a whole is a special state. It's a
Yeah.
beautiful state. But I think Zion National Park at sunrise
I
that
hear,
day
dude.
was unbelievable because there was like all these national parks, everybody's traveling to see them. So you get so much traffic there, which is okay. You know, we're tourists there too. So you have to accept that.
Right.
I am part of the problem.
Exactly. You can't complain about the problem. Like, these damn tourists. I'm a tourist too, you know.
You're here too, motherfucker.
Yeah. But seeing it at sunrise with nobody else there in the serenity and the quiet of the park and seeing the sun come up over the red rocks was
Yeah.
just incredible.
Yeah.
Like there's not much that
I am
beat that
so
yet.
glad we have a national park system.
It's
Yeah.
beautiful. It's
Teddy
fantastic.
Roosevelt.
Yep.
Yep.
Gotta love
We
it.
need another one of those.
Yeah. Another
Yeah.
Teddy.
Yeah.
Bring Teddy back. They've got him in witness protection.
Yes.
You want the tinfoil hat?
Possibly. No, I just raw dog it. I take it. I'm ready.
Yeah. Teddy's just smoking cigars in a dark room with John F.
Just like-
Kennedy.
What do you think, Abe Lincoln?
Yeah, dude. Yo. Wild. Yeah. Yeah, dude. I mean, if I were to take a vacation today in the United States, I mean, I think I just because I'm so car centric, I have been interested in the Tail of the Dragon.
It's dude, just in like So when you start thinking the Tail of the Dragon, you got to consider all the Smoky Mountains because it's beautiful down there. And like,
I mean,
there's
just getting down there. If you go down, the Blue Ridge Parkway.
We did the entire length of like you go. So Skyline Drive in Shenandoah National Park butts right up. That road is the same road as the Blue Ridge Parkway. The national park ends, and then you hit Blue Ridge Parkway, which takes you all the way down to the Smoky Mountain National Park. It will take you all the way down to North Carolina to Smoky Mountains, and
that's like billed as America's most scenic highway.
It's beautiful. I love it. It was fantastic. It took us like 2 days to go through Blue Ridge all the way up through Shenandoah. Because it is a couple 100 miles, but it is gorgeous, and it's all the green mountains that we're familiar with, like around here. It is incredible. There's certain parts of it that do get a little bit mundane as you go through some of the farm fields and areas, but most of it is like that. Those big overlooks. There's a million overlooks. You know, they're everywhere. But you can take that all the way down to Smoky Mountain National Park. Once you're in the Smoky Mountains, you're right there at Gatlinburg, which Gatlinburg and Pigeon Forge are beautiful little towns in the middle of the mountains in Tennessee. You do a bunch of whiskey tastings, moonshine tastings, all that kind of stuff. And then you can hit Cherahala Skyway, which is another really big byway down in the Smoky Mountains. You hit Tail of the Dragon. You can hit Foothills Parkway, which that's the loop we usually do. Like when we land in, it's been like 3 years straight I've done that loop. You land in Pigeon Forge, and then you drop your shit off at a hotel, and then you go hit, the next morning we would hit Foothills Park or Cherahala Skyway over to the Tail of the Dragon, and then Tail of the Dragon down to Foothills Parkway, and then Foothills Parkway back over to Pigeon Forge. But that's a trip I'm planning with the gentleman come next. I think we're going in May. Early May. I'm going to take them down for that one. And that'll be a good one.
Blue Ridge Parkway.
That's sick, man. It's just just like so cool to see like bikes just making all of this stuff work so well, you know?
Well, again, third world countries, that is the family sedan. You got a 250cc motorcycle with 4 kids on it and like a week's worth of luggage and a goat.
Literally. It's insane.
Well, I mean, I'm not saying like that part. I'm just saying that
what I'm saying is America's gotten soft.
Sure. Sure.
It is true. It is true. I can't tell you
for a lot of reasons, but also yes.
Not even getting that fair. Not even getting that deep though. Like I can't tell you how many guys I've talked to that have a full Ultra, like that one that we took to Milwaukee, and they're like, I've never left the state on it, and I'm like, why did you buy that big of a motorcycle?
You would have been fine with a Sportster.
Exactly, because like if you're not going to ride that far, then just get a smaller, more fun bike to ride. Or if you're going to buy that big of a bike, take it on a trip. Take it somewhere. You know, like
what was that BMW's got like a big touring bike.
They've got a lot of good bikes.
But it's like insanely
BMW has a lot of good bikes. They've got the GSs, which are their adventure bikes. And that's
they made that category.
They made the adventure bike category, which is all your off-road and your dual sport.
1,500, I think it was.
That's like your big ass.
Yeah, I remember seeing a picture of someone riding it, and he just looked so small on the bike.
Yeah, that's like their big ass bike. Their GSs are like their dual sport.
Well, yeah, that's the Pan America, like
essentially
competitor. Well,
which is
Pan America was.
Dude, I've been looking heavy at the GSs a lot because like the next step is eventually we're gonna end up off road.
Oh my god,
hell you know.
Yo. But look how big that bike is. Hang on. That's a massive bike.
I tell you what, dude. Like I've seen. I mean, have you ever
look how tiny he does? I mean, maybe he's small, but I mean, because like I've seen the first time I saw someone doing a wheelie on a street glide, I was like,
it's insane.
Maybe we did get to the moon.
It's insane.
Maybe we did.
It's insane. So like I've seen a handful of stunt guys doing it on Harleys, and to see that big of a bike at 12 o'clock,
dog,
is mind-boggling because it doesn't make sense.
Yeah.
This is a 900-pound motorcycle with a big man,
and then what's this motherfucker weigh? Like what the fuck's this guy?
It's a BMW, so it's probably not as heavy as the equivalent.
Who hurt him?
It's probably a lot faster.
Who hurt him?
God damn it, Barb! I'm doing wheelies on my K1600.
Damn it, Barb!
He's 14 scotches deep, and he's like, "Fuck you." She took the kids. I'm taking wheelies.
Yeah, that's funny.
But yeah,
that's a thick bike.
It's a big fucking
that boy.
Bike. And I, when I bought my bike, the dealership I bought it from does BMWs. Ducatis,
did we talk about your bike at all?
I was talking to him a little bit.
Oh, okay, cool, yeah.
Probably a while ago on like one of the earlier episodes, but they had a K1600 there. I'm looking at that bike. I'm like, this scares me.
Yeah.
I don't want anything to do with that.
So when I started, the first motorcycle I bought was a 2011 Street Glide, and that's like a full bagger. It was the first motorcycle I've ever ridden.
Yeah.
And I'm like, okay,
Yeah.
cool.
Dude,
We're
but
just gonna dive head first into this.
That was all black, right? Just the black and the chrome.
Yeah, black
Dude,
and chrome.
that's just so good.
It is.
That's such
Black
a
and chrome
good-
is forever a beautiful color
solid.
combo. But yeah, I bought a Street Glide right out of the gate. I'm like, we're just gonna go.
Fuck yeah. Yeah,
full in.
street glides are like the best.
They're the
looking
number
Harley.
one
There you
best-selling
go.
Harley
Fucking
Davidson.
Black and chrome.
Yeah.
Black and chrome.
That's
Yep.
exactly what I had right there. That was my first motorcycle ever.
Yeah.
And like John, now to be fair, John had a Sportster, and I lived with him at the time. So he's like,
Yeah.
I'll teach you how to ride on my Sportster, and then you get on your Street Glide, which is exactly what happened.
Sure.
So on Monday, I rode a Sportster. On Tuesday, I rode a Sportster. On Wednesday, I rode my Street Glide around. Didn't ride it all on Thursday. And then Friday, I rode my Street Glide to work. And then Saturday morning on night shift, I rode it to a bike blessing with my dad and then rode it all the way back home. Now, work was an hour and 10 minutes away from Broomall. So I just rode my Street Glide down the turnpike after
That's
2 days of riding.
similar to like
Just
actually,
trial by
it's not
fire.
even like similar.
Yeah.
Like I bought my bike. Before that, the only thing I'd ever ridden was that was two wheels, was a bicycle
Mhm.
and
Yep.
a Tomos moped.
Hell yeah. So, like, basically a bicycle, just glorified.
A bicycle with a two-stroke 49cc engine on it.
Yep, exactly.
And then I bought my bike, and I
Mm-hmm.
went from a fucking Tomos moped that I could pick up to a bike that weighed 440 pounds, something like that.
yeah.
And I had my buddy go with me to buy the bike, and he rode it back.
Mhm.
Alex, actually, the one who wants to do the cross-country trip. And then that night, I went out into a parking lot, got familiar with the bike,
Mhm.
and Alex was there to like coach me. I'm sitting there trying to do figure eights. Never rode a motorcycle before in my life.
Yeah.
Luckily, I drive manual cars. I understand how a clutch works.
Exactly.
And then the next day, I drive it to work
Mm-hmm.
and drive it back. But I live only 15 minutes away from work at the time. But I have to go through Westchester, which is
Yeah. Oh, I know.
stop
Westchester.
and go.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Which kind of seems like the worst place to learn how to ride a bike.
Yep. Yep.
So I trial by fired myself, and on top of that, it's a brand new bike. Like I didn't
Mm-hmm.
buy a beat up old one that I'm not afraid to drop.
Exactly.
Yeah.
You,
And I
you
did
don't
drop
want to
the
mess it
bike.
all up. Oh,
I dropped the bike the
I
first
dropped
day
that
I
like
got
3
it.
or 4 times until I was finally solid. It took a while. But I had to have my dad ride it home for me,
Yeah.
I had no fucking idea what I was doing.
Yeah.
He was like, yeah, it's a solid price. I'm like, all right, cool. I'm buying it. And that's great. And then I bought it. And
And then you're like, shit, I've got an
Like-
800-pound bike.
Yeah.
I got an 800-pound set of speakers. Like, I don't know what I'm doing with this thing. I don't know what's going on.
Yeah, this motherfucker sounds good.
Yeah,
right
like,
here.
John drove it to work. He rode it to work a couple times before I ever even touched
Yeah.
it. Because, like, he's like,
Yeah.
can I take it to work? I'm like, go for it. Because I don't know what the fuck I'm doing. It's just sitting there.
Yeah.
Like,
That was the
Yeah.
same thing. Alex had
Yeah,
been
let me know
riding
how it
since he
rides.
was like,
Yeah.
17. And I'm like, dude, you're riding this bike home, and
Yeah.
you're going to ride it to where I need to get it until I'm confident enough to ride it. He's like, oh, well, do you want to practice on my bike? I'm like, no, I do not want to fucking touch your bike.
yeah.
Yeah.
So, like, he
Yeah.
rode that a couple times. And he had a Sportster. And then, he never wanted to touch a Sportster again because he rode that and he was comfy and he loved it. So, like, I ruined him there. And then, years later, he finally got a Street Glide that he had. And then he kind of wanted a Lowrider S. Well, once it was back together,
Yeah.
it was, before it scored the cylinders, it was running fantastic. And it was really a fast, sick bike. And it's still, a blast to ride. And he took that out and he comes back with it. And then he's like, yeah, I fucking need one. The next, 2 days, he bought a Lowrider S. So I think I've ruined him every time I've had a chance to.
Yeah, and then the is it a Dyna? Is the other?
Well, the Dyna was like a popular
The Dyna
one.
was
They've
before.
discontinued it, though.
So the Dyna chassis they stopped in 2017.
Okay.
And
I
then they have-
like those.
Yeah.
I looked at those and I was like, fuck.
Yeah,
That's like
they're good.
Yeah, that's like not that big, but like
it's a bit more than a Sportster.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
Oh yeah. So like the Dynas, they've now transitioned into what they call a soft tail, but it's very, very similar. It's just a completely different frame and
Right.
motor.
right.
But your Dyna Lowrider S and soft tail Lowrider S are very similar.
I mean,
and they
the
hold a lot of
The
same.
soft tail was designed to look like a hard tail. They just hid the shock. Is that right?
Yes. So the original soft tails had dual pull shocks on the bottom. So when it did this, the shocks pulled instead
that's
of
interesting.
compressed. Yeah, very strange. They ride like dog shit. You can imagine. But then they redesigned the Softail in 2018. They got rid of the Dyna chassis and everything went to the new Softail frame, and it has a single monoshock, kind of like a dirt bike. And they ride fantastic.
Tucked up under the seat.
Yeah,
hidden.
that's what that is. That
Because
heritage.
I've heard that the Dyna has something called like the Dyna wobble.
It has a death wobble too.
And
It's
it's because
terrifying.
of the two
Like 90 to 100 miles an hour, they'll start fucking
No.
shaking, dude. It's insane.
Going to that monoshock helps fix that.
So yeah, I think that's a multi-tier thing because I think the fairing fucked that up. Like a lot of people would put like a quarter fairing on the Dynas and like a small fairing, and that lifts the front end up a little bit when you start getting wind resistance, and that lightens the weight on those bars.
Yeah, that and then when you've got two rear shocks, two separate individual shocks that especially as they get older, they might not be the same damping rate. Because that happened on my Buick. The rear shocks I think might have been original from 1962.
Probably.
And one damped a lot better than the other. So I'd hit a bump.
Your car is gangster. Dude.
Yeah.
I would
dude,
hit
I'm
a bump,
move it.
and the back end would sag hard on one side and would pull the car sideways. So I hit a bump on the highway, and I'm like,
and then the brake cylinders are pulling all awkward, so you hit the brakes and then it goes the other way. I love old cars.
yeah. So apparently that was the thing with the
Drums.
And if you go with a monoshock, you don't have that potential for imbalance,
Right. Yeah.
Because you have one shock.
Exactly. No, dude, the new Softails ride fantastic all across the board. I love them. That's what my Lowrider S is. She had a Lowrider S, new Softail Lowrider S. We had her heritage for a while now.
I just wish Harleys weren't so expensive.
They're retarded. Dude. They're painful. They're painful. They're so expensive. It's brutal.
But the payments are great, so you guys should just go buy one.
Yeah, it's just a payment.
Just-
It's
just-
just a payment.
You make
Just a couple
more.
$100.
You make more money next week.
Exactly.
Dude, you make
Look,
money every day.
$300 a month. That's like $150 a month, which is basically $15 a month. Like,
Exactly. It's the same.
Yeah.
Same. Yeah, it's whatever.
It's like the price of a sandwich a day.
Exactly. I can make that sandwich at home, and it makes it cheaper, so I can afford it. Anyways, I haven't cut my hair in 6 weeks.
Yeah, dude. Exactly. It's like, yeah. Yeah, why are the lights off at your place?
it's
Just keep
fine.
them off. There's just no electricity in your house.
Wife walks out, she's like, I haven't felt the heat in 3 years.
Yeah.
Please stop buying bikes.
Guys, come look at my bike.
I bought another Harley.
So how do you feel about Indian?
I do like them, dude. Honest to God, I actually like. I'm a little bit strange and I like motorcycles as a whole in general. But
You should see the group that I was riding with.
yeah,
I had my cafe racer. My buddy had a sport bike. My one friend had a Honda Shadow, and then we had our one coworker who was on a I'm gonna get crucified, but it was either a street glide or a CVO road glide or something. But
Yeah.
big bagger.
Yeah.
And we're just going down the road.
Yeah.
a little motley crew.
dude. There's nothing wrong with that. I love that stuff. Two wheels is two wheels. It's all fun. Motorcycles are fun as a whole.
Yeah.
But Indian's been pumping out a lot of really good bikes lately, man.
The Scout's really popular.
Yeah, dude. The Sport Scout they released, I fucking love it. I love it. I think it's fantastic. It's
And
a
then
sweet bike.
what is it? The XFR.
The XR 1200
XR 1200,
originally.
yeah.
Now I think it's. I don't even know if they call it the XR 1200. I think they might just call it the XR now or something like that. But they're sweet. They are really sweet. I like them a lot. It was originally the XR 1200.
Why we're looking at motorcycles.
My friend
Yeah.
Joel,
Yeah.
actually our
They're
friend
sweet.
Joel had an Indian
Chief.
a chief, yeah. So he took it in for service.
Yeah, that's fucking wild.
It took a little bit for them to get it done, and they kept telling him it's gonna take a little longer, and then he called, and the phone just didn't pick up. Like the phone,
FTR, that's what it is, not
the
XR.
phone
FT,
just
that's what it
XR
was.
is a
Jesus,
Harley.
FTR. Yeah, XR 1200 was the Harley Sportsters that they did. Yeah.
Anyway, you're saying?
But these, yeah. So then he's like, what the fuck's going on? No one's answering the phone. So he goes, and the place is shut down. It just shut down completely, and there's all these bikes inside, and he
Including
can see
his.
he can see his bike inside, and so he's trying to call, and he's like, give me my fucking bike back. What the fuck's going on? And they were like, oh no, you have to call this person, they own it, this is what's going on. They're shutting down they're shutting down this this dealership. He's like, no. Hang on, my bike that I own,
My motorcycle that I own is sitting right
inside,
there. I will
and
get that.
Someone has the key, and someone's going to open it up, and someone's going to give me my bike back. And so apparently everything was on hold, and the owner was withholding everyone's bikes to make sure that he was going to get paid. I think was the idea, because like he didn't want to like not be paid for the maintenance. But while he was in the middle of this, like nothing could happen. It's like because it was all getting shut down. So it took almost a year for him to get his bike back, and he finally has his bike back, and like now he has it in Miami, which is kind of sick.
Well, yeah, because the last time you and me talked about that, he still didn't have it back.
Yeah, no.
Honestly, like
a couple months ago.
I don't know if I would be able to stop myself from fucking breaking a window.
Oh,
and going
you know
inside
Joel
and getting my bike.
You know Joel. When he was telling me the story, I was like, "So you broke in, or did we talk about this after the podcast?"
No, I'm leaving here with something. I'm getting my bike back.
I'm from around the way. I'm leaving here with something.
And I think that's my only holdup with Indian motorcycles as a whole is they're not really Indian motorcycles. They're Polaris. Polaris owns Indian.
Okay.
The Polaris. They had the other brand.
Victory originally. So like originally Indian was Indian, and then Indian fell on their face.
They were like one of the first motorcycles, right?
They were originally the first motorcycle company, and then Harley and them had it out in the early 1900s.
Yeah, but they were giving Harley a run for their money up until like the 1940s. Harley got like the contracts for World War II. Actually, I think Indian originally won it, but then Harley made a better bike, and they were just like, all right, we're gonna go with the Harleys, and they offered a better deal because they knew that all these GIs coming back would be like, Harley saved my life in the war.
Or even if they're just like more familiar with it, they can work on it, they're more comfortable.
They know
they want a Harley, so they go buy a Harley.
They came out of like after World War II, Harley took off.
Yeah.
And Indian,
all these people making
parts fell off.
Yeah, making parts for those.
But at a certain year, Indian just I don't know if they went bankrupt or what it was, but they failed, and then Victory. I think Victory Motorcycles originally was just renamed Indians.
Okay. Yeah, because Dale had a Victory.
He did.
Which is actually like a sweet bike.
It was. It was a pretty cool bike, but then eventually they pulled the plug on Victory.
1953 is when they died.
Yeah. So then they just pulled the plug on Victory entirely and pulled the plug on Indian. So there was no, you have a bunch of people with all these motorcycles. If you don't service your own stuff or work on your own stuff, where do you buy parts?
Parts.
Where do you buy? Where do you get things serviced?
Warranties?
What do you do? It just goes out the window. It just disappears.
Fuck.
So now Polaris owns the Indian name, and they're making really good motorcycles. I like the stuff they're putting out, but there's always the concern of, are they going to pull the plug again?
Yeah, then
Polaris does a lot better with their side-by-sides and everything else. Are they going to eventually go, I don't really care about Indian motorcycles. We're not making enough. Pull the plug.
Yeah.
And then you're going to be left with a $30,000, $40,000 motorcycle that you can't get parts for.
Yep.
And isn't worth a dime.
Yeah. And that seems inevitable, too, because, unless Indian makes, some sort of, great, siege where people just start, switching... Mm-hmm. Because the Harley name
they came back in 2013.
Is just so it's such a a household name. Like if you're getting
they are
bikes,
Harley through and through.
Right.
That is
you know what you're getting.
That's their only business. They don't.
Yeah, they don't have anything else.
I see.
They had tried the Livewire, which was their electric bike, but they got such slack for that. They broke off Livewire as a separate company.
Yeah, it's no longer the Harley Livewire.
Nobody was happy
Livewire's
about
its own brand now.
Yeah. So
and it's also half the price when they originally
they literally
introduced it.
Yeah, they changed. They were like, "Oh, we'll make Livewire their own company." They dropped $10,000 on the cost of the bike.
Oh shit!
But
thank God, because you're right. Because if they I'm sure people are still pissed about it. Mm-hmm. Them even just being chirping, being like, "Oh, how about electric bikes?" And you're like, "Oh, you're going to do what?"
Harley's in such a weird place because, obviously they pick up new customers bit by bit, but their main demographic is dying.
Yeah, exactly.
And they can't change too much without pissing them off.
Exactly.
But if they don't change, then not enough new people are coming into it.
You saying old people? Do you mean?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, a lot of, and you see it depending on the dealership. Your main demographic of the folks that are there are in their 50s, 60s. They got gray beards. They're retirees. It's when you can finally afford it, and Barb won't give you too much shit.
Yeah, or you have the time. You just have the time now. You slowed down.
Exactly. So every single one of them, and I'm guilty for it too, because they released their new baggers with all new fairings and everything like that in 24, and I hate them. I think they're ugly. Mm-hmm. I don't like them. And I sound like every other guy that's come in the generations before me. It's they don't make the same thing the 10th year over.
Can you pull up the new ones? I haven't seen them.
Yeah, so, Harley's new lineup is very different.
I don't
and they've got liquid-cooled engines now, which is pissing off the purists.
Yeah, so your liquid-cooled, dude, it just comes
the
with
RevMax engine.
Yeah, that's the Rev Max. Even their new baggers, though, are a twin-cooled. They're still Milwaukee 8, but they're a twin-cooled motor. I think they're just like liquid-cooled heads or something like that. But they're trying to take away...
So you've got your Road Glides, you've got your Road Kings.
So the Road Glide, let's go to the new street
got a
glides.
Road King, right?
Yeah, Julian's got a Road
His
King.
is sick. His is on air. Like,
Yeah.
It's
So, like,
that's
the new
kind of-
fairing for the
That's
street
kind of
glide.
weird.
That's the first major change they've had to that in over like 20 years.
Yeah, they've
it's
all,
very
If not
soft.
more than that. And
Well,
I don't like it.
It
I
has
don't like the bags.
curve. It's
So-
like
Yeah.
It's got
There's no
the problem
edge
is
to
like
it.
everything from here down is classic, and then that's modern.
Yeah.
It
So
doesn't-
those slits in the fairing are the turn signals.
Oh,
Yes.
okay.
I just don't like it. I think it
Yeah.
looks goofy. I'm not a fan of it.
Yeah.
I don't
It should
like
be the
tail
same as it was
section.
10 years ago.
And that's
Yeah.
exactly that's
And
when I
that's the
start to
problem.
realize why everybody
That's-
feels that way.
And that's where Harley's in like a really tough spot. Is you've got
Exactly.
people who like want the classic shit, but that
in
doesn't
the road
appeal
glides,
to the newest.
if you go up to the before you hit the road glide, go first to the go to the Road Glide Limited. Now the Road Glide Limited, the only difference with the Limited and a regular Road Glide is the lower fairings on it and the big tour pack. But the rest of the bike is essentially the same. That's the old fairing. That's the original one. I like that. It's got the square boxy style. I didn't like it when I first got into motorcycles, but I grew to love it a lot.
and that's attached to the bike, doesn't turn with the handlebar.
Yes, the handlebars turn separate of
Yeah.
that. That
Yeah.
fairing stays fixed.
And but just those two, actually, there's tons of them. There's
So-
just those hard body lines in that
Yes.
front fairing do so much more than that last one we just looked at.
Yeah, so that's the original Road Glide fairing. Then if you go back and look at the new Road Glides, go down
Back down.
to just the regular
gray
Road
one.
Glide.
Yeah.
That's the new fairing
Oh,
that they
I
did.
can already see it. What is that?
hate it.
Yeah.
What
hate
is
it,
that?
dude? It's so bad.
Okay, this isn't Harley like
What the
you
fuck
can't
is-
modernize.
What is this, Private?
This is just bad.
Four course
Full
turkey
Metal
material.
Jacket.
Is that private?
I just hate it. I think it's so
No,
ugly.
that's awful. That has nothing to do with like Harley not being able to modernize without pissing off the damn graphic. That's just bad design.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And people are starting, and this is, all your Harley guys are the same. They will bitch and complain about everything until they see it 14 times and they're like, you know what?
Do you
It's
know what that
Harley
sounds like?
Davidson and I like it anyways.
Do you know what that sounds like? BMW.
Exactly. I hate those grills. On the G series, those giant grills, I hate them. I think they're
And
heinous.
now people are like, oh, it's not that bad.
It's not that bad. I'm like,
Yeah.
it's still a fucking ugly
You know what
car.
people,
Yeah.
you know what people don't get, and this applies to this too? If you have good design, you don't need to Stockholm syndrome people into liking it.
Exactly.
Through exposure. Like, no one looked at the E9 BMW and went, ew.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Right off the
Dude,
bat.
when the F80s
Yeah.
came out, it's like, that is a gorgeous car. I can't
Yes.
afford one, and I
Yeah.
want to buy one right
Yeah.
now. But,
Yeah.
they made the new grills, and it's like, who designed that?
No, like, people literally had to get Stockholm syndromed into liking it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I feel like they did that with this, and I
That's
just
what's
don't.
happening, yeah.
I just don't like it. And I'm not really being conned into it.
Good,
I just don't like it.
timeless design is immediately recognizable.
Yeah, they needed
Yeah.
a change because the fairings haven't been changed. The
Yeah.
bikes have really not seen major
But that's not
change
the
in
answer.
Yeah, and
that to me wasn't the answer.
That is very true. Because there were, I
then
forget
you
what
got
it-
their cruisers
I
that
forget what it
still
was.
They're
Like,
the same.
Yeah.
So they didn't change to the
the
liquid
Fat
cool
Boy.
motors for any of those. The Fat Boys stayed the same forever.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's your lowrider.
There's
Ash.
your
That's what I
soft tail,
have.
low rider.
And the Heritage is what she
the
has.
Hydroglide.
Yeah. So they've been doing revivals lately, which is what I think they're doing to keep the old heads happy.
Well, I mean, have you seen like the Indian Super Chief or whatever it's called, or Chieftain?
Yeah.
It looks
Oh,
like
yeah.
it rolled out of the 1950s.
Exactly. So what they've been doing with the revivals is they take a specific model out of, whatever older generation, the 1950s, 60s, or whatever, and they remake it in a newer trim.
Modern chassis, but they've got like the classic paint jobs, the classic fenders.
So that has like classic bags on it. It has the frills. That's modeled off of a pan head from the 1950s. And last year they did a Road King, which was modeled after the Highway King, which was the 1960s, in a shovel head. But now it's in a nice new trim. And they also made them. Yeah, they've been heavy on the 3 wheels, and I fucking hate 3 wheels.
That's a wild trike.
Well, that's for those 80-year-olds who can't lift up their 1,500-pound, Road King
Yeah.
anymore.
Then they're selling them these at fucking $35,000 and $37,000 and $8,000.
I could get a well-appointed Accord for that money.
Yeah,
That's a very good observation, Adrian.
But yeah, no, here's the Rev Max engines, the Adventure the Pan America,
which I got to
Nightster,
ride a Pan
Sportster S.
America the other week.
I've heard
and
good things
that
about them.
Sportster
they
S
fucking
is
rip, dude.
kind.
They're fast.
That's pretty tight. The Sportster S.
Well, the Nightster is like the closest thing to the old Sportster,
school.
because the Sportster S was the first one they released, and you can see it looks nothing like a Sportster.
Not at all.
Yeah, people hate them. They still hate them.
But the Nightster and the Nightster Special
it's
look kind of
kinda
closer
crazy.
to the Sportster, and I don't think they look bad.
Oh, the
I don't
Nightster.
think they look bad.
Nah, the Nightster's cool.
I don't think they look bad, but I don't think anybody will really ever buy into them because the Sportster didn't change from like.
Oh yeah,
So the Sportster was an Ironhead motor, which was just like nothing but problems until I forget when it originally changed.
dude,
It was
one of
like
my
the
friends,
early
the one
80s.
who's buying that Corvair, actually bought a AMF era,
Yeah,
Sportster, and immediately sold it.
yeah, they're terrible. But I think it was like the early 80s or mid 80s, they changed over to the Evolution Sportster, and that engine and drivetrain has had zero major changes until they changed to this last year.
Is the Milwaukee 8 a derivative of the Evolution, or is that also a separate
No, that's a
thing?
completely different.
Okay.
That's a completely different drivetrain. That was a whole new. So they go through their changes. They had
Yeah, they made like 5
the
whole changes
Evolution.
since 1901.
exactly. That's why it's so like Stone Age. That's why it's just a glorified tractor motor. It's
Yeah.
ridiculous. But you had the Evo motor. When you're
And that's
going
well
more to
beloved.
yeah, people loved it. But like that's when you're going more towards the modern side because originally you had knucklehead, then the panhead, then the shovelhead. But the ones you really would know would be the Evo motor, the twin cam, which a twin cam had a couple different iterations. It had the 88 cubic inch, which was the motor that was in my Road Glide. Then you had the 96, and then you had the 103, which is a motor that was in my Street Glide. And then you went to the Milwaukee 8. And the Milwaukee 8 started as 107 cubic inch, and then they went to
114?
it's 114 now. That's what you get, 114 or 117.
And now
cubic
they've got
inch.
the Rev Max.
They've got the Rev Max, or they've got the second generation of the Milwaukee 8, which has variable valve timing now.
That's
They're
crazy.
finally
for Harley.
caught up and gave it variable valve timing, which I'm
That's
very
wild.
curious to see numbers out of as people modify them.
because
Yeah.
Harley never publishes horsepower.
They do, but it's like every other car company. It's at the crank and it's
Not-
obscene. They say like the Lowrider S makes 90 horse. It does if you take it right from the motor, straight from the crank.
And
but-
remove any accessories. And,
yeah, so like you really put it on a dyno and it makes like 80,
Yeah.
85.
But Harley's always push their torque figure because
Yeah.
that's what they're known for.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
So with variable valve timing, though,
yeah.
like what are we doing?
That
with
could definitely.
Exactly. So that's been the whole. People have had a lot of problems. It's the first generation of any new iteration of anything is
Yeah.
always a disaster.
But these Rev Max engines, I don't know if I like them.
It's
It's
you
a
got to
good
think
engine.
of it.
It's a good engine.
You got to think of it and go into it with the mindset that this is going to be a fun motorcycle, not a cool Harley.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
exactly it. Because like they don't have the potato idle.
No, they don't. They don't.
Because I don't think they have the. I don't think they still use the same shared like crank pin that the original Harley
There's-
engines do.
The Rev Max is 100% a different motor. It's
Yeah.
There's no similarities for anything. It is a completely new.
Because
drivetrain.
these narrow angle V engines that Harley's been known for since time immemorial, they have that shared crank pin for both pistons, so it kind of runs
Yep.
really lopsided and uneven.
Yep. You need a second balancer. Like the Softails were good. They had a second balancer, so you had like two balancers. It's ridiculous.
And it's
To
still,
like keep the vibrations down.
reasonable. You know?
Reasonable.
reasonable because you look at
Because you
any
still
Harley
sit on
iron-
there like you know?
Yeah.
My Road Glide was just like a shake
And like,
factory.
yeah.
Dude. It
I'm
was
not a
terrible.
Harley guy, but like, I want my Harleys to be a Harley.
Exactly.
And that means shaky as fucking
That's why
idle.
it's
Yeah.
that's why it's so hard to appeal to a
That's
new
why they're in a hard spot.
audience, but still
Yeah.
keep the old heads happy.
But I think they're doing it right because they have the Rev Max for like people who want a modern,
Yeah.
a thoroughly
And,
modern
like-
bike, and then they still have.
so the Rev Max is a pretty sweet. The Pan Am is a pretty sweet motorcycle. Like
It-
any
it
of your dual
squats
sports.
when you come to a stop
yeah, if you get the
That's
one
cool.
that has auto lowering, it'll bring
Yeah.
it down as you
because
as
you got
pull
that
up.
really
'Cause they're-
tall, high ground clearance, but you can't reach the fucking ground. with
Yeah,
it.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
But I took one out on a demo ride and it fucking rips, dude. They're fast. They're like 130 or 140 horse out the factory
Whoa.
in a
No,
400-pound
is-
motorcycle.
That's
Oh,
BMW's.
yeah.
That's BMW's
Competition
or not BMW,
right
that's
now.
Harley's honest to god attempt at stabbing BMW in the adventure market.
Yeah,
shit.
and
And it looks
BMW
good.
made
I
a
like
cruiser
that.
motorcycle called the
I
R18.
love that bike. I love how
It's
it
sweet,
looks.
but if you watch any of Revzilla, if you watch any of their YouTube videos, they had a video asking, did Harley make a better
Yeah. No, I
adventure
saw that
bike,
video.
then
I watched that
BMW
video.
made a better cruising motorcycle, and they said that the Pan America was a better shot at taking on the BMW GS than the R18 was a better shot at taking on Harley's Cruiser. They liked Harley's Cruiser more.
The R18 is gorgeous, but the
It
biggest
is.
thing, the biggest issue is when you think of like a cruiser, you look at the American Cruiser where you've got the foot forward controls and you're just like splayed out,
Just hanging out. It's a cruise.
You can't
It's
do
more
that
of a
on that bike
style
because it's
thing.
got that
Yeah.
1800cc boxer.
It's a boxer motor. The R18s are a boxer motor with giant cylinders sticking out the
fucking
side
way.
of it. Yeah,
Like
What?
you can't.
that's
put your
what
feet
BMW is
forward.
known for.
You
with
can't
their,
put
their
your feet
motorcycles
forward because the engine's in the way.
Yeah,
Hang
they're
on,
huge.
let me show you. And
I
they
think I know
built
what you're
this-
talking about. I feel like I need to see it because I know that like when I've seen those before, like there's something awkward
It's
about
a
their.
it's a gorgeous bike. It really is.
But yeah, your cylinders hang out
Oh, I
the side
definitely
of the
have
motor.
Not seen this.
But look at where your feet have to be because of that. Like you can't have your forward foot controls.
Yeah. So
A lot of
it's just-
people have said that they love it
It's
and it's
far less
fantastic, but like
comfortable.
I think it's a cool motorcycle.
Oh, it is, especially the concept. I think this is a concept where it's like really stripped back.
yeah,
Like that is gorgeous.
yeah, it's sweet. But like
Yeah.
everybody that wants a cruiser, they want a Harley.
Yeah.
Everybody just wants a Harley, and they're just gonna pick what
You
color
make
they
that
want.
big?
This
even,
one?
even if it's a concept, I just kind of was going to throw it up.
Yeah. God, I'll get it memorized eventually. There it is. Yeah, that was that's like one of the show bikes where like they invited these
Yeah, and
companies
that's
to
like
like
the-
outfit it and make it.
This like the new Softail style spring there.
Yeah, they hid
Yeah.
the
Mono
the monoshock
spring.
in there to make
Yeah.
it look like a hardtail. It's got the profile of a hardtail.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's a sick looking bike, dude.
No, it really is. I do like the BMW R18, and when I went
There's-
to go buy my bike, they had one.
There's two dealers. There's a dealership
Oof.
I pass by every single day. It's a Hermes BMW and Triumph,
Yeah.
and they do a lot of. I mean, that's obviously BMW dealerships. They do all the GSs and the R18s, and every time I see them passing by, they have some beautiful trim models on them now too. And like, I'll pass by and see some real nice bikes, man. I'm like, you know,
Yeah.
they definitely hit a mark. They did well,
Yeah.
and
But
I just
the Pan America's a really good adventure
Yeah.
bike.
they're really good. They're really good.
Yeah, I think like when I look at a motorcycle, like the ones I like the most have the least amount of stuff.
Yeah.
That's my style.
Well, that's why I like.
I'm a
yeah.
small
That's
guy.
why I bought my Royal Enfield. 'Cause it's
Yeah.
as little of a bike as you can get with the modern shit that I wanted, which was fuel injection and ABS.
Yeah.
Yep.
That was all I wanted. That was modern on my bike.
Yeah.
It's air cooled still,
Yeah.
but it only makes 47 horsepower because of that.
Yeah.
But yeah,
So
then,
like
look how
mine,
wide this
mine I did a
is.
real.
I mean, and like who needs it too? Like, I mean, like
Oh,
it's,
no, you
it's
do
fun
way
to,
too
like,
much
to rip-
horsepower.
Yeah.
Like my
Yeah.
lowrider S, I did a real aggressive cam in it, and it made 132 horse, 134 foot-pounds of torque, and that's just with a cam and a pipe. And I'm like, the top end's off of it. I'm like, I could do a big bore and get 150 horse out of it. I'm like, why do I need that? I can pop the front end up by just railing on it, and it's sick. And I'm like, I don't need that at all.
Yeah.
There's no part of me needs that. That's John had his Street Glide, which made like 70 horsepower, and he comes back on my lowrider S with his hair pitched backwards, like this motherfucker rips. And I was like, yeah, dude, it ain't no 2006 Street Glide. It fucking hauls.
Yeah.
He was like, I was like, man, I gotta calm down. All right, and I looked down and I was still doing 110. I'm like, yeah, it's fun.
Oh my god.
It's stupid.
Yeah. I've never been on a fast bike except for, which is like still like, I mean, it's a fast bike, but it was a CBR 600. Was
That's
the
a
first,
fast bike.
Like that's a fast bike.
That's a
and
fast bike.
I went off of just being on my Ninja 500 carbureted,
Yeah.
like as a 95 Ninja 500.
There was one of the
And
concepts.
oh yeah, it's
Like,
R18.
when I saw that concept before BMW dropped the production one, I was like, oh my god! And like you can barely see it here, but that headlight is even like the lens is a throwback to the original.
yeah.
Just little details like
Yeah.
that I love.
The little like kind of pattern in the lens itself. Yeah, that's sick.
I find that better.
But yeah, it was one of our like friends that came by Nick's house and was like,
Yeah.
yeah, it was my new bike, and he's like, you guys want to like go take it for a ride? And then like Nick took it, and he's like, dude, you have to go ride this. I'm like, all right,
Yeah.
fuck yeah. And I'd been riding mine, and I'm like so confident in my bike, you know, like 100
Yeah.
miles an hour, it was easy.
Yeah.
And like I remember like leaving Nick's house like on that like road and just like going like from first gear like into second and then just like kind of rolling into it and then feeling the front come up and then me let off and just like it dropped down and just kind of feeling the wiggle and then being like okay third and then just kind of back into it and then like within like now it's like 2 seconds it was like up and I'm like what. is this? That, like,
What monster is
why
this?
the fuck does it? Which gear makes it drive? I just drive.
Yeah.
God damn it.
And that's a lot of like, it's that kind of reaction I've heard a lot about sport bikes is like,
Yeah.
I've never actually gotten a chance to ride one yet.
Yeah.
I really want to because I'm so curious, but
Yeah.
I hear it all the time where it's like, it's just fast.
Yeah.
It's not comfortable.
No.
It's fun.
Oh, especially
but
like
it's just
CBRs.
fast.
CBRs fucking suck, dude. They're like they are the epitome of the seats too high. The
Well, they're
handlebars,
working on that
the
now.
handlebars
It's,
are like too far apart, and like the gas tank's kind of too wide. Like you're just in this like yeah,
Doing
dude,
150
fucking-
down the highway, like,
dude. yeah, like fucking yeah.
No,
I did not like
most
it.
of the modern like naked bikes though are sport bikes, but with higher bars, so you're just actually comfortable.
Yeah.
But you've got a sport bike under you.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah,
But yeah, there's the
Yeah.
headlight. There's a good picture of the headlight.
yeah. Man, what
Oh,
a
dude,
beaut.
once the motorcycles took over, I couldn't get back into cars anymore.
I
It's
know.
just been an addiction.
Yeah.
It's been fun. They come and go. I get new ones, build them
Yeah.
faster, make them more fun, fix
Yeah.
them, ride them somewhere.
It
and you get
seemed-
such a connection with them when you
Yeah.
take them to like these beautiful places. Like, I don't want to sell that bike now. I've taken it halfway across the country. I've taken it like
Yeah.
all over the place. All those miles are my miles. It's my
Yeah.
bike. You
Yeah.
know, you don't want to get rid of it.
I am absolutely susceptible to like hyper fixating on shit.
Yeah.
And when I bought my bike, that was that. Like
Yeah.
I stopped working on my Buick. I was just like, I want to buy this for the bike. I gotta buy this. I gotta do that. I want to go here.
Yep.
And then I crashed it, and I was like, okay, well, I have a Buick I need to finish.
Yeah. There you go.
Yeah, just preoccupied
Guess
with the
back
next
to the
thing.
Buick.
Yeah,
But like I was in it. When I had my bike, I was 100% in it.
Yeah. Oh yeah. It's a lot of fun.
I could pee again, boys.
All right,
Yeah.
Pee break.
Yep.
job and all that, and finding time to do all that.
So
Yeah,
okay,
so
so
what-
the
what's
baby is just as of recent. You know,
Yeah.
the baby only happened.
We're still
a year
figuring
ago.
that out.
Yeah.
We haven't ridden a whole lot this year at all.
Yeah.
I went from 20,000 miles a year to maybe lucky if I hit 5 this year,
Yeah.
if that. You know, so
Yeah.
that's kind of where that's landed us this year. But beforehand, man, it was just the give and take. Like she put in a lot and I put in a lot, as much as we could. We didn't go out that much in between. We didn't see a lot of friends. All our vacation time was tied up in travel. We tried to be real smart with how we used it as well. You know, you take a Thursday and Friday, you got Saturday, Sunday, and then
Right.
you take a Monday. Well, that's 5 days. You
Yeah.
can go to the Smoky Mountains and do a whole trip through the Smokies in that time. That's
Yeah.
fine. So you just be like real smart. I get call offs that are 2 days at a shot. Originally it was 3. They changed the policy lately, but originally it was 3 days at a shot I can take for one call off, and I have amount of 5 of those that I can take a year. So I take those in conjunction. Okay, so I had that 5-day vacation time that I worked out over a holiday weekend. Now I take 3 extra days on the back half, and I've got an 8-day week. There we go. That's a week. You can go across the country in a week.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah. So, I mean, and obviously, like everything in life, it's so unfortunate. No one likes talking about money, but like, how do you budget for that? Like, is
You
it
just
something?
spend every red cent you've ever made. Like there's no even exaggeration or beating around the bush. You spend every red cent you've ever made on the travel, and then you just reciprocate and try to pad your savings or like pad your accounts over the wintertime when you're not traveling that much.
Yeah.
You know, we've
So-
already
Well, yeah,
left
especially
for
on a motorcycle. Like it's really easy to go. It's cold. I'm going to save my money.
exactly.
Yeah.
But like we've definitely left for trips. In 2021, we went down to Tennessee, and I'll never forget it, dude. I was not feeling good when we left. Not physically, but like feeling good financially when we left for
Yeah.
that trip. I did not have money in my account. She had some,
Yeah.
and we knew I was getting a check halfway into the week. But like, I knew I was wrapping a lot of shit up on a credit card, and
Right.
I didn't know how that was going to look, and I was not feeling good about it. But I can't buy that time back,
Right.
you know. And that's been always the justification, and that's kind of where you get yourself into a little bit of trouble.
Right.
Yeah, if you're not
Okay.
careful with it.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
like there is a lot of give and take.
Yeah. So it's not as because I think that's kind of the way that it is. I think for
I mean, that's how I got my one buddy to buy that Corvair today.
right.
Yeah.
I
It's
was
that
like-
whole you might die tomorrow. What if you don't enjoy today? Kind
Yeah.
of bullshit.
Yeah.
But
yeah.
I was just like, don't make a habit of it.
I think
but,
what's-
you know, break the rule one time because
Yeah.
you know it's really not going to hurt you, and you're going to get a 65 Corvair out of it possibly.
yeah.
Yeah.
But-
Because like we talked about like
Yeah.
you like doing these like kind of travel vlogs, and I think that I like watching videos like that when people were doing this. But like my biggest thing is like, how the fuck are they doing this? You know, because I know
Yeah.
that like I'm not like just wondering what I do with $2,000 every month.
My favorite example of this was this guy who would, for a year at a time, live out of his Jeep Wrangler, which, you know, I can see how you can kind of make that work, especially if you have like some kind of job that you can kind of do remotely. But this was pre-COVID.
Yeah.
So that was like unheard of.
Yeah.
Right.
But the video I watched was him at his single-family house with a garage as he's loading up his Jeep. And I'm like,
wait a minute.
how do you take a whole fucking year off?
So yeah,
with a house
I
like
think
that.
so much of it is literally just like wanting to make it work.
Yeah.
And I've read a couple books of different guys that travel on motorcycles. I've watched. I follow a
Did you
handful
watch
of
The
guys.
Long Way Round?
I haven't watched that one yet. I've really wanted to see that one. But a big two that I know that are like full-time travelers. One is his name is Chris Hopper. He's a long-distance motorcycle rider, and he just set the record last. That might be 2 or 3 years ago now. But for the longest trip, essentially, he did 100,000 miles in 100 days.
Dude,
That's
nuts.
1,000 miles
That's
a day
insane.
for 100 days
He's
straight.
iron butting it for
Forever.
100 days straight.
Yeah, he bought a brand new bike at the beginning of it, and then it had 100,000 miles at the end of it after 3 months. You know, and that's
Jesus.
insane. But what he does is he's a realtor, and you know he's in his, I think he's like in his late 40s or early 50s. So his kids are out of the house. And he was able to buy and sell properties on the go, on his phone, on the bike as he's riding. You know, he works
See,
for a
that's
company
the
that
kind
gave
of
him
shit
time.
that like makes me angry.
But
Actually,
like you build yourself up in the career that you're in, you get sufficient. You know, whether you could work into a bigger part of your business where you're just
Sure.
delegating work and stuff like that.
Sure.
And you could do that from your car in Kentucky. You
Yeah.
know,
Yeah,
that
but
kind
your
of-
employees resent you for that.
it's
Yeah.
possible. It's definitely
Yeah.
possible,
Yeah.
but you know,
yeah, you're definitely hurting feelings, and I think that like
you just like force it into working. You make it your reality.
Yeah, you find a way.
yeah, and I think the one of the things that I think personally for myself that where I don't see the parallel is because like I think that I don't do anything crazy, but you
Try
know,
to live below your means.
I try to live
Yeah.
below my means, but at the same time, like, you know, if I'm out, you know, and I on the weekend, like I pack my lunch during the week, I really
Yeah.
don't try to spend any money like for
yeah.
myself that way. I don't eat breakfast. I don't buy coffee out, you know, so I save weird money that way. But then, you know, we like to go to like a bar. Like if we go
Yeah.
out and buy groceries or if like we're just kind of out, we'll go to a bar and buy food and like have a couple drinks, you know, and that's like $80 when you're done, like, you
yeah.
know, with tip or whatever. So like, it's not that much. And then I'm like, yeah, I think that was like all the money. I think we did that like twice. And then it was like,
Okay, all that money I
think
saved,
that
gone.
was it. Like, and like, I'm like, what the so are people just like literally not doing anything? Because I do hear a lot of people who are also on the saving money thing and they just stay in on weekend. They don't go anywhere. Like grocery trips are very, very skimpy. And like, they're just like living well below their means. And then they're saving so much money for this like one trip that they get to take for like 1 week
So-
or maybe even 2 weeks.
Yeah, there is definitely those. Those people definitely are out there.
Yeah.
I know we don't do that. I'm definitely
Yeah.
like I like to just live. And
Yeah,
just,
exactly.
Just live. Now, I'm fortunate that my job pays pretty well. It's not outlandish, but it pays pretty well, and it definitely helps.
Yeah.
Because I can tell you right now, if I didn't work my job, there's definitely some of these trips that just wouldn't have happened.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Even with my job, it's
So long
definitely
story short,
running
what
it.
it comes down to is making money at your current
That's
job.
what I was kind
That's a
of
lot
because
of
like
it. It's just
sometimes I
you-
think that it's like is it like what you sacrifice for what you want, or is it like you just make the money?
You're just poor.
And
So
they-
and on
Yeah,
top of
okay.
it too, like so we don't live in a bought home. I haven't bought a house yet. I live in a rental house, and like so if something goes wrong, I call my landlord. I don't need a savings account set aside. So like we don't have a savings.
Yeah,
We just burn
yeah,
all
the
of it in our
water
travel.
heater goes. Like the dryer is bad.
We don't
like,
worry
yeah.
about any of that
Yeah.
stuff. You know, we don't have nice cars. We don't go nuts on stuff like that. Like
Yeah.
I've tried to keep it all as mellow as we can with other stuff, but
Yeah.
it's a lot of money.
Yeah.
It's
now-
prioritizing.
yeah, we prioritize travel and motorcycles. That was where we decided we wanted to spend most of ourselves, whether it's
Yeah.
money and effort, That's where we wanted to be.
Yeah.
So that's just what we did.
And so, but you don't do like any budgeting for it. You don't set aside.
We don't budget a goddamn thing. We don't
Yeah.
plan nothing.
Yeah.
And that's
So you go like,
our,
hey, here's
it's our
our time
biggest
off.
good, and it's also our biggest bad. It's like
Yeah.
the only thing we worry about is having the time off.
Yeah. So when the time off comes, you're like, cool. What do we do?
You're fortunate enough to be in a position where you make enough money that budgeting isn't really a high priority because you can.
Right. We
as long as
definitely
you're
try
not-
to we definitely try to haggle with the people when we get a hotel.
Sure.
And like, you sure that's the best you can do? But like,
Yeah.
that's
Yeah, but I mean, like, you make enough money that as long as you don't do anything outrageously stupid, you can generally just afford to travel.
Yeah.
Like, you have the money.
for the
you-
most
you
part.
said that-
if you're smart enough. Otherwise, you know.
Yeah. Because you said that earlier, where you're like the time and the money never line up. So
No.
when the time's there, like you
We just
do
go.
what you can.
Yeah,
with the
we
money
just
you
go,
have.
and then we just deal with the repercussions. And what that means is we rack up a credit card, and then we just try to pay it off later. And, you
Yeah.
know, we hope that works out in our favor. Sometimes
Yeah.
it doesn't always come out at the greatest time. And, you know,
Yeah.
Christmas gets a little bit scarce.
Yeah, yeah.
But
no, dude, amen.
it's-
I mean, I've been in the same boat. Yeah,
But
so
that's
because I always
just worry
wonder
so much, dude. Like
Yeah.
I see a lot of these older guys, and you see it a lot being in the motorcycle community because everybody waits until they're 60.
Yeah,
And
That
then they're like,
sucks.
I retired, and now I can finally ride my motorcycle cross country, but they can barely fucking walk. And I'm
Right.
like, well, I
Yeah.
don't want to do that, man.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
I'm 28 right now. I'm physically very capable. I can get on my motorcycle and ride it anywhere in the world. Why would I want to wait until I'm 70 to
Yeah.
finally have the fucking time? I'll deal with the repercussions when that shit comes, man.
Yeah,
Like,
yeah. Now is your golden era, and I've
Yeah.
always looked at life the same way. And it's like, especially when like the whole drifting era of me, which was like a solid like a good year of me being like, this is the only time. And but yeah, because I feel like, but when I look at life now, I'm like, no, this is like the best time. Like
Yeah.
when you're like in your 30s, like
Exactly.
early or late 20s,
exactly.
like
Live
this
right
is the
now.
best.
Like
Yeah.
we can all get stupid jobs at fucking Walmart. You know, like go be a
Yeah.
greeter at a Walmart or Harley dealership.
When
They
I'm
have
80.
retired people sitting there. I can do that, and I can pay the bills that I racked up when I was in my 20s.
Right.
But like,
Yeah.
I think we've gotten so infatuated with the idea that you retire and then you have fun.
Yeah,
Yeah.
no, that's bullshit.
It is.
Yeah.
Like
It
when
is.
when me and
100%.
all my friends were down at Trog, yeah, my buddy bought that 64 Impala. Very unfamiliar with the car, and it had
Yeah.
issues. Well, we limped it down there because why the fuck wouldn't we?
Yeah, exactly.
And then we're down there, and I'm like, "Do you have a gasket kit for this carburetor?" He's like, "Yeah." I'm like, "All right, we're rebuilding your fucking carburetor right now."
Yeah.
Like, so we're sitting there in the fucking hotel living room, rebuilding a carburetor with like a fucking drop pan that I bought from AutoZone and
Yep.
carb cleaner, and he's just like, "Dude, we're building dad lore right now."
Yeah, exactly. And like, you're not going to be able to do that when you're 60. Maybe you are, but like, it's going to be a lot harder to bend over and get into that engine bay and pull that
Yeah.
carburetor. You might not really want to do that anymore,
Yeah.
man. You're tired.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah, and that's the other thing too, is that like, I mean, how terrible would it be to feel like you had this dream when you were like 28,
And you
30,
waited 40 fucking years to do it.
and
Yeah,
then you didn't
and then you
want it,
couldn't.
and then you didn't want it anymore.
Yeah.
Exactly.
What if you just
Exactly.
didn't want it anymore?
Yeah,
And
like when
now
you're
that-
80, are you gonna want to drive ride 1,000 miles in a day?
At 80 years old, fuck no. I'm going to want to go down to the shore, sit there for 3 hours, get a hotel, and then ride my ass back home. And it's going to
Yeah.
be 40 miles. You know, I don't want
Yeah.
to do that crazy shit
right?
anymore.
Yeah.
You're old.
That's
you know?
see, and that's a great perspective too. Now, this is why, like, I also think that these like podcasts with like real human beings is good because, like, you know, obviously you can watch a podcast with like a bunch of like rich people or just famous people or celebrities or
Right.
whatever, and like you can hear them talk and like they have tons to say and there's tons to take from it, but like you're not dealing with the same problems.
They're in another world.
Yeah, they're in another world. So like
Right.
to hear like, dude, the amount.
How does the average Joe make something cool happen?
But like, dude, to like look
Now,
at your
I have
look at
another-
your Instagram though, and just like see the amount of things that you've been able to achieve off of that one mindset, and for you to still be here today, like having
Yeah,
a
like
kid
don't
and,
get me
like-
wrong. We've had times where we're really pinching pennies when we get back. We've
Yeah.
had times when it has
But
not
that's-
been easy. But
But it's worth it.
I don't regret a single fucking penny
But
cent.
that's what I'm saying. It's like
Spent.
that like,
Like, I
you
really
can
don't.
you can do that and like and all those things, and people look at it and they're like, must be nice.
I've
you
gotten
know,
that. I've definitely gotten that before.
then-
Like, oh, it must be nice to do that. And I'm like, no, you
it's
just
not.
decided to go buy a fucking $60,000 new.
Yeah, you have a car
BMW.
payment.
You have an $800 a month car payment.
Yeah. Like
That's
you
your
decide to
fault.
trade your bike in. Dude, the Harley community is terrible with this. People love to trade their bikes in every year or two. It's like you just decide to do that for 6 years straight, and you have had 4 different new bikes. I've been on the same bike, and I took it a million places. Like that was your choice. This was my choice.
Yeah.
You know.
Must be
Yeah.
nice.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Must be nice,
exactly.
Dude, I've heard it so much.
Yeah, exactly.
Like
'Cause,
I have
like,
another.
it's-
I have another friend out of Wyoming. His name's Garrett, and he's a fucking nut. He is a poor man's traveler, where like he just goes hobo for weeks on end in like a shitty motorcycle. Like he just went over to Europe he built a chopper. So he lives in Wyoming, which is essentially a very oil-rich area. And like he'll get a job for a couple of months,
On an oil
bank
rig?
a ton of like whether it's like in
On
an
the
oil
oil
field,
fields.
yeah, and like bank a ton of cash. He built a chopper. Like a fucking shovelhead, 70s shovelhead chopper, kick only, rode it up to Canada, put it on an Airbus to Canada for like less than $2,000, flew over to England. I think it was, where was that? Europe or England? I think he landed in Scotland or something like that. And then got the bike and then rode all around there. And like just, he sleeps in the dirt. He sleeps in a tent. He just
Jeez.
straight up hobo shit.
Yeah.
And he did that in the U.S. on a pink Chinese scooter. He bought it, he rode it out to Oregon, and then he rode it all the way to Maine. It took him like 2 months to do it, but he just slept wherever he landed. It broke down and blew up like 3 times.
Well, yeah, it's a Chinese scooter.
Yeah.
You buy
But,
that
like-
with the anticipation that that engine's going to last maybe 10,000 miles.
Can't wait to
Exactly.
fix it.
Exactly. Like you just you bum stays off of friends and people that like what you're doing and get down with it and think that that's cool.
Yeah.
And that helps
That's
a lot.
what Alex was saying. He's like, you can sleep in Walmart's parking lot.
Yeah,
For
he
sure.
actually he did a Lowe's where he slept in the fucking the sheds that are outside
Oh,
the Lowe's.
shit.
He took vice grips and like pinched it shut. And he said, I woke
shit.
up, I opened the thing, and one of the workers was going in. I waved, and they just looked at me like, "What the fuck is this?"
They don't get paid enough to
I got a
care.
pink scooter stuck in the back. And he's like, "All right, time to leave."
Yeah, before he tells somebody what's
Yeah.
good.
No, they don't get paid enough to care.
Yeah.
No, not at all.
No, dude. And honestly, I mean, like, no disrespect to like those like the people who work at Home Depot, but they're probably like, I should do that. Like,
Yeah,
they're like,
literally. I'd be looking at that
I
like,
relate with this guy more than
smart.
my boss.
Smart.
Like, yeah.
Intelligent. I like that. But
Yeah. No, that's amazing, man. And I love hearing, and like, dude, obviously I'm sure that like you've talked to Peace Clock about all like your travels and like
Yeah.
his travels, because he has the same perspective where he's like, dude, budget? What? I work every day. I do my thing. He's like, I don't try to save money.
Yeah.
He's like, I'm not doing anything dumb, but like if I want to go out, whatever. I think he does a little bit more of like the hermit life. I think he does.
He definitely
enjoy,
does, yeah. I mean,
like,
that's what you
being
get with
not-
those oil or the welding gigs,
The
the
pipeline.
the pipeline gigs and the
But
welding stuff.
Well, especially with him having his business now too, but like and he's doing like really well, like
Yeah.
like with
Oh,
the
yeah.
business. But even then, still like I think he's just not a guy who like wants to go out and eat. He's not a guy who wants to
Exactly.
go out and like go spend money. He's like a guy who just wants to like kind of do his thing and then like
I mean,
and
I
like
don't
and
want to
just
spend
like
money, but my hobbies are all expensive.
Exactly.
Yeah.
That's the only big problem with it is like when you want to do it on things that are a little bit ridiculous, it takes up an extra tab of that.
Yeah.
It is not easy to keep up with sometimes.
Yeah,
Uh,
a ball joint for my Buick, which I need. I have to figure out which one though, but it squeaks like crazy. It's been squeaking for like the last 3 years.
Yeah.
$178.
yeah.
Like, why? Why?
Well, because the
that.
company that makes it is called Rare Parts.
Yeah,
because
exactly.
no one
because you
makes the
can't
ball
get
joint.
it anywhere else.
Yeah.
Dude, this one pissed me right off. When I was rebuilding my lowrider S, it pissed me
Right
right off. It made me so mad. There's an oil return line. Okay, there is oil lines that go over top of the motor, and it is a rubber hose, essentially like a oil rubber hose, and it goes from here to here, and it goes. How much do you think that costs?
Well,
Seventy-
since you're
Genuine
talking-
Harley
70
parts.
Since
I'm
you're
going
talking about it, it's like at least
$74.
$150.
It was $114. $114, dude. I'm talking about like 4 inches of hose.
Dude.
Just
Okay,
an oil
so
hose.
Go find
Wow.
go find a pre-made car, a pre-made line on a car that matches close enough, and then buy that for $10.
I would have. I literally,
Yeah.
I was returning another part. It was the wrong part, and so I had some extra money on the account. And then I was like, and then I need to oil this hose, whatever. And then when it came in, I thought it was weird that the cash I got back seemed a little bit light, but I was like, whatever, it's all good, no big deal. And then when it came in, he was like, damn, that hose was expensive. I was like, how much was it? It was like $114. So I was like, why the fuck didn't you tell me? I would have went and figured one out.
Yeah, dude.
He's like, I just didn't think about it. Like,
Yeah.
God damn it, Jeremy.
Yeah, of
Let me
course.
know.
Yeah, of course. Yeah, click the button.
But there's another guy that travels around the world on like a ridiculous, silly chopper too. Like I love the outlandish stuff that's stupid.
Yeah.
But his name is Chopper Charlie, and he travels all around the world. But he's got a bunch of rental properties from what he's talked about. It doesn't sound like he talks about it much, but podcasts I've heard here and there, he's got a couple of properties, and like that pays for.
Yeah, that's his passive income.
Yeah,
Exactly.
So,
like,
but
you gotta
again,
get there, and
that's one of those things. Those are the kind of stories that I hate the most because like there's a story where you're like, oh, see, he's just chilling.
Okay,
But
how
it's
did
like,
you get that first
it's-
property?
Yeah.
Yeah. Now,
How do you get that first? How do you get that
it's
second?
him
How do you
and-
get that
it's him and his
third?
wife. You gotta work. You gotta grind into it. She's in the military, and she makes money there. He
All right, so
apparently
that's
had a
it.
job probably
That was
beforehand.
it. That's it right there.
You know, and he is in his 50s, and so he's a
Yeah.
little bit older, but he's kept himself in physical condition enough to
Right.
continue doing it
Yeah.
and continue doing what he wants to do.
And that's a good point too. So we did we kind of really rubbed our shoulder into the 401k people out there, but like.
Well, I've got a decent one.
you can, yeah,
You know.
of course, me too. But I also agree with like your lifestyle where it's like I don't know, man. Like I got this whole 401k is there like in case I do make it. Like
Yeah.
that's where I'm living.
Exactly.
You
My
know what I
401k
mean?
is there in case I do make it. How do you think I bought that
Yeah.
yellow bike, though? I pulled
Yeah.
a 401k loan.
Yeah, I
Okay,
mean-
I was like, I need it now. I need it right
Yeah.
now. I can't afford it. I'm taking it. I don't care. I want it now. So like,
Yeah, but
you tap
can,
into what you can. And
Yeah.
401k is a scam anyway.
But you
It
can
really
keep
is.
yourself. You
well,
can
I
keep
mean, they
your-
use
you
it to
can-
replace pensions.
I know.
Yeah.
It fucking sucks.
But you can keep
on
yourself.
my job specifically, they got rid of the pensions and then they gave you a
Oh,
bigger
yeah.
percentage on your 401k.
Yeah.
Like before I started in there, they nixed the pensions. They bought everybody out that had a pension
Fuck.
and said, here's your golden check, however many thousand for however many years you put in.
Damn.
And a lot of people took it because it was a sky high amount
course.
of money. And then they just gave everybody 401k and that was it.
Yeah.
That's pretty much how that
I mean,
Yeah,
401k is
gee.
better than nothing, but compared to pensions, it's a fucking scam.
Yeah, absolutely.
Such a scam.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
Anyway.
But yeah. So
Tirade.
I was saying, you can keep yourself
Miserable
in
old
like
man podcast.
in like good, yeah. But you can keep yourself in like good, like healthy condition to where like
Exactly.
like you
can
stretch,
enjoy your retirement at your
stretch
60s,
and
70s,
exercise,
Exactly.
and you can like kind of get to that point.
But even
like,
then, time
Exactly.
stops for no one.
absolutely. Absolutely. It marches
and-
forward, man. It's coming for you whether you like it or not.
Exactly.
I can't
Everybody
wait
who
for my
constantly
scheduled
says
61-year-old heart attack.
yeah.
Everybody constantly says, man, I can't wait, or I can't wait until I have time. I can't wait until this. And then they take a week vacation at Ocean City. And I'm
Yeah.
like,
Woo!
Brother.
fucking take that time there and go do that thing you want to do. Stop doing
Yeah.
the same vacation you've been doing for the past 14 years.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And go do something
I
new.
was lucky enough that like my family kind of understood that.
Yeah.
So like we've taken vacations where we drove in a fucking 2004 Cavalier out to South
Exactly.
Dakota.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Or
And
we
it's
went
like,
out to
yeah, it can
Vegas
suck
and-
for a little bit, but like it's gonna be so cool.
Or like all of it until you get there, but yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Dude, when you're 6,
family of
you're like,
4
bro, what the fuck are we doing?
A family
Where's
of
the
4
roller
two
coaster?
weeks worth of luggage.
what the fuck
in a
is wall drug,
2004
bro? Leave me
Cavalier.
alone.
And yeah, we went out to Vegas and Arizona to see the Grand Canyon and all
Yeah.
that. Yeah, you know,
Oh, yeah.
I've been privileged enough to like see a good bit of the country.
Exactly.
I haven't done it on my own though yet.
And it's a beautiful thing. So like I did a single solo trip by myself, and that one I did down into the Smoky Mountains, and it was one of those loops that I'm familiar with, and I did it. I felt bad taking a trip by myself. I didn't want to see too much that she hasn't seen. You know, it was something like it just felt weird. But I loved that freedom of like I get to do whatever I want.
Yeah.
I've never sat at a restaurant by myself ever in my entire life, and it was the weirdest feeling I have ever had. But
That's
I got to talk
interesting.
with a local. I got to talk with the bartender. You know, I sat at the bar. I ordered food there. You know, I sat at a diner and I talked with another table. You know, bullshit with the waitress, whatever. And it was just a very unique experience. It makes you get really in tune with yourself very quickly. You
Yeah.
know, and it's an odd experience.
I did that as well. So like I just had to go do training in Wisconsin for work, and when I was there, I felt the same way. Where like I was like just almost like not in tune with my phone, like because like where the training class was like in the basement of this like building that they have, you know, and so there was like no cell service. So like I didn't like. I did my best to talk to Holly, and which she was very upset about. But but then like then once you're out, like you're just kind of like you're just kind of doing your thing, and like there's other people that are in the class, but they're all like old.
Yeah,
you know? So, like,
exactly. You're like,
you know
I don't know,
Like,
I don't know what to do.
Doing like their own thing, like just like going back to their room and getting room service.
I mean, you could be Colin and make friends with everyone somehow, and then come back and say like, oh yeah, me and the guys were going hippo mode in the hot tub at the hotel, and I'm like, what the fuck does that even mean?
Hey yo, hey yo. All right, so didn't choose that route.
Oh, you didn't go hippo mode in the hot tub?
But I would just get done, and I would talk to Holly like on the phone for a little bit, and she would just be like just getting home, and she'd be busy, and then like wouldn't have time to talk, and I'd be like, okay, I'm gonna go get food. Well, like call me later, and then I would like sit down. Like now I have this moment where like she's at home busy doing like normal day stuff, which like definitely pissed her off. And then I'm like, I'm at this like new bar. I'm like, what do you guys got?
Yeah.
Who are you?
You ask the waiter or the waitress, just like, what's good here? What do you
Yeah.
recommend? And like you
Yeah.
get that, and then you try something new, and it's just like,
yeah, it's cool.
it's difficult to like open yourself up to new experiences with new people and like talk with random people instead of just sitting on your phone or just grabbing takeout.
Yeah.
And that really forces that interaction. And I enjoyed that a lot.
Yeah.
I enjoyed that people experience. I enjoyed like, oh, I'm kind of miserable riding this highway. I'm just going to turn here and get the fuck off of it.
Yeah.
You know, nobody's
Yeah.
going to tell me otherwise. It's my choice. This is my trip.
Yeah.
You know, and that's
This
a beautiful
is what
feeling.
free will is like.
Yeah.
Exactly. Like
Yeah.
you finally have free will. I'm like, I'm getting a face tattoo.
Yeah, and like in that moment too, like it's how like at least for me it was like because of my scenario, it was hard. I felt selfish. Where like and like, I'm at work, I'm like doing a work thing, but at the same time, like I'm having way more fun than Holly's having. You know, it's like I had this like weird like selfish like I like when I was having fun, it felt like I'm like. Because like how you were saying, you were like, I wouldn't have wanted to have taken a trip.
Exactly.
Where like I would like you come back and you're like, oh my god, you should have been there.
You should have seen. I can't believe you didn't get to see this super sick thing I saw. Anyway,
Yeah.
I'm so sorry. How was the trip?
Yeah.
It was terrible. It rained.
Yeah.
I don't know what you're talking about.
Yeah, I mean,
I'm
food
definitely
was
not going to
same
show you
here.
these pictures of this great time I had.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it was okay. How was your day? I bet it was exciting.
Yeah. The
It
same
was
week
exciting.
you
It was
always
trash
have.
day, wasn't it? Oh, jeez, I'm in the doghouse.
Yeah. Yeah. But I mean, but it should be normalized because it's hard if you've never had it because like some people run from that feeling. I think that like where they don't want that
can definitely
selfishness.
it's not even just like that, but like having unfettered free will is almost scary.
Exactly. Because
Yeah.
that's why so many people love government control. Tinfoil hats. That's why everybody loves that, you know?
We're bringing it out.
Yeah.
But no, like speaking from experience, like I don't think I'd ever go on a cross country trip by myself, just because
I would in a heartbeat.
No, yeah, you would, but
And
I
have.
don't know if I would. Like I really don't. Like my first instinct, if I have the opportunity to go on a trip, is like, who can go with me?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And like, yeah, what friends can I drag along? Because if I go by myself, it's like, I don't know. It seems odd.
Mm-hmm. It's very intimidating. It's like you have to navigate all these things by yourself. You have a breakdown. You have to figure it out by yourself.
I don't
you
even
can't
know if
find a
that's the
hotel.
issue, though.
You have to find
Because-
it. You know.
When things go wrong, a lot of the times I'm the person that people come to.
Then what are you waiting for?
I don't know. It just seems weird to go off on my own.
Mm-hmm. I mean, it's fair. It is intimidating, but like it's a beautiful feeling.
Yeah.
No,
It takes a little
see
while.
it.
It takes a good couple hours till you're like, okay, this is okay. Everything is fine.
No,
Yeah,
and
it's
I
gonna be
can I
okay.
can see it like from a third party perspective. It's like, oh yeah, dude, that totally makes sense. But then I put myself in the position of like, I could just take a week off from work and just go.
Yep.
But at the same time, I'm like, I don't know. I
That's-
want someone with me.
So that's been a big part of like the conversations that I've had with some people where like dude, so if you know me, my schedule's fucked. It's a disaster. Typically, like before things slowed down this past year, I used to work 7 days a week, and like the only times I got off was vacation time, and I rotated shifts in between that, and it was a fucking disaster.
Yeah.
And I had people looking at me like, I wish I had the time you did, and I'm like, you have a steady day shift schedule with every weekend off. What are you talking
Like, bro,
about?
I don't have free time. I
Like,
make free time.
Like, it's just every time I have free time, I don't go to the shore. I go somewhere new. I get on my motorcycle and I take it to a new place. And they're like, I just wish I had the time you did. I'm like, you fucking have more, man.
Yes.
Like, you have
And
way more.
You know what?
You can go to Vermont in a day. Go take your fucking tent. Go ride to Vermont. Get a goddamn campsite.
well, a
sit
lot of
by
people
a
don't
fire,
like
and
driving
then-
more than 4 hours at a time.
Exactly, and that's a big part. And,
How-
and-
2
or
hours
they
at a
don't have
time
the
is
right
hard.
direction, or they're just intimidated by it.
I
you
think intimidation might be the right word. I was
That-
going to
that's
say
really
like,
what it
there's-
is.
Yeah, there's like a
know? it is scary
there's-
sometimes. you
yeah,
know?
there's like there's
Which is
two.
crazy because we're going in our own country.
I
It
know.
is, but I
Yeah,
mean,
it shouldn't be. Yeah.
whether it's like people experiences or dude, I mean, we had a solid like 2.5 hour stretch on the road in Montana where we went from a restaurant and we had to make it to a hotel, and it was 9:30 at night and it was dark, and we were in the hills in Montana, and all we saw was big fucking deer on the sides of the road.
Oh, God.
And it's a 55-mile-an-hour road, so we did 35 the whole way there because we were fucking petrified.
Deer are some of the dumbest fucking animals on the planet.
Yeah.
I
Yeah,
swear to
so like
God.
imagine that by
We-
yourself. Like that is very intimidating, and that's the kind
Oh,
of stuff you're going to
fuck.
experience.
Yeah. So this is my question. So, like, obviously, if I was Cheyenne, I'd be like, share my location. Like, I need to know where you are,
Yeah,
motherfucker.
definitely.
Because if
Definitely.
you do go down and like God forbid it was like in a scenario where like you didn't have cell service, it's like
So we haven't like ponied up for any kind of GPS or like tracker unit
Well,
or
hey,
anything
that's-
like
please
that.
do.
We
Let us
should.
be.
Do you
Let
have-
us
we
be the
definitely
time.
No, do you have T-Mobile?
We do. We have AT&T and T-Mobile. Yeah.
Okay, well,
But they're
T-Mobile,
the
you're
same.
going to be fine because they're working with Starlink to have like satellite direct-to-cell
Oh, then we should
shit.
be good.
So
We
once
should be
that rolls
good.
out, you'll be fine. You don't have to
We'll
worry
be
about
fine.
that anymore.
But like
Yeah.
as soon as we started riding motorcycles and she started riding her own, we started sharing locations.
Oh,
and
yeah.
definitely. Because like
Yeah.
I told her immediately, I'm like, it's not a control thing by any means. I don't
No,
trust
no.
you, but like.
I got to go grab something real quick.
Yeah.
But like I'm not about I would prefer to know where you're at, because if I know it's a 45-minute ride
Yeah.
and I haven't heard from you in 2 hours, like that's a concern.
Right. Yeah, 100%.
You know?
Yeah, and then the same thing with Holly and I. It's not about like a control thing. It's
Not
just
at
be
all.
like
Safety.
yeah,
It's safe.
because like I work
Exactly.
nights and like she's
And
like
honestly,
she
it's
wakes
convenience
up
too,
Yeah.
because if I'm making breakfast and she's on her way home from somewhere, or I'm making dinner or whatever, and
I'm making
Ooh.
I
waffles.
check, I'm like, okay, cool, I can start
Yeah.
making dinner now. I know she's on
Right.
her way.
Yeah.
Simple stuff like that.
Yeah.
dude.
Yeah,
When
no,
you're not a
100%.
controlling piece of shit. It works
No.
fantastic.
Man, it's almost as if we don't act like pieces of shit. The world's a better place.
It's
exactly.
better. It's
If you're
better
just
off.
a normal human, it's
Yeah.
fantastic.
Yeah,
We can
be-
use technology to our advantage and not to our disadvantage.
Yeah. But yeah, I mean, just being like on night shift, and if I don't like, or just at work, you know.
Mm-hmm.
So like on Friday, I had like a terrible time getting home, and then I did stop for whiskey, but like when I stopped, I just sent her like a text and I was like, hey, stopping for whiskey, almost home, you know. But like when I got home, she was like, I almost called you. She was like, because like you texted me at like 3:45, and it was like almost 5:30 when you texted me you were stopping for whiskey. I was like, yeah, that's how bad traffic was.
Yeah.
But like the same thing when we also like we share like location and stuff. So like it's just because it's like peace of mind.
Exactly.
You know? Like, just like that's your human being. You know, it's like you
Yeah.
want to like just make sure that they're okay, and you can't always let them know. You
Exactly.
know? So it's good.
Exactly.
You know, using technology for the better.
Yeah, and especially if you're going into like a semi-risky scenario, like, you know,
Sure.
soloing a bike trip across the country.
Oh
Yeah.
yeah, absolutely.
Dude, or like
She's
if
done-
you
she's
just
done a
go
couple
for
of
you go
trips
for a
herself,
run on a
and it's-
trail, like you like because I mean
Yeah, if you're
honestly,
going
Holly
anywhere by yourself,
Holly
having
won't go like
anymore,
for a
dude,
run
it's-
without me.
dicey.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's not that bad. It's really not.
No,
But, like
it's really not.
it's
but
just
like,
a little
but-
bit of piece of letting
But
at
we
least
have
one
that,
other person
we
know.
have that safety net. We might as well use it.
Exactly. Yeah.
So she's been
exactly.
there's like 2 different motorcycle campouts, a girls' motorcycle campouts that she's been to, and every time she goes, she has to go by herself. I don't meet the requirements for that one, so
It's 2024.
it is 2024.
It's 2024. You could be a woman if you wanted to.
Absolutely. But You know, so like she goes off, she goes off on her own trip, and it's like I don't hear from her for a little while. It makes me uncomfortable. I check her location just to make sure it's still moving.
Yeah,
I'm like,
exactly.
cool, it's still moving. We're good.
Exactly.
I don't have to worry.
Yeah.
We're
It's-
okay.
She's
You're
still
there for
moving.
about
She's either on her bike or she's at least in an ambulance on her way to a hospital.
Exactly.
Like,
Either way, they're about to let me know, and we'll be on. We'll be on the way.
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah. No, I mean, well, either way, yes. Yeah. Hate all that talk, but yes.
But unfortunately,
It's
it's the
life.
reality we live in.
yeah.
So.
Yeah, of
It's life.
course. Yeah.
I ain't gonna
it is.
act like, dude, the motorcycling is a dangerous thing. It's the way it goes.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
it'll never change it.
Yeah,
I'm still
no.
gonna love it.
Yeah.
I got 5 people that are one-legged, all still ride motorcycles. They're
Yeah.
amputees with fucking prosthetics.
And,
Every
like,
single
that's-
one of them
and
was
that's-
from a motorcycle
yeah.
accident. Every single one of them bought a new motorcycle since.
That's how you know the product is good.
Exactly. People are losing limbs over this shit, and they're
Yeah.
like, "Need it. I need another one."
Hey man, first hit's free.
Exactly. Perfect.
Oh,
Yeah,
fuck.
I've got a lightning bolt for a collarbone, and I still want another bike.
Yeah.
Yep. Absolutely.
Yeah, you've said it for long enough. I know that it's in your bones, literally.
Oh yeah.
Yeah,
It's in your collarbone.
Well, Royal Enfield announced that they have the classic 650, so it's got that
Yeah.
old school like
Would you-
1950s style.
That's what you would jump back into?
Oh, absolutely.
Back into that?
I was
Yeah.
looking at the classic
Harley?
350 because when I was in the Philippines, all they had was like low CC.
Yeah.
Fucking. You hear them hit a hill and just whoa. But at the same
Yeah.
time, I'm like, I kind of want that.
Yeah. Yeah.
But at the same time, I'm like, if I want to go visit my parents in Delaware, I have to get on a highway, and 20 horsepower is not enough for that.
Yeah.
It gets annoying. You're
Yeah.
just gonna
Yeah.
be dragging, you know.
Yeah.
So when they announced literally like last week that they've got the classic 650 coming out, I'm like,
They're sharp too.
Mm-hmm.
It's a lot of bike for not a lot of price.
yeah, like
Yeah.
my bike, I think out the door was $7,000,
Mm-hmm.
and
That's crazy.
I mean, I showed you a picture of it.
Yeah.
Like a brand new bike, $7,000 is kind of nuts.
Yeah.
But-
Yeah.
Especially if we just watch like the whole catalog for Harley. It was like $30,000, $30,000,
Yeah,
$30,000,
it
$30,000.
That's what
starts-
sucks about 'em,
Harley
man.
starts at like $12,000.
Yeah, you don't buy anything,
Yeah,
and
there's a
that's
couple
that's
cheap,
on
but-
that's on the website because you need they don't add your delivery
Oh,
and
yeah.
setup and
And there's
God.
RP
It's
bullshit.
ridiculous, dude,
Yeah.
and that's every dealership
Well, that's what
has to
I'm saying.
deal with.
My
It.
bike was like $7,000. It was $6,100 sticker price.
Yeah.
And that was like another $900 in fees and tax and bullshit.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep. You get the they do the setup and the freight fees for Harley. So like your $30,000 bike is actually about 34 out the door.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's painful.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's painful.
But-
And you're like,
Yeah.
yay.
Yay.
I love Harley.
We're having fun. This is fun.
Brutal.
Yeah, hang on. I want to see what Harley's base. Oh my god, I can't fucking type. Harley,
There it is.
what their cheapest bike on offer is.
I went
I think
to
their cheapest bike is about 12.
Yeah.
12 to
I went to dark mode on Google.
Yeah.
I think it's nice. I thought it would look. It
My
looks
phone's
better
all
on
dark mode.
It would look better on camera. I thought.
New
when you were looking through all
motorcycles. What's their cheapest? Okay, 45,000.
That's a CVO. The
Is that the
CVO,
cheapest?
the
Can you
CVO
go?
is
Can you,
custom
can you
vehicle
sort by?
operation.
Can you sort by cheapest? No, the
Uh,
filters right here. Oh, right there. Oh, it's all there.
Yeah, they're
It's
like,
these.
no, we don't do price.
Yeah.
Yeah.
we don't sort
Listen,
by price.
if
There
you're
isn't that
buying
many
a
bikes.
Harley-
There
if
isn't
you-
that many bikes. Their
14.
lineup-
Okay, 14.9 is the lowest I've seen.
Mhm.
Definitely not gonna be those.
No, I'm pretty sure it's those.
11.9. The
Yeah.
Nightster.
Yeah.
The Nightster
12
is the
grand.
lowest at 11.9.
Which I
And
do
that's
like the
not-
Nightster, and it probably
No, it looks pretty good, but
Yeah,
it only
I don't
comes
have
in
the
two
tailpipe.
colors. And like you were
Oh,
saying,
tailpipe
that
looks like a
engine-
leaf blower.
Yeah. Yeah, and the engine you said was
It's
different.
it's called
It's
the
the
RevMax
RevMax.
motor, and it's
Yeah.
a new water cooled motor.
it is a modern engine.
I don't want
It
that.
is actually, but
Yes,
you
I
either
would
get
want like
from
an
what
old
I've
bike.
heard about the RevMax so far is either you get a good one or a bad one.
Oh,
If you get a
really?
bad one, it's in the shop every other week,
Oh
Yeah.
god.
and it's fucked. If you get a good one, then it'll last you forever, and,
and
it's
it's
absolutely
a fucking
fantastic.
ripper.
Yeah, but
Yeah.
if
It
you get a
actually
bad one, and
revs.
it's like every third one is a bad one.
Yeah, it sounds
So-
like that. It sounds like someone just hasn't had theirs break yet.
That
Yeah.
sounds like that sounds like AMF Harley, honestly.
Yeah,
But yeah, so you were saying that like you get a lot of bike with Royal Enfield.
Yes.
And yeah, I can attest to that personally. We've got two color options.
Yeah, no, and
one of
your-
them
the
is
Vivid Black,
$300.
Any color
Bro,
over their
black's
base color.
$300.
This past year they started making black the paid for color option. Your base color
how
is gray.
fucking dare you?
Yeah, it's like I need black.
Yeah,
We go to Royal Enfield, and their cheapest bike starts at, I think it's in the $4,000
It's like
range.
$4 or $5,000.
For
It's a
like,
lot of motorcycle for not a lot of price, and they're sharp.
Which is
dude.
why
They
I
make
bought one.
I like the Himalayans. The new Himalayans are sweet.
Oh, the 450?
I really like them.
Yeah. The Shotgun 650 was the closest you could get. Like, honestly, I think this fills the slot left by the original Sportster.
Sort of, in a way.
It kind of has that style. Yeah.
It's a roadster, cruiser, whatever you want to call it. That's cheap and
It has that like the Dyna like fairing on it, like the big headlight though.
But the Bullet 350 I think is the cheapest thing you can get right now. And what does it start at? Oh my god.
Ooh, so speaking of bikes and just in the
$4,700.
Oh yeah, yeah, it's insane.
That's
when you
actually
take that Harley
crazy.
name tag off,
and it's
drop
brand
about
new,
$5.
right? That's like this
That's
is
a
like
brand
just
new-
a
yeah,
brand
it's
new
a
bike
brand
for
new
$5,000. You know, tax and tags, maybe you're in it like 6.5.
Not even.
Yeah.
No, you're firmly in the $5,000 range for a
Okay.
brand new bike.
Hell yeah.
Oh my god, I don't want to go through all this bullshit.
So Adrian just over here just convincing us all to buy a bike.
You got to convince nothing. I'm autistic. I've got
Like,
3.
Convinced?
I've got 3 and 2 of them are in pieces.
Yeah, what do you mean?
Just show me the fucking bike. I don't want to go through the fucking configuration.
Have you, Chris? While we're doing this, have you seen that that motorcycle like restaurant, like pub bar thing? There's one in New York
There's one
City,
in-
and there's one in like
It was
somewhere
based
in
in
Europe,
England, I
or I think
think.
London.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
a bar like
You can ride your bike right in.
I think I seen the. I think I have the one in England saved on my Google Maps.
Yeah.
I probably
Yeah,
do.
Yeah. So, because
I didn't know they had one in New York City.
Yeah, I think it was like my last
it's
question.
not as cool as the one in England,
Of course.
obviously.
No, yeah, the one we did a little Google on it just because like I don't know if I brought it up or if it
You
was came
brought
up
it
in
up.
conversation.
You brought it
But I think
up,
it came up
yeah.
in conversation.
You had
'cause,
seen
like,
it on like Instagram or
yeah,
something.
but I wasn't something I wanted to like bring up. Like I just like saw it and I thought it was cool and I thought you would like it.
Yeah.
'cause
The
you're, like,
classic
super into
350
bikes.
is the one I was really looking at because it looks like it rolled right out like the 1950s.
Yeah.
Like look at that.
I love
Yeah.
that. That's
But
sweet.
it's got 20 horsepower, and in America that doesn't work. In India that works fine.
I really like the Himalaya is really sweet because it's just the new 450.
Yeah, you've got the
Not
older
the,
the
yeah.
410, I think.
The
and
new
then you've got the
450 is sweet, and I
450.
think they're less than $7,000, and it's a lot of motorcycle, man. Like it's more than enough power
yeah, you've
to
got
get
like
anywhere and do anything.
what is it like almost 30 horsepower?
I think
Why
it's
are
more than
things
that.
happening as you scroll down?
That's their website. Their
Yeah.
website's really ridiculous.
I wish
It's
I could.
so fucking
I wish I
annoying.
was on that while it was all happening.
But yeah,
Like,
but the
what
other thing that
fuck's going on?
$5,800 is where it starts,
Yeah.
Wow.
and they give you a shitload of color options that
Mm-hmm.
don't cost. Well, that one costs more. Some of them cost more, but you get a lot of color options that don't cost more.
Yeah.
Like that's the biggest thing. A lot of motorcycle manufacturers give you like 2 color options, maybe 3.
Yeah. Everything
Royal
else
Enfield's
is like,
here's 7.
yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
But yeah,
What
you
other
get a lot of
cool bikes do they have? Do they have a bike for Keith?
What do you want?
Anybody's got a bike.
To be honest, dude, that the one that the Bullet 350, I like old bikes.
Well,
I like
okay.
where I was
They
going with-
just announced the Classic 650, which is what I've been waiting for. It has the same engine that my Continental GT had, but it looks like the 350.
yeah, because like when I see like
See, there's
from-
what I bought, the Continental GT 650. They
Yeah.
don't have the colorway that I bought anymore, but mine was white and blue. But yeah, like that's what I bought.
yeah,
But they just announced.
and then you did like the tail.
Yeah, so you
like,
can see like
delete.
that whole thing. I chopped mine like right there.
Yeah, it was sick.
I miss that bike so much.
Get another.
You know what sucks though, dude, is that like I have to like try these bitches on because I try to straddle
Not
your
that
bike.
far from a Honda dealership that deals a lot of other motorcycles too.
Yeah.
No. Power Sports East down in Delaware has Royal Enfields, and then
Yeah.
the dealer I bought it
but
from
your
was in
bike. My
Manioc.
point is like your bike.
Alex can ride my bike, and he's 5'4".
I'm not saying that I can't ride it. Like
You said you had to
obvious-
try it on.
Well, okay, no, because
To be fair, anybody can ride anything. But that's my wife's motorcycle out there, and she's 5'2".
yeah. So
You're fine.
Yeah, you.
And that's a
I
pretty
know.
large
I know that
motorcycle.
like it's like what is your fine?
Yeah, it's
You
just
know?
what you're more comfortable with, what you
Right.
feel good with.
Yeah. So like my thing is like when I straddled your bike because the seat's so flat, like there is no like you sat down on it. That's what I loved about the Sportster that John had, and like he almost sold it to me. He was like $3,800. He's like just buy my fucking bike, and I'm like. maybe I will. Like,
There you go.
and he had 1,200. That was like it was a big deal. Like it was a lot of bikes.
So,
but like my thing, like it was like when I sat on John's bike, because I'm a short-legged man, that like I could definitely no problem stop in traffic. It was like what you were talking about before, where it's like how often are you stopping? It's like, well, how often are you riding? It's like
So like
that's got a
when
lower
it comes
seat.
to she dealt with
I gotta
this.
try it on.
She dealt with
Try it,
this a
bitch.
lot. A lot of guys will try to sell you on the fact that you need to be flat-footed all the time.
You don't
I mean,
need
like,
to.
and like,
you just don't.
Yeah.
Because
you can lean to
how
one
often
side.
do you come to stops? Like,
yeah, but you
realistically?
could lean to one side, throw one solid foot down,
Yeah.
switch back and
Majority of the
forth.
time you're riding, you're going to be going down the road.
Yeah.
You don't need to be the whole consideration doesn't need to be can I stand flat-footed, because she dealt with that shit all the time. She would see couples come in and like she wants a bike, she's getting a Sportster, and she's looking at the woman like, is that what you want? Is that what you feel comfortable with? Do you like that? You know, and she's like, not really. I've sat on Sportsters and they feel top heavy because they kind of are.
Yeah.
She's like, let me show you the Softail Standard.
Yeah, because they are
Because the
tall.
Softail Standard is a lot more bike, but it's a lower seat height. And it's much more comfortable. It's much
Yeah.
more balanced.
Harley's always been good about putting the weight low.
Exactly. So like
Outside
it's
of
a
the
lot of
Sportster.
weight, but like it's not terrible to manage. It's really not. And so like she would get them convinced on something completely different because that makes more sense for them. But everybody always imagines you need to be flat-footed, everything needs to make sense, and it's
No.
just that's not true.
You don't need to, but as someone who was not confident on their first bike, I wanted to be flat-footed.
Absolutely.
And
it does
you know,
make
luckily,
sense.
my legs were long enough on my bike that I could flat-foot it.
Yeah.
But
But you're a tall, long-legged kind of guy.
I
So,
mean, I'm
like,
not super tall. I'm only like 5'10".
Yeah.
But
You're
I'm
very
more
average.
leg than
Yeah,
more leg
you're
than
very
torso.
average. I'm a man that is very below average on the leg length, so I do tread carefully.
No, but yeah, if you want a classic 650, they have a lower seat height than my bike did.
Yeah. Well, maybe.
They should be in America spring of 2025. But yeah, it looks like the Bullet 350, but
Listen,
with
if you ever
my
need
old
convincing of a motorcycle, just give me a call, and I can
Yeah.
make it make sense for just about
If it doesn't
anybody.
work with him, I'll try you because this motherfucker, like, just
do it.
spending other people's money, like vicariously living through.
no,
other
I
people.
am probably gonna buy one of these at some point.
So yeah, my coworker, he bought a lowrider wrestling. He was like, "Yeah, I want bars," and I was like, "All right, look at this, and this company." He's like, "Chris, those are $800," and I was like, "Yeah,
No, but they're good.
Yeah, it's not cheap."
Yeah.
And he's like, I think I want this," and he's like, "That's $600," and I was like, "Yeah."
Yeah.
He's like, "You fucked me," and I was like, "A little bit, yeah. just a touch."
just setting him up for failure. Just
Yeah,
knowing
he's like
full
$3,000
well he's
into
gonna
parts.
buy
It's
'em.
insane.
You know how
happens
like
so
some people are
fast.
like, oh, you know, we all rise up together. I'm dragging you all to hell.
Yeah, I'm dragging everybody.
I'm dragging
down.
everybody
We're going
down with me.
We're going down.
Yeah. Well, I think I had like another question before we got onto this, and then I got sidetracked. I forget where we were going. Before
God, that
this.
exhaust is hideous.
But there was
Heinous.
there was another question that I
Heinous.
had, and like it's bugging me now. I can't remember what that question was.
Was it about bikes or was it about
It was
travel?
definitely about bikes. 110%. Son of a fucking bitch. Well, I think I forget it. Because it was like the last question. Then we tanged so hard into like
tanged
to bike
really
so
hard.
fast.
You'll have
It was
that.
so
But you know
fast
what?
on these
We've
big
on these
jobs.
big jobs.
And this has been a big job. We've been going for 4 hours.
Yeah, so that's what I was saying. I was like, this is probably a good time, but I'm like, now that we're here, I'm like, damn, I did have that question, and I'm like, it's just bugging the shit out of me. Well, either way, then I'll leave the final thoughts up to Chris. What do you think, dude?
Buy bikes, travel.
My motorcycles, ride them fast, ride them far.
We
you
smooth
know?
brain right now, or we got
Pretty
like any final thoughts? How we feeling?
That's pretty much it.
Yeah, cool.
Ride
Well,
motorcycles.
dude, this
sick.
is dude. I mean, obviously,
Yeah, it's more about, I think, just do the thing you want to do while you can.
that's a lot of life in general. Just do what you can while you can. I mean, everybody acts like they got a million years ahead of them, and we just don't.
yeah,
You can work yourself into the grave trying to build a better future, and it could just
Yeah.
not be there when you're ready.
yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I think what
People
I
gotta
was
wake up and realize that shit sometimes.
Yeah.
So, Sean, if you stumble across this and like you're regretting buying that Corvair, don't.
It's perfect.
It's all gonna work out.
It's all gonna go the
Yeah.
way that it's supposed to.
You'll make more money later.
It'll
I think
eventually be worth
what I
more.
was gonna bring up was Nick, and like just like his like travel experience, it seems like he followed the same philosophy where it was like he wasn't necessarily saving money for a trip. He didn't budget a trip. He didn't like find the hotel and like there's not a calculator involved. It was like time's here, like time to go.
Make it
Let's go do this. You know. But
I've left for trips in the rain. I've left for trips when it's cold. I've left for trips when it's beautiful out, and I've left for trips with no damn money in my account. And you just fucking figure it out on the way.
Yeah.
You got to do it if you're ready. If you're ready to go live.
I mean, if you're $60,000 in debt, don't.
maybe figure your shit out first. At that
it's
point.
like no, maybe you go and you buy that brand new bike and you never come back. You go and just pick up somewhere else, and someone else will forgive you in that other.
The repo company is looking at your last name and address, and you're in California.
Yeah.
Yep. Exactly.
Oh, that was my question. Do you think that you will ever do one of these like? I'd leave the country, ship a bike out, and
absolutely,
absolutely.
Yeah, no, Alaska's heavy on the list as well, just because I can ride to there. That will happen on the maroon bike I have. I will take that one up to Alaska. Absolutely.
Wow, you ride it all the way out there from here?
Yeah, definitely. That's not even a question. That's heavy on the list.
Yeah.
I want to ride more in Mexico. Not even more. I've just never been. I want to ride Mexico. I want to ride a lot of that. The Baja and Mexico, the mainland itself. I want to do a lot of that.
Yeah.
And shipping a bike to England isn't all that expensive, so I'd like to do that. I would also like to fly and rent into Ireland as well.
Yeah, that would be.
Ooh,
and Scotland,
nice.
heavy on
I
the
would
list.
do that before the Mexico trip, just because right now the cartels are kind of popping off.
We'll be all right.
I think the cartels are pretty cash rich right now. You might want to
buff out. We'll be all right.
I mean,
it'll work out the way it's supposed to.
I bet Alaska.
Hey, either it's a great trip or it's no longer my problem. Either way, it'll be okay.
Yeah, I think
the bomb diffusers mindset.
Yeah, I think Alaska's wide open right now. So just go there first.
Maybe try Hawaii.
Hawaii will be another flying rent. That'll definitely happen as well.
Yeah,
all
that
50
would be
states are
crazy.
definitely
Flying rent. So do you what's that called? Like Churro or something?
Eagle Rider, actually. Eagle Rider is a program. Yeah, we did that just recently in Texas. Fly, rent a motorcycle out of a dealership, and then you can take it. And whatever other dealership also deals with Eagle Rider, you can drop it off at a different dealership.
That's really convenient.
Shit,
It's
that's
really expensive,
so
but
cool.
it is nice. It's like $500 for a day, but multiple days does make it cheaper.
Yeah.
So it's really like it was just $500. It's like $300 for the bike, and then insurance was extra on a bunch of
there's Churro, which is for like cars and shit.
Yeah, you rent off other people.
Then there's
stuff
one
like that.
for bikes, and I forget what it's called.
I forget what that one was called, but I know what you're talking about.
Yeah. I feel like that might be cheaper than Eagle Rider, but
probably. But you have to drop it back off at the same place.
Yeah.
And that's what makes it a hard one. If you travel any kind of distance, you have to drop it back at the same spot. But Eagle Rider's a nice program. A lot of your Harley dealerships deal with Eagle Rider.
Yeah.
So it works out. You can pick a bike online, and then you fly in, you pick it up.
That's so cool.
And you disappear.
Yeah.
It's unlimited miles.
No way.
So
wow.
You just fill
That's
it up.
actually surprising.
So it's like a bulk price like at the beginning.
Yes, yeah.
And
like
then,
it's
the more
per
you
day.
ride, the
it's
better.
Per day is each price, and if you ride so
Oh.
many days, you might catch or if you have it for so many days, you might catch a discount, or like it's the first day is $300, the next day is $270.
Yeah,
the
so
next
that
day
does
is
sound
$250.
expensive as fuck.
It,
But hey,
it
fun.
isn't cheap.
That's
but
fun. Hey,
well, I mean,
what are you gonna do when you're 80? What are you gonna do when you're 80?
When getting tires is $800, it's like
Yeah. Well, yeah, exactly. Like so, when you ride your
true.
own bike
Yeah,
and you need to
true.
service it and put tires on when you get back, it's same damn price anyway.
Oh shit.
yeah, you're just not putting the wear on your bike.
Ooh, one more question.
Hit me.
How long do the tires last? Fronts versus rear, faster?
It depends on the tire and the bike, but typically I can pull about 8,000 to 11,000 out of a rear tire, maybe 10 to 15 out of a front.
Okay.
So yeah,
That's crazy that they wear so fast.
That's the tires I run on my Lowrider S. They wear a little bit faster.
I mean, like
the
getting
rear
20,
tires
30,000
300
miles out
like
of a car tires, like expected.
It sucks.
Yeah.
It sucks. So
And
like the
like
rear tire for my bike is
12,000.
like $350. The front tire is like $2 something. So
That's
2
gonna
tires
get you a-
installed is $700.
And then if you take it to a dealership to have it replaced, the labor because you got to like undo the chain or belt on a Harley and then tension it, align it, all that shit.
Yeah. It's insane. You spend to just get a rear tire installed is going to be over $500.
Yeah.
It was $505 in Colorado when I needed a rear tire.
So like
And again, I paid $480 to buy 4 tires. And like if I had paid for the labor, because I did it myself, but to have mounted balance, it's an extra $100.
Exactly.
It's $550 for 4 tires for my car. that will last me 30,000 miles.
Yep.
And like maybe more.
Yeah.
Like maybe more.
And okay, so if you don't get the mileage out of them, say you don't ride that much through a year,
Dry rot.
Well,
They
dry rot, and that
Yeah.
is a big factor on
Yeah.
motorcycles because that really softens the rubber and your traction. You don't have leeway in a like you do in
No.
a 4-wheel car. You really need to get them
Yeah.
replaced.
God forbid your front wheel loses traction.
Yeah.
Yeah. And God forbid you need another reason to ride. Exactly. You got to wear them tires out, boy. You bought them.
Dude, it's terrible. You know,
That's why I
she
hate
would ride
Michelins.
that one year. She rode 20K a year, and I rode 20K a year. We got like fucking 4 rear tires, 2 to 3 front tires. We have like fucking 4 full services per bike. So yeah, we're
Jesus.
talking like 15 grand in service for a motorcycle.
Yeah, dude.
I'm like,
Because
it's fine. It's
Yeah.
all fine. We're gonna be okay.
It's worth it. I
because like
promise.
It's fine.
it'd be like $1,000 to replace a rear tire, and that's 1,200 miles,
Yeah.
right? Or 12,000 miles. 12,000 miles.
Yeah, give or
12,000
take.
miles. Sorry.
Give or take.
Yeah.
And when you're an asshole and do burnouts at random rallies and stupid shit like I do, it usually
Yeah.
wears more.
Well, what are you gonna do when you're 80? Come on,
Exactly,
bro. Like,
you know?
come on.
Just gonna- I worry about
those
today.
are those are
80-year-old
count.
me can pay for that when he's sitting on the
Exactly.
fucking bench at the shore because he
He's
didn't
sitting
wanna
on
go
the
across
toilet.
Exactly. Dude, I did all right, last story. I did a 6-gear burnout at a motorcycle rally on Saturday night. It was banging off of the speed limiter, dude. I lit the burnout pit on fire. I had a little fire rubber happening behind me. It was great.
dude.
That flat spots the shit out of the tire.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
motorcycle tires need to be rounded
Yes.
and clean. Well, we had to go to a wedding the next day. So I got back on the bike, rode to the wedding, and the whole way down the highway, I'm hitting the turns and it's going.
Oh,
I needed a new
shit.
tire immediately. It was fantastic.
Oh,
Good
my
time.
Yeah, so there's some of these
God.
Good
people
times.
like they I think it's called dark siding where you put car tires on
I
it.
have seen that.
That's fucking wild.
Not for
Like,
me. Not for me.
That's a
But
flat
they'll put
tire.
car
It will
tire
not
on 'em, and then
lean.
they'll
And then
just,
it's
like overinflate it and just hope that it works out okay. And they're like,
Yeah.
yeah, it gets me 30,000 miles. I'm like, that's great. Where the fuck's your lean angle though?
Yeah.
it's non-existent.
Yeah.
Not for me. Anyways.
Yeah.
But it could be.
Wild. Wild stuff, man.
Yeah,
we
after
covered
one of these trips, if you got to budget real hard, a $60 Walmart tire might be looking real enticing.
Or what I have heard is like in the middle of a trip, in the middle of fucking nowhere, you can't get a tire. You just go to the local car dealership, or not car dealership, but tire shops
tire
are
shop.
everywhere. And then you fucking get, you
Yeah.
remove the wheel yourself if you have the means and the tools, and then you get a close enough tire size because that's better than fucking nothing.
I mean, could they?
You know?
I mean, can they
Yeah.
even?
Oh yeah, John mounted his own tires on a car tire machine. You can.
Alex did that.
Oh yeah.
I hate all of this. I hate that I know
Well, he
them
didn't put
all.
a car tire on it. He
I
mounted his
hate
Oh
own
yeah, you can
this.
do most of the work yourself on bikes.
Yeah.
You just have to have the means. And
My goddamn friends have not changed at all.
No, we're
What
all
the
pretty
fuck?
stupid.
Now we're can-do
Oh, I love-
attitude. Like,
Oh,
I can
absolutely.
do that.
Well,
Absolutely.
if
My
those,
toxic trait is looking at anything and going, I can do that.
yeah,
I can save that.
I can fix her.
I can fix her.
I can fix
no,
her.
you can't. No, you can't. Well, if any of them boys are listening, we thank you. We love you. Chris, this was just fucking sick, dude. This is one of our
420.
I would say, yeah,
Blaze
we're
it.
here at 420 Blaze It. This is one of my, I think one of my favorite podcasts so far. I had such a great time. I feel like I learned so much. I know nothing about bikes. I know you geek out. You got to geek out. This
Yeah,
is
I mean, I
fun.
go full autistic in
Yeah.
everything I jump in. And when I bought my bike, that was no exception.
Yeah.
Yeah, it happens fast.
Yeah.
It happens
yeah.
fast.
So, dude,
stuff.
any final thoughts? This is
Nope.
great.
I'm all good.
Cool.
Make like
awesome,
a titty
man.
bounce.
Yeah.
Make like a fetus and head out.
And on that bombshell.
And on that bombshell.
Shell. Yep.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Good night.
Baby, let me take you for a ride. It's crazy that we on the same